What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Friday Night. It is, in fact, just another Friday night. I am one of your, tonight, 4 hosts, CM Chuck. Across from me, the man with all the answers, AA, Adamantium Adam. And behind us, 2 return guests who were on our 75th episode together, but previously were on episodes by themselves. Roxanne was just here with us, what, 2
weeks ago?
About 2 weeks ago. So you guys know Foxy Roxy in the house. And, of course, the man we call Holt E. Bear. Hey. Sometimes we just put John because we don't have a lot of room to put all the names down here. So that's John also. But welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for coming to hang out with us. All right. How's it? Let's, let me get in the comments before. We don't want to miss a cheers with anybody here that might be joining up. We can cheers it up right now. Cheers. Nothing like good old dead air on the old podcast here. Rich is in the house first. He said, "What's up, brothers? Rich. Cheers. Cheers, Rich. Rich, is this Colts win?"
Yeah, I believe it did. They're actually
and John's Dolphins won too.
Yeah, man. I was like, what the hell?
I was just saying.
And they beat the Ravens too.
Yeah, like, and the Ravens supposed to be super powered, and it was like,
yeah. I lost. Wow. That was my first loss.
Yep, I took a loss on that one too because I would not have picked the Dolphins.
No,
nobody picks the Dolphins. Except me.
Guys, first and foremost, we did not say this last show, and we should have said it. Wow, can I learn to talk? Somebody help me out. We should have said that last week prior to it happening, but it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
So happy Veterans Day
Yes.
to all the veterans out there. We salute you. Thank you for your service.
Yep.
Thank you for all those that have served or are serving. We have many. I think everyone in this group right here has a friend or family member,
both.
Or both that is serving or has served. I know your cousin Lewis.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to Lewis, Roxanne. Who is it? Your brother-in-law Joe. Army.
Joe Palomo.
Joe Palomo. Obviously, our dads.
Cousins, friends.
So all of us have.
Aaron Bearson.
Too many. Aaron B. That's right. Another one of our friends, Aaron B.
Oh, sure. There he is. Speaking of.
Hey, happy Veterans Day, Aaron B.
Hi, Aaron.
I was talking to my cousin Sammy, and he was like, man, he tore up all the free stuff yesterday.
Nice.
He went to, like, Little Caesars. They were giving away free pizza, so he ate up, like, 6 of them, he said, and Las Palapas, they were giving free enchiladas.
S'morg.
Yeah.
Nice. That's his favorite holiday, right?
You can just stay on that first quarter of military. And
I mean, he lived it up. I mean, man, he served. He did Iraq, and you know what?
For him
to,
they deserve it.
Aaron B. too. Aaron B. and my dad both went over. Well, Dad was in Kuwait. We didn't go, but Aaron was in Iraq too. So yeah, very cool. Yeah. Jason in the house. What's up, bros? What's up? Jason, we appreciate you being here, brother. Rich says, exactly, happy Veterans Day, bro. All the veterans, the Friday Night Faithful. Yes, and we have many, so that is something we are very proud of here. Just another Friday night, all of our veterans. Any veteran that ever wants a free sticker, let me know, and I'll take it.
Hey, all right.
So I'll put that out there.
We're doing our part.
Big day today, guys, in the world of pop culture.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys know, but today was Disney Plus Day.
Yeah, pretty much Marvel Day.
So, yeah, kind of Marvel Day. Although there was very awesome Star Wars news as well. So, if you have the Disney Plus app or our Disney Plus person streaming Shang-Chi, they put it out today. You can watch it now on Disney Plus streaming. Disney also dropped a bunch of news, Marvel-wise, regarding stuff that's going to be coming out.
A lot of shows.
Things are going straight to Disney Plus. So
I don't know. Have you heard Echo? It said it's Marvel, but I don't know.
I saw it tomorrow. I have not heard of that one.
Okay.
I Am Groot.
I Am Groot. Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that one. I'm not really.
Yeah. What If Season 2?
What If Season 2?
I think we knew that was coming. Excited for that.
Spider-Man Freshman Year.
It's an animated show. It's going to be about Spider-Man and I guess freshman year of college or freshman year.
I don't know.
I don't know what they would do with that.
The X-Men revival from the 90s.
Yeah, they're bringing back the 90s X-Men cartoon. They're going to do new episodes. So
they're redoing it?
I guess so.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Well, they're calling it like X-Men 97, so it's like I guess they're gonna bump it up against the back end or whatever. But super excited. They said you can see voice cast online now. I don't know who they are. I didn't read it though.
Moon Knight. They showed Oscar Isaac dressed up in the Moon Knight costume. That should be pretty cool. He's part of that whole 70s horror of Marvel with Ghost Rider and Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight. So that's gonna be kind of that area for that. And what else we got? We got that. What's this Skrulls one called?
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion
is coming.
Miss Marvel.
They showed a really cool picture of Nick Fury. No patch anymore, but like the white eye, and he got this big like white beard. So it looks like he's been somewhere for a while.
Well, he has been. Remember at the end of what movie was it?
Spider-Man, right?
What? Yeah,
Where he's
Spider-Man
walking
Far
around
From
in
Home.
the
Yeah, he's in the
space.
brochure. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and then the Star Wars boards for Obi-Wan, they show kind of like Darth Vader in the room.
In the room, yeah, like some drawings. They show kind of him with the gray hair already, but still like his old, like his look at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but his hair is like turning white already. You can see it like looking white. They also did like they dropped a thing, and you can watch all this on Disney Plus. You can see that it's like they call it like I forgot what kind, a sizzle reel of Obi-Wan. It's like 1 minute. You can watch it on Disney Plus, and they have one too for Willow.
Willow, that's right.
They show
Willow?
Warwick Davis. Yeah, he's gonna be in it, and they have it. It said it's about the events after the movie, but I guess they're gonna have recasted some people. He introduces the cast; they're all like
because
young people.
I know they did a series of books. I think after Willow, so I don't know if they're going to be following that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that there
yeah.
was a series of books.
That's cool. I believe there was.
Okay.
So yeah, the Star Wars stuff is pretty interesting. You know.
Yeah. Was there any other Star Wars specific news? I don't know if there was specifically regarding Star Wars.
No, I think that was the only one.
Okay. Yeah. She-Hulk. They said that there was a She-Hulk. They didn't show it to us, but there was a trailer that was, I guess, shown to some people.
Yeah.
So, investors. Maybe?
Ruffalo is going to be.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is going to make an appearance. They say they don't show like a full transformation of her, but they show like a partial, and that she's going to be rocking the purple and white costume. That
Okay.
she-
Oh, nice.
Okay.
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 You guys know I'd like to give you Fortnite updates. I was just telling Double A before we started that they dropped Dark Phoenix on the Fortnite game. I thought that was pretty cool as a wearable skin, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, it was like that's what everybody was posting about today was Disney Plus stuff. So what are you guys excited for? Any of that stuff sound good to you guys?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like
She-Hulk.
anything Disney puts
Yeah.
out. I think Disney puts out a lot of good stuff.
The
so.
Moon Knight, I'm excited about.
Mhm.
I'm excited about Moon Knight, and I like Oscar Isaac. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely
Can't
check
wait
out
to
that
see
next
that.
one.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Obi-Wan. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be cool if they
I'd
bring in
watch
Ray
that.
Park, man, to kind of do that cartoon,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, we met
that would
him.
be
Yeah,
That'd
but
be
in
cool.
the cartoon, they actually have a final showdown.
Mhm.
And
Right.
He goes
Yeah.
looking because I think he feels Luke, right? Like Darth Maul feels Luke,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to Tatooine, and that's where him and Obi-Wan have
Was
their
that
final
Was that that
encounter.
Clone Wars
The Clone
one?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and they
Was it
finally,
Clone Wars or was it the one that came after?
No,
Rebels.
that's that Rebels. No,
Was
that
it
was
Rebels?
That was already
or was it
Vader.
Clone?
You can watch it though, like you just YouTube it.
Yeah,
Right there.
I can't remember, but they finally have their final
Yeah.
showdown, and
Oh,
he
wow.
finally finishes off Darth Maul.
It's
finally.
okay.
Well, you cut it in
Animation
half the
wise, it was
first
like
time.
okay.
Yeah, it was
I
fine.
know.
It was fine. But he
Only
was
in
like,
Star
all right,
Wars.
I ain't enough of you. And Obi-Wan just fucking kills him real quick. So he's like, enough.
Yeah. So pretty cool, pretty exciting. Like that was like a big day of like pop culture wise.
Yeah, it was today, right? Just today, right?
Yeah, just today. Yeah. I kept seeing everything come up in my stream, and I was like, I can't post fast enough on our page to get it out there.
Rich says Willow sounds interesting. I like
Yeah.
to see the movie when it came out. You know, the only thing that sucks is that Val Kilmer, man. You know,
Oh,
Right,
I know.
yeah.
His
That'd be so
voice.
cool if Matt Mardigan would have came out. But I don't know if they're gonna
Yeah.
do that.
I wonder would they just recast a younger guy? You think that's what they'll do?
Yeah.
I would. I mean,
But they're getting more.
But it's almost like that Han Solo, right? Like you cast, you know, the
Yeah,
young guy for
right.
Solo, but then everyone, well, he's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Val Kilmer.
And
you know?
you use Warwick Davis. It's like, what is the story? Like, is it like, you know, there was one girl that was like really blonde, and I kind of was like, oh, is she going to be like a grown up Laura Dannon? Like,
Oh.
you know,
Mm,
I
sure.
don't know.
I thought she was redheaded.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah,
So
she had the red
maybe I
curls.
was wrong. Yeah.
He had the little red curls.
Yeah, they don't show that much of. I mean, they don't show anything of the show. It's just him introducing the cast and who they are, whatever. The gal from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's the primary flag smasher.
yeah.
She's going to be in it. So I don't know.
Oh.
She's got kind of reddish hair.
Yeah.
She might be a
oh
Laura
my god,
Dern.
is she a Laura Dern?
Maybe
She might be a Lord.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But anything, Willow, that's cool, right? One of our favorite fantasy movies, I would say, probably all of us.
Ron Howard, George Lucas. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it, right? So let's see. Jeremy says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Jeremy? We appreciate you being here, bud."
And then Rich says Red Notice with The Rock came out on Netflix. You guys gonna check that out? The one with it's him, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. It's
I
on
think
Netflix.
Ryan Reynolds, I'm down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Good
I
cast,
like-
right?
Yeah, I like Ryan.
Yeah, it was weird. It's like all three of them got together somehow and found time to make this movie for Netflix. And
I'll watch it. I also want to see the one that's got Jonathan Majors, primarily a black cast of in the Old West.
okay.
It looks pretty cool. I cannot think of the name for it to save.
I heard about that one, but I can't pick the name either.
Yeah.
but
It's,
I
you know
heard
what?
it
Let me
was-
just look it up because I hate not knowing.
I heard it was good.
Okay. Cool. I mean,
Well,
I'm
it said stories or.
I'm willing to check it
well,
out.
Rich says so far the movie's pretty good. What Red
Okay.
Notice?
Good call,
What is
Rich.
it like
I'll
an
check it
action
out.
comedy, Rich? Like or
Which one?
That Red Notice. The one
Yeah, I
with The
see it
Rock
right
and
here.
Ryan
Red
Reynolds.
Notice. Yeah.
I'll watch it. I like Ryan Reynolds. Whatever he does, I'm usually on board.
Oh, really?
I even saw Green Lantern. I was like,
I saw it too. It was okay.
The Harder They Fall. That's what the
Yes,
movie's called.
yes,
And
The
it's
Harder They
got Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Regina King.
that one. Okay.
I mean, dude, Zazie Beetz, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield, who is fantastic. We know him from Get Out. You know what I mean?
that sounds like a great cast.
It's an amazing cast. Yeah, Dion Cole, who's hilarious.
Rich
Damon
said
Wayans
that's
Jr.
a good movie too.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
good. Okay.
I'll have to check that one out.
I've not heard of the writer. Or the writer director is the same, James Samuel. I'm not familiar, or Jameis Samuel. I'm not familiar with him, but it's cool. I like the idea of a western with maybe a different perspective. You know what I mean? So that'll be cool.
Yeah,
I saw Eternals, guys. Anybody
What
else?
do you think?
I liked it. I know that it was getting really bad reviews, but then I saw it and I thought that it was fine. I was like, oh, it's just such a solid movie. Yeah. Richard Madden is great. If you're going for Kit Harington, he's not in it that much, but some very cool stuff with that. No spoilers. But I thought it was fine. Like I was like, oh, even if I didn't know this was a Marvel movie, like it'd be fine as not a Marvel movie. Like it's still like, it's kind of cool. Like I feel like they're gonna start to lean into the space aspects, which we both like. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of have that mindset about it. And the story that they reveal is really cool because I was like, oh wow, like you're left kind of. Or I was left with kind of conflicting feelings. I was like, all right, I kind of feel conflicted or whatever, which is funny because that kind of came into my mind as what we were going to talk about tonight. But as I was watching some of the things unfold in what we're going to talk about tonight's topic, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of a conflicting, is there a right, wrong type thing or whatever. So what else there?
Anthony Sanchez says, hello, bros.
What up, Anthony? Appreciate you being here, bud. What about the fight? Great fight.
You guys
yeah. I loved it.
Man,
pound for
I
pound.
even love the undercard, the one right before it.
Yeah.
You were getting up, getting ready to walk out, and I go, "Oh, he just floored it."
yeah. We all had to like turn back.
No, he was there.
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it? Okay.
Yeah, I saw
Everybody
it.
else was outside.
Yeah, we got the big fight last Saturday. It was Canelo on his. It
was worth every one of Double A's pennies because it was exactly the finish you wanted to see.
Yeah, big time.
Crush this
so
guy.
Far, I mean, that's what Canelo's been doing.
In the 10th?
11th.
In the 11th.
Yeah, but that's what Canelo's been doing.
He just waited, right? He was like, I'm just going to wait and then just...
But it was crazy, right? That video that Jack showed us where he's like talking to Canelo. He's talking to Canelo like in that 11th round. Saying, like, hey, I'm pretty good, right? I'm a pretty good fighter, right? Like he's asking Canelo.
But was
like,
that dubbed or was that real? I don't know. It was like a TikTok video.
I don't know. But
the
way, if you see the video and like the head's kind of moving with the talking.
I wouldn't want to be talking with the mouthpiece in because
but he's almost like
hit right there.
It almost sounds like the guy knows he's losing, and he's like kind of looking for validation from Canelo. Like, hey, I was pretty good, right? I'm a pretty good fighter, right?
Just like, why the fuck are you talking to me? Like, number one, like they'd probably have a language barrier.
You're supposed to talk with your fists.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
he
is that mind games or what?
He became the sixth man to be the unified champion. So that's pretty damn rare. So
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was good though. It was fun.
Yeah, great fight. Thank you, Double A, for hosting us for that.
That was fun.
Rich says, yes, the harder they fall is a good movie. Definitely a must watch. Okay, I will definitely. It's on my watch list on Netflix. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Anything else, guys? Was there any other pop culture news exciting? Something that happened to y'all? Saw, read, or maybe otherwise that happened? Like I said, for me, Eternals I saw yesterday and thought that was good. My Veterans Day off and went to go catch that. It was pretty cool. We missed the trailers though because we were getting popcorn.
Now that it gets darker faster, I come home and I'm like tired.
That sucks.
You know what though? But you guys do a lot of outdoor movies. It must be better for you when you want to do an outdoor thing. And it's cooler now.
It is.
I mean,
it's like very nice.
Perfect now. Perfect
it's
for
actually perfect weather. You put you got the picnic table out there. You put the movie out, and
we just have to do it.
We just have to do it. Yeah.
I would have thought y'all picked that up right away once it got dark because I know y'all were doing it quite a bit.
We were, but then Halloween was really busy, and
it's her month, so
it's
super busy.
I get it. Cool. Let's see. What did Anthony say here? It was. Go ahead, Double A.
Oh, he was saying it was a good fight. I appreciate the invite. Unfortunately, the baby was sick, so we couldn't make it.
Oh. Hope they feel better.
And then Rich says, I missed the fight. I was watching UFC. I forgot. That's right. UFC
that they were head to head, yeah.
A big fight.
I had friends posting. How did that go, Rich? Was the UFC good? I don't know. I didn't hear too much about it, but
I think
I don't
Canelo
follow it
was
that
just
closely.
the bigger news.
Right,
you know?
right. Anthony, obviously, speedy prayers for speedy recovery for the baby. We hope that little Gio is okay. Also, we want to give a good luck tonight to Joe from Now Watch This Son.
Yeah, the Hornets, man.
J Mart is going to be playing number 4. Got an interception last week. East Central in the playoffs. So we want to wish the Hornets good luck tonight. We hope they win. Yeah, dude, we're good, man. We're really good.
EC alumni.
Yeah, EC alums right here, me and Holty. So definitely good luck to them guys. Also,
they're playing Reagan, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Also, again, Joe, son from Now Watch This. I need to share it again on my personal page and on our podcast page. But his son is raising money for the baseball side of East Central. Obviously, football gets all the money. Yeah, football gets all the money. So baseball, they got to do fundraisers. So guys, if you're able to help out any contribution to Joe's son for baseball, please do so. It's on their group. Now Watch This, I believe, or it might not be on there. I don't know if Joe puts that on.
No, I think that was just his own.
But I shared it on my personal page. So if you're my personal friend, which most of you guys are, it's there. But if not, I'll share it to our Facebook group so we can all contribute, hopefully, and help them out. We all know how it is if you got a friend or family in athletics, and it's like, that sport unfortunately doesn't get enough funds. Holty, I'm sure you can attest as a swimmer at the East Central swim team.
Couldn't afford Speedos.
I was going to say, what do you need funds for?
Hey, you got one pair of Speedos.
Yeah.
Take them off.
Hey, man. And swim caps for the girls, I guess. I don't know.
Did you have a girl swim team too?
There was, It was co-ed. Yeah.
Co-ed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why do you think I would go to the meets?
What?
Wasn't
It wasn't
this
because
guy.
Was it my job? It was before you jogged? Golly.
What do we got here? Aaron B says, what does it say? Double H.
Hey,
Man,
he goes,
I cannot see shit with my glasses.
When will we have a boxing match on the show, like live on the podcast? Well, we did with Mario's episode, kind of.
Did we?
Our robot.
Oh yeah, you missed. You could see us do a robot, a Rock'em Sock'em robot fighting. That was pretty cool. I don't know. I was like, right now, my right eye feels like I did get hit in it, so that's probably not good. There. And then Rich says, what do we got here?
He said the UFC was good. He enjoyed the matches. He goes, he's a fan of Thug Rose and Usman, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The Usman is the big, he's like the main champ, I think, right now, the heavyweight champ or whatever. Right. Yeah.
And then Rich says, South Sand Bobcats all the way.
Whoa. Rich, this is like when you root for the Colts, man. There's some things that we're just not going to get on board with here. Just another Friday night.
Terrible.
But hey, man, to each their own. You know what I mean? You got to.
My cousin went to South Sand for a little while.
Yeah, I'm sure I have someone that I know that went there. But yeah, okay, good shit all around. All right, guys. Well, unless we don't have any other updates, then we'll go to our first break, and then we'll get started right into the topic. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Rich says.
I went there too, so I have to.
I know. Yeah, you got to.
Well, I went to Islands, but I'm going for East Central now, Rich. So.
Well, his kids, when your kids move over, then you go for the
your
kids,
so I'm like,
right?
Screw Highlands.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool because Joe put up a picture and he said my son's first playoff game, and they're in like the Highlands Maroon. I guess he played for whatever the district team was. And he's like a little boy, but then he says he's going into what will be his last high school, playoff game since he's going to graduate already, and they're all in the East Central College, so it's pretty cool. So, yeah, I call that an upgrade.
From being an out to a
I'm just hating. That's it. So. All right, guys, we're going to take our first break. We're going to read through any more comments that happen to come in. We're not going to tell you what we're talking about tonight, and I know we're probably not giving that much away with how we're dressed, unless you can view right over Roxanne's head. Maybe you get a little bit of an insight. But we're excited to talk about this topic. I'm excited to talk about it, especially with these three, because I am going to be the odd man out, the new man that just really kind of dipped his toe in the water in the last week or so. But it was a fun dip, so I'll say that. Let's see. What else do we got? Did Rich say something?
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. We'll take this first break, and then we'll be right back. But, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, we're not going to go anywhere. So keep commenting. Keep watching? I don't know. That's what Joe and Lucky say. Keep watching. Keep listening.
That's harsh, Rich. Yeah. That's harsh.
All right, guys. We'll be right back in a blip.
Rich, this guy's a fucking patriot. How come you never say shit about that? He goes, I think South Sand Bobcats would have played better than the Cowboys last Sunday.
Man, the mighty Broncos. You know what, Rich? I'm going to tell you the secret. The secret to the Cowboys losing right now, we played pick'ems. We play pick'ems, right? Me and Double A with some of his brothers and some of our other friends. All you do is pick the winners and losers, right? I never pick the Cowboys because I hate them, and they have been winning. So last week I said, fuck that. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I picked them because they should have easily beat Denver, and what did they do? They shit the bed, and they lost, and they caused me to lose on the pick'ems. So that's why the Cowboys did not win. So you can thank me personally for them losing, because the cosmic balance I will get fucked in one way or the other. If I pick any one of these guys' teams, they will win and they will lose and fuck me over. Or if I don't pick them, they will win somehow. Like when Will's Giants win, and I'm like, how the fuck did y'all get a win? Like, I said, I know why y'all won, because I picked against you and you chose to beat me.
You never picked the Dolphins, and they only won one.
You know what though?
So
I do have their quarterback in my fantasy leagues, and he got hurt, and then I had to pick up their backup. Because there's no quarterbacks left, so you pick up their backup, right? So I'm using Brissett. Well, then he got hurt last night, and then they put in the main guy back, and he got back in, the starter, and I was like, the fucking doesn't end. I'm just constantly getting off the fucked on that.
I did a 3-time champion. I'm a 3-time.
Yes, that's right. We're supposed to have the belt here, so congrats to AA for winning 3 times in a row.
Good job for you, man.
Yeah. If there's ever somebody I want to win that's not me, it's definitely be AA. And of course, our long time. What are you drinking?
Topo Chico.
Oh, okay. No liquor in there, right?
No.
Hey, we were trying to make a shot and we couldn't do it.
Rich says, I didn't know the Patriots are still in the NFL. And then Jason comes in. It's Cowgirls. Hey, Jason, go Atlanta Braves. Jeremy says, better start picking the Rams. They're playing, they're a super team now. What, because of Beckham?
Let's see if he gets any passes from Stafford. I don't know.
And then Rich says, do the Dolphins still have Fitzpatrick as a quarterback? No, it's
Tua.
No. Fitzpatrick is with Washington now, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think he's hurt.
And I think he's hurt. The Nationals? Or?
The Washington football team. That's it.
Wait, what?
That's it.
That's
it. Washington football team.
It's not Fitzmagic, it's Fitztragic.
Yeah.
I made that up
they
right now.
don't even have a mascot?
No,
it's
WFT, so that's it.
I've said this before on this show, but y'all might not have heard this show, but I saw somebody put up, they said, they put the potato up there, the red potato, they said, just keep it the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, Redskins.
So, yeah.
Like I said, the Red Sox didn't. They put Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, right? All right, guys. Looks like we got through all the comments. I'm really looking forward to hearing what the Friday Night Faithful, you Friday Nighters, have to say about our topic tonight. Maybe you're familiar with this topic. Maybe you're not. Chime in one way or the other, because I'd love to hear what you think, because I'm totally new to it as well. Well, I won't say totally new. I was exposed. It exposed itself to me, and I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But, you know, so yeah. What do we got there, Double A?
Rich says, and now they are trying to get the Braves to stop doing the hand shot.
Yeah, good luck trying to get fans to stop doing something.
Yeah, 60,000 fans that are drinking and are used to that chant. Yeah,
for the last 30 years.
Plus, despite all racial things aside, it's a very good chant. You know, what I mean, it's like it's catchy.
It's just give them the chop.
Yeah, I like when people go and we like to England and we do something over there and it's like the Brits get all into it, you know what I mean? So
yeah, big time.
Great. They make up songs, you know what I mean, and all that.
They like to sing the Neil Diamond song at boxing.
Sweet Caroline. Yeah, they love that, right?
Holy
I don't know where that came from, but apparently it's popular.
Neil Diamond. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know. He's Neil, I want to party with you.
Fucking jazz singer.
Jazz singer.
Oof, there you go. All right, guys. I think we're good. We're locked and loaded. Let's get into it here. We don't want to waste. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do. We'll go back over here and see. This is why I need AA here, because every night I haven't had that much to drink and
just like drinking or what?
Been messing up. Yeah, that's what it is. It's poor podcasting there. All right, guys, y'all ready? We all set?
Yeah,
that's a good song. That is a good. It's a pretty good song.
I think so.
That's a good song. Okay. All right, guys, you ready?
Yeah,
let's do this, guys. All right, guys, if you're here in the Friday Night Faithful, we invite you to stick around, listen to the topic, tell us what your thoughts on what it is we're discussing. We want to know. We want to hear your feedback. If you think
Rich,
that we,
man, you're a cool dude, man, but you kill me with your fucking team. So he's a Red Sox fan. Golly.
Yeah, that one's the worst. That might be the worst.
Bro, Yankees all the
It's
way.
like 3 Yankees right here. I don't know if Roxanne has a team. Roxanne, you have a baseball team?
I don't.
San Antonio Missions?
Okay.
$1 beer night?
We'll take it. Yeah, there you go.
I'm a
you
fan
guys are big fans of that.
Yeah.
No, it's been too long.
I'm going to watch something, but I don't.
What about playing? How about playing a little baseball?
No.
Catch. All right. Not for
I
everybody.
wasn't very sporty.
And then Rich says Yankees. I'm sorry for y'all.
Ooh.
Oh.
Damn.
I thought it was just a good pastime also, That's my Yankee joke for the night. Wow. All right, guys. With all that being said, let's get into the topic for the night.
Please.
Join it, please. Spare Double A anymore.
Tired of y'all's insults.
I have a Yankees. My Yankees blankets at home on my couch. So
Cowgirls,
love them
Red Sox fans. Golly. What podcast am I on?
If we didn't talk a little sports, it wouldn't be just another Friday night. All right, guys, let's get going. You guys ready? Let's do this. All right.
Ready.
All right, everyone, welcome back. If you were hanging out with us during the break, you know that we read your comments. We talk to you, the Friday Night Faithful, during that time while we let our audio load up, as is required by us by the Anchor app that we use to record this podcast. So if you ever want to get a podcast on Anchor, know that 30-minute increments, and then you got to do your thing. So, but we're back, and we're ready to get right into our topic. If you're wondering why we're kind of dressed innocuously, maybe, and that there's not that much of a background like we normally have, and why we brought in two special guests, very special guests, John and Roxy. It is tonight to discuss. Okay, tell us, Double A. Lead us in. 20 years ago,
October 16th, I believe,
that's
a new show about Superman came out, debuted, and it wasn't going to be about Superman. It was going to be about Clark Kent and his origins growing up in Smallville, and it was called Smallville. And we're introducing us to a whole unknown actor. He was a model, from what I understand.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he even had too much acting chops, I don't think. And they picked him to be, represent Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. And, the only ones I really recognized were John Schneider and Annette O'Toole. Those are the only two, and they were playing Ma and Paul Kent.
Yeah. And Annette O'Toole famously played Lana Lang in Superman 3. Just the one, right? Just she was only...
Yeah, that was it. Just Superman 3. Yeah, and then John Schneider, Dukes of Hazzard, so it was kind of like they said the reason why they cast him was to show like Bo becoming like a farmer, in a way. So it was,
and that's where people know John Schneider from, right? Is the Dukes of Hazzard. And again, if you ask me for Annette O'Toole's resume, I'm like Lana Lang, and Beverly Marsh.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Yeah. So
you were gonna say, John? You're kind of rocking the John Kent look. I like that right there.
And the flannel and everything. So,
okay.
So 20 years ago, we get introduced to Smallville.
So tell me now. Okay, we brought in John and Roxy for a very specific reason on this show with Double A. These three could do this show without me, but I have the computer, so that's probably why I'm here. Otherwise, they don't even need me. No. But seriously, so I want to hear y'all's three history with this show. Well, the start of it. It's like, what was it? Did y'all know it was coming out? Okay, and y'all decide this, or was it like, hey, that's
No. So I was watching it, and John and Roxanne came. They just drove up to the house. John kind of like starts walking because he's gonna go, talk to a boy and Will. All of a sudden, he turns around and he's like, "Hey, what are you watching?" Mm-hmm. Oh, it's Smallville. It's a story about Superman.
Is this episode 1?
Episode 1.
Wow. Okay.
And man, John just what? He looks at it, plops down, him and Roxanne, and they start watching it and they get into it. So that's how that ended up. And John was like, "What time? What day?" Yeah. It's on Tuesday, 8:00.
Yeah,
that was before we could record shows.
Yeah.
So we was like,
so they were late by like 2 minutes. It was kind of like, holy shit,
Yeah. And he like drive up really fast just to try to make it.
I would go, like hurry up,
And I love that because that's like essentially like having a watch party. Like later on in later years, we knew when big shows came out, like Game of Thrones. People would have watch parties. Come over, everybody be quiet, turn it on, it's coming on. Because, you don't want to get spoilers and all that or whatever. But
and that's the reason why I wanted both of them on. Because it's, I always say this off air too. I always say Smallville was really special for me because John and Roxanne would watch it with me for like the first 3 seasons. They would come by Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whenever they would flip flop, and watch it. And we'd watch it, and it was cool. It was for 1 hour. We just like holy shit, like every commercial break it was like, okay, I gotta pee, we like talk real quick, like holy shit, like damn, what was that, all that, like what do you think's gonna happen, and then the commercial comes, it was like, okay, shh. It was like, all right, and then we just be like this.
What time slot was this in, guys? Like 7?
At the time it was 8 on Tuesdays.
8 on Tuesdays. Okay. So 01, let's go back, right? In 01, I know me and you've been out of high school 2 years. Roxanne, I won't say anything because you're a lady. But Double A, you were were?
I was
I was
freshman,
21.
so I started exactly where Clark was at.
You were a
so
freshman.
He started high school.
Wow.
I started high school.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
right? So we're out of school 2 years, and everyone loves AA, so that's how it is. And there's so many moments here where AA tells me I introduced him to something, and I'm like, what? I introduced you to that? Like, then I forget that it's like, there's a little bit of an age difference, but that's cool. Y'all were coming and choosing to hang out,
Yeah.
and obviously the show is the jelly, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there
yeah.
between the bread, but I mean, it's like it's a good moment to connect, right?
I
Like,
didn't
building
know
a
like
bond.
your history, but I know John was kind of like into Superman, right?
Yeah.
You're a Superman fan.
I like
I was too.
DC.
Yeah.
And
John has kind of staked your claim as a DC guy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
you
got
see his
Batman
tat.
tattooed on his
I
arm.
got Batman
Yeah, it's
tattoo,
Batman.
so,
Wrong character. She got Superman on it.
That's another thing. I'll bring
But it
up.
was really cool. I mean, what did you guys think after you saw the first episode? It's, the pilot, it's kind of like an actor you've never seen before, kind of playing Clark Kent. John Schneider, obviously. The
Right.
feel of it, it's not dark at all. Smallville is not like the dark show that, they kind of, DC tries to do a lot of times.
Well, it has
you
its
know?
moments
It
later
has its
on, I'll
moments, but
say.
still, it's very,
I wrote
like,
that down.
It's very
yeah.
bright. The colors are bright.
Yes.
It's blue, it's red. He's very hopeful, like Superman should be. But what did you guys think?
The show looked good, and what everybody doesn't realize is that was one of the first shows that started to do the like origin ones. Like, so you didn't see something that was a young Clark,
No,
So
yeah, you really did.
you're like, oh, okay, this is how it starts. And what I like about it is that like you meet Jonathan Kent, and he is so like the dad that you want to have. And it shows like, oh, okay, so what's going to tie in later on? Why do we have a Superman with all these like high morals? And it's because of the dad. And they really did that really, really well.
Yeah, John Schneider, I think it's the best Jonathan I've seen
Yeah.
in the medium.
And I think we're going to say that a couple of times because also we got 10 seasons with these people.
Yeah.
Pretty much, almost. I mean, I know obviously some characters
John
didn't go all the way
Schneider,
through.
he lasted for about 5 full.
But and he came back, in later times from what I saw. But
Right.
John, let me ask you. So, as a Dukes of Hazzard fan, we were probably of the age to be watching that. How did you feel seeing John Schneider in a role? Probably, I mean, I think we can all admit that we didn't probably see him in too much stuff between Dukes of Hazzard and this. So, what was it like for you to kind of experience him as an older guy and as a dad? Was it still? Because I know you're a Dukes of Hazzard fan, so.
So when I watched it, I obviously I sat down right away. And
Yeah,
these
yeah.
guys though, anytime I go to their house and we're watching something, they'll see me and I'm.
Yep.
You're in the zone.
They do that, and
Yeah.
I'm watching whatever
Yeah.
I'm watching. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm into this. If I'm really into it, I'm into it. And I mean, from the get go with that show, it was just the characters. Everybody had such strong. He had such strong qualities as a dad. Toole, the parents were amazing in there. I really liked it. At first, it was very cool to see someone that I grew up watching being like a dad figure and being like a strong dad figure, like
Yeah,
a very like
big time.
very like
They
just-
wrote his stuff
and
really well.
They did. They
Yeah.
really did, and he acted it really well too. I just like that's you.
He had way more dialogue than your dad, but he reminded me of your dad a lot in our lives. There was a lot of similarities.
It was very good, and I felt like everything he said meant something.
It did,
and
it
it
really
wasn't
did.
wasted.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I really loved it.
Yeah, I would
because
say
it was-
your dad, like, and my girlfriend's dad, just they've meant a few words, but when they speak, you listen because
Right.
they don't talk that much. You know what I mean? But as I was watching this, I was like, I could see why John probably gravitated towards this a lot because the dad character reminds me a lot of John's actual dad. You know?
We're not going to skip too much, but that's why I like on that season 5 episode 100. That's why I was like really crushed. I was like,
Oh yeah,
damn it!
that.
Why did they have to do that?
Well,
for?
I literally
Yeah.
wrote down because he gave me. So I'll tell you guys. So for me to be able to even be here, AA had to give me a list of episodes, and so did John. It was funny because AA gave me I think 12, and John gave me like 3, but one of them overlapped, so they both picked one of the same, which was interesting. And I watched all of those 12 episodes. Then I threw in a bunch of extras on my own, including the series finale. So one of the episodes I missed watching was the when you're talking about Reckoning, season 5, episode 100, and I was like, oh, I missed that one. Let me go back. And when I went back, I was like, I literally wrote down in my notes, I put Reckoning 100th episode. I said start of the show because I was like, what the fuck? Everything's paying off.
I knew it was coming, but I still didn't want the character to go that way. I was
Right.
like, damn it. I was like,
Well, especially the way it started with, and you guys remember this one, I'm sure pretty well, because it's the one that begins with kind of Clark opens up to Lana.
Jonathan's death.
Oh,
Right,
okay,
but
yeah.
at the beginning you see Lana die.
She dies, and then that's when he does the whole time shit.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it's
He's-
like, well, if you do this, somebody else is
Yeah.
gonna...
yeah, Jor-El tells him
Yeah.
to
He gives him the
sacrifice.
ultimatum.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and I forget who tells him later. It's probably Chloe, because Chloe was the one always telling him stuff. She kind of,
No,
I hate to say it, but I kind of related to her character, because I was like, oh, like, you make this world, like, you're like our in to this world or whatever. Because we're like, what? Especially if you didn't know, if you're not familiar with the lore at all, then like Chloe would be very easy for you to be like, okay, I'm seeing it through Chloe's eyes. But I think she tells him,
It's interesting.
I don't know if it was her or the mom, or if it was Martha Kent that tells him, would you have been able to choose anyway? Would you have been able to choose between your dad and Lana? And it's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, what a choice, right? You know what I mean? Like, nobody could have made
Jonathan
that choice. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, same.
yeah.
Same.
You would have chose Jonathan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same.
So Roxanne casting herself as Lana now, being like, fuck you, John.
No, I'm sorry. I just the first season, every season with Lana, I'm sorry,
I
she
hate
felt
it.
too
I was like,
wishy-washy.
God.
No, I
It was
okay.
Look, this show was great, but it also had some very soap opera feel to it, and I just thought there was some drama there that didn't need to be there, and I was very much like, man, Lana, get off your high horse. Chloe,
Especially
you're a
with
bitch.
it, you're
Jesus.
Whoa.
Well, rewatching it.
Yeah, we rewatched
When we
it a
were
little bit.
rewatching it, I remember we kind of had a crush on Chloe.
Yeah,
a
we
little
thought
bit.
Chloe was great.
When we rewatched it, we're like, man,
She wanted to
she's
sit in that
fucking
club.
annoying. What the hell did I
Interesting.
like?
She
Damn.
didn't age well. I thought she
Damn.
was very beautiful. I wrote that down. Like, she struck me right away. I was like, wow. And like,
Chloe was great.
she was cute. Like, I
She's
mean,
super cute.
in the season one
So,
episode, you had to
yeah,
watch.
so like
and-
Tom Welling was like about 26. Her and Lana were about 17, 18.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I have this written down because I have this question for y'all, which it's like, I believe in the pilot, Pete and Clark are saying, like, we don't want to be the freshmen that get picked on.
The Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
And I'm like, you guys are freshmen? I'm like,
I know.
Tom
like,
Welling,
Tom
you're a
Welling is
freshman?
all.
You're like a hunk of a man. Like,
Yeah.
good Lord. I'm like, okay. Are we supposed to get that Whitney is a senior? So
No,
he's a senior dating
He's
a
older,
freshman.
though.
Or
He's
Oh,
older.
you know what?
He's
Yes,
older.
because
He
he
was
joined the
older 'cause he
military.
joined
the
Marines.
military at
That's
the
right.
end. Yeah.
That's right.
So I was assuming that he either was, because I think your parents can let you in if you're 17 and they sign a waiver. Otherwise, you've got to be 18 to join
That's
the
right.
military.
Well, but you could also be an 18 as a senior.
Yeah. So yeah, he could have been 18 as a senior. Are we meant to assume that Lana is the same age?
No.
No, she's a freshman.
No, she's
a
a
freshman.
freshman.
Okay, so he's a senior dating a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not unheard of.
It's not unheard
not
of.
unheard
It's not unheard of.
Hey, in Smallville, all things can happen.
Yeah, Smallville, all things can happen. For the
Okay.
audio listeners, I just looked into the camera.
Okay, so
that
what-
meteor rock.
Okay, so we talking about Tom Welling. We're talking about John Schneider. What did you guys think about Michael Rosenbaum? when he
Oh.
first
Oh
came
my
out?
god.
Blown away.
Blown away,
I
right?
loved
Right.
him so
Lex Luthor,
much.
like, to me, he's Lex Luthor.
The
Yeah.
best of all the Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Over Gene Hackman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Over
what I-
Kevin Spacey.
And see, that's what I'm
Not
saying.
over Jesse Eisenberg, though.
Okay. And see, that-
Heisenberg or Eisenberg?
I'm looking into the camera sarcastically again for the audio listeners.
Wow.
Jesse
and see,
Eisenberg,
that's
the
what I'm
absolute
saying.
Lord
It's,
Lex Luthor.
it's just like that. You have so much time to flesh out this character.
But even
You
without,
can do more.
I'm a newbie, and again, I've probably seen from what I probably watched a total of maybe 20 to 25 episodes. I'm a novice compared to you guys at this. Stellar. I was like, this guy is fan fucking tastic. Yeah,
the walk,
the way he,
you know, the stance.
the venom when he's really Lexing out. I'm like, oh fuck, like
You saw that part in Aqua, right? When he has Aquaman
Oh,
tied
yeah.
down and he's just pouring the fucking water.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow.
I said, man, Aquaman looks like he's dehydrated from a long night of drinking, and Lex is there. This water's so good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I was like,
yeah.
man, this is like fucking evil Lex right here.
Yeah.
And let me tell you two guys something, because I know you're probably not watching it, but the young man Alan Richson that plays Aquaman is a character he plays a character
Yeah,
called Hawk in Titans.
In the
Yes.
Titans,
Yeah, and
yeah.
he's
Yeah, we saw
fantastic in that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
you did
Jonathan
that?
right
Yeah,
away
what's
said, "Oh, that's the guy from
And when
Smallville."
I was watching Aqua, I was like, "Hey, that's Hawk." I was like, "What the fuck, cool!" And he gets better, obviously, as that story progresses. But yes, man, Michael Rosenbaum. Wow, I was really, really blown away. He went up into the upper lexicon.
What did you think about them kind of redoing his story? Again, because I mean, Lex is another character that's had so many origins from the comics. He started off like as an evil scientist to a businessman to so.
And
now this one is the first take. Now this one he moves to Smallville,
right.
And he becomes a friend to Clark Kent.
Yeah, and the water gets kind of muddied because Superman lore is kind of muddy water because there is a version I believe where there is a comic version I believe where him and Lex are friends in the Superboy comics.
Yes, and that's one where he's gonna find the kryptonite. He's gonna cure him so he won't have to worry about that. And then the fire,
right?
He uses his super breath. It causes his hair
to fall out. Yeah, it's a different version.
Like, curse you! I'm gonna.
You're my arch nemesis.
Yeah, I was like, just because of your fucking hair.
If somebody balds you, then they are your nemesis for life. That's just the way it is.
So,
I thought it was fine. It worked.
And what did you think of the fucking chemistry between those two? I mean, it's amazing, right?
I wanted them to stay friends. That's how much I liked it.
Yes. Yeah. So I wrote this down. I said, and I think I wrote it in our intro. There's one of the saddest parts of the show is the tragic downfall.
You know what's going to happen.
You're going to become this, and you know it. You know it. It is. But there's moments where you're like, maybe they'll write it where they stay friends.
Maybe not.
Like,
maybe not.
He saves him, and he seems like he wants to save himself at times.
No.
And
or how he just wants to be completely part of the Kent family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's so done with his father and he wants to be part of like a good family.
Yeah.
But he's too damn evil.
What was the episode where he's actually like doing chores on the Kent farm?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's like, man, he's like, oh, I did my part. I got up at 5 a.m. I milked the cow. I did that. And Mr. Kent's like, wow. Like, just like take him back.
Yeah.
In the episode, and I don't know which one it is, you guys will help me. One of the ones you had me watch AA where Lex is going to get married. And Jonathan Kent gives him the watch and then the compass. And then later on, he says, "This kept me alive." A tear was rolling out. I was like, "Oh, that's good." I was like, "Man, he thanked him. Like, you saved my life." Like, his dad, John Kent saved, Lex's life with that compass. I was like, "Fuck, that's good. Like, that's good."
In that episode, he was. What happened was they were losing the farm, and so they were like. Lex comes in and he's like, I bought the bank and
we all know by this point John Kent's like,
he's like,
no
I'm
handouts
not taking
this,
anything from you. I'm gonna leave.
That reminds me real quick. That's what happens in Justice League. I remember Bruce tells Superman, "Oh, I bought the bank.
I bought the bank. Yeah.
I bought the farm."
How'd you get the bank to sell the thing?" He's like, "Yeah, that's
I wonder if they got that from there.
Probably."
Yeah. Well, because he tells him, he's like, I bought the bank and I did this, and he's like, I can't accept that. And then that's when Lex is like, he shows him the compass, and he's like, your compass, your gift saved my life on that. And that's the only way Jonathan Kent would have been like okay with that, taking that.
Because in episode 1, he buys him a truck. Lex buys Clark a truck, and he's like,
take it
back. I'm like, damn, Dad, you like I felt Clark. I was like, man, that's fuck.
But you know what? But okay, so that at the end, there was episode 1. They talk about Lionel Luthor. Mm-hmm. Lionel Luthor giving certain little gifts to like earn your trust and earn your, and then screwing you over afterwards.
And guys, what do you think of John Glover?
Oh, he's amazing.
From about seasons 1 through 5, this guy's like the biggest dick you ever seen.
This guy. I was like, sir, you are doing some fantastic acting because you are on my last fucking nerve. Yes. I'm like,
he's
can you die already? Can someone? Can Lex kill you? Like,
he's like that girl from, and I'm showing my age, but Little House on the Prairie that everybody hates.
Oh, jeez.
And I mean, like everybody hates him, but you're like, you're so good. You're so good.
This is a milestone moment for Just on the Friday Night. First mention of Little House ever right now. On the corner. So very good there. Very, very well done.
But guys, I mean, it kind of shows you this is the guy who Lex ends up becoming.
Yes.
And they're showing you. But worse. Man, Lionel, worse. And it's kind of hard to say worse because, man, if you see the seasons, Lionel just gets worse and worse. This guy is like the ultimate Smallville villain for about seasons. Like really seasons 2 through well even maybe 2 really where he really dips his feet in there. They're like about 5 or 6.
Well, season 1 he shuts the whole plant down and kills like basically puts everybody on the job.
And not only that, but he holds like a press conference with everybody there and the thing, and he's like, by the way, plant's shutting down next Monday. Have a good weekend. Bye.
He's like today.
I'm like, oh yeah, effective immediately. I'm like, fuck, what an asshole, man. Like John Glover did an amazing job. He
did.
I don't know. You guys have to help me, but it seems like at one point, and something I was watching, he's a trusted part of the group, and I'm like, there has been too much damage. Why would? And this is something I wrote down, and AA helped me out with this. when we were talking about it, he's like, okay, what are you thinking? Like, as we're coming into the episode. And I was like, man, the fucking naivety of, like, Clark is so fucking frustrating for me. Again, because I'm a Superman fan, and he...
And I told him, I go, well, remember, Clark's only supposed to be about 14. Like, whole season, the whole series takes place in 10 years. Mm-hmm. So he goes from 14 to 24.
30-year-old man?
Yeah. But in the show, Lex is talking to a 14-year-old. He's hanging out with the 14, 15-year-old, you know? So, I mean, yeah, he's going to be real naive about a lot of stuff.
I'm not going to call it naive. I'm going to say that, just like Superman... He's optimistic about everything.
And what I loved about that is that they didn't bring that out. I mean, they didn't like shut that down. They kept it throughout the whole 10 seasons. They kept him being very optimistic.
Even like all the way up in like 8, he's very optimistic. Even about Lex, like he's like, I can bring him back. I can, I mean, there's so much there that he's like, maybe this can be saved. We can try to do this. There's a part where they're I don't remember what episode it is. The Legion shows up.
Yes.
And they're like, we got to kill so-and-so.
Did he show you that one? That was a really good one,
They're like, we have to kill so-and-so. He's like, there's got to be a way. He's like, there's a way. We can get around this. We can do this. There's a way. And he figures it out.
Yeah, and they're like, no, you can't. This has already been written. It's already been done. And like, he's just like, no, that's not how this is done. This is not how I do shit.
And that's a very Superman characteristic.
Yeah. It very is. Cool. It really is.
Well, his S means hope, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, I believe in this show it's the family crest.
It's the House of L.
The House of L. Yeah. Which I like it when it's both. I like when I like when the family crest, the House of L, is the symbol for hope. Because he gets marked with another symbol at one point, which is supposed to mean hope, also. I believe.
Is that the circle?
I had a hard time with some of the stuff with I feel like the caves. The caves are getting mentioned a lot.
I forgot about that until CM kind of reminded me about the cave shit. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. The whole Destiny.
They dragged
he falls
that.
from the sky.
Yeah, it felt because Double A pretty much gave me one episode per season, except for very few seasons he gave me 2 episodes. What I gave
was like a very basic greatest hits that you find from like a band.
And he reads me like a book because he knew exactly the ones were going to hit me in the field. So Double A gave me great episodes for that, which they'd hit me. I was like, you knew. I know why you knew I was going to like this, and so it was good. And it was funny because there was a brief moment where I got through them and I was waiting for Double A to send me more, so I went and watched a couple of my own. And what my plan was to do for this was just to watch season premieres and season finales. Because I was like, I'll get the gist of the highlights of the story. Yeah. But John gave me a great episode with the little boy, right? Which was just a great feel good story where the little boy has powers.
I love that one.
And he can read minds or whatever, and he makes the Kent's breakfast, and it's like, and Clark kind of wants a little brother. You know what I mean?
The reason why I actually gave seeing that one is because Lex comes in with the comic book.
Warrior Angel.
That's right.
And he gives it to him, and he talks about how Warrior Angel has an arch nemesis that were friends before. And I was just like, man, that's so fitting.
Very.
And he's like, hey, and he tells Clark, hey, you need to be careful for your friend.
For Lex. Yeah, that's what sucks is that he's like, even this dude, this kid is giving him like a warning. Like, you need to be careful with Lex.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get to show you, there was one episode too where he's kind of helping out like at a retirement home. And there's like a woman that sees the future, right?
I love that. I love that episode.
At the end, Lex goes up to her and she's like, he's like, can you read mine? And she sees like him becoming the president, but it's like raining blood.
Oh, shit.
In a white
He's wearing the all-white suit with the glove.
And it's so traumatic that the fucking lady dies.
Wow.
And he's like this, like in your hand, he's like this, like he goes like he sees that she's dead. He's like, holy shit.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Like her face is just like stuck in like almost like a terror kind of like, not like but like kind of like holy shit. Like it was so much for her that she fucking died.
I'll go back and watch. I'll go back and watch because that's how much this show did for me just right now, is that in the episodes you guys gave me, is that I was like, this is a good show. And it was great because I could just jump in like that. Like it didn't need a lot.
Yeah, that's what it was. And CM kind of told me that in the car when I was getting him. He was like, it's kind of a cool series that you can kind of go into one episode and not really worry about what happens with the other episodes, right. Because and then he reminded me too about the recaps that Smallville was kind of did recaps.
You have some recaps on some.
It would tell you some of like the story. So so I was like, okay, cool. So
it probably helps that I have a little bit of background with the character as well. And so I'm like, oh, that's Ma Kent, that's Pa Kent, like I got it.
On that one episode we were talking about with that old lady, is like, I like when she touches Clark. She says like, I don't see her. I don't see your future. I just see it's just the sky, like, and it like you can see like it's just the cape and it's the blue sky behind it and that's it. She's like,
Oh, that's
you don't
cool.
have an end. I was like, and then like I think he actually sees like it's just and I don't know if it's that same one or not, but he's in a graveyard and it's all the tombstones around
Is it that
everybody.
one?
I don't know if it's that one or not.
Yeah.
That's dark.
But it's like
Yeah, that was
he's
that
by.
was tough.
I think it was that one where he's by himself and he's like he outlived everybody.
Yeah. Because it does show that he's gonna live for a long time. Like Superman, I don't know when he dies, but he's gonna outlive pretty much everyone.
Yeah, because she says I don't see it, but she does tell him. She goes, "You're gonna like the whole thing with that episode was." She goes, "You're gonna lose somebody close to you," and he's like, the whole episode he's trying to save Lana, he's trying to save Chloe, he's trying to save Pete, he's trying to save everybody, even Lex, and then like she dies because she saw Lex's thing, and it was because he was close to her.
See, what did you think of some of the episodes some of the characters that you saw, like a Pete, a Chloe, a Lana? What did you kind of think of like those supporting characters? Because they're kind of newish, for a lot of people that didn't read the Superboy comics. Like Chloe is a whole new character.
Yeah.
Yes, Chloe's a whole new
Pete apparently is a character from the comics. Lana obviously. What did you think about them fleshing those characters out?
I thought it was great. I mean, like, I thought it was nice to get a lot more background on Lana. There are episodes, again, where, like, I'm able to grasp enough out of the context of what's going on, like, when I'm in some of the later episodes where I'm like, her frustration. And what bothers me is that, what bothered me a lot was the fact that it was like, but again, here's where I was talking about earlier, the conflict, where it's like, Clark wants to be really close to certain people. He wants to be close to Lana. Later, he wants to be close to Lois. But he doesn't trust them. He trusts all these other people. It says two things about him. It says, A, I trust these other people more than you, which sucks for that person, Lois or Lana or whoever. And B, it says, hey, person that I trust, I don't tell them my secret because I don't want them to die because of who I am. But if you die, I'll probably get over it. And yeah, poor Chloe, because she was the ducky. The ducky. She's the fucking ducky the whole time. And I'm like, man, you're hot. Like,
That's
it's
funny.
like, you're the ducky? Like,
She really bothered me though.
tell me
because
what
she
annoyed you. I want to know.
She could have had Clark if she really wanted to.
If she put out.
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I'm just
This
checking.
is Superman.
I'm just
no.
checking. Hey,
Wow.
hey, later on, I saw him break into ATMs. I saw him going to the club. He was going to the club. He wasn't being very good. He wasn't being a very good Superman.
There was a part where Clark was trying to get with
shit.
Chloe. He takes her to prom or something
spring-
like that. The
the
spring
spring
whatever's. And
But he's still into Lana, though.
yeah, he's still into yes,
bad.
he is. But he
Real
is. But he
bad.
knows he can't. He feels like he
that
can't get her,
Usher
so he
song?
was
You got it
trying to
bad?
go.
He's like fucking stuck on her for like about 7 seasons.
And that's another thing I was annoyed with Chloe. But the first one is she is about to kiss. They're about to kiss, and this tornado happens
Yeah.
or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
and he goes and saves Lana.
Season 1
Yeah,
finale.
he's like, see ya.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, then-
that was rough.
Well, then she's so upset at him, and so she does this like passive aggressive, like talking to him, like, "Oh, it's so good that I went and was in Metropolis.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's right.
And I forgot about Smallville for 3 whole months. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh,
I
and
met
by
a
the way,
guy.
and I met a guy. Like she's trying to make
Yeah.
him
And
jealous.
Clark was like, hey, hooray.
Yeah, yeah,
Good
but
job.
like
Good for you.
all she had to do was be cool about it. You know what I mean? Like she kept trying. Like every time he kept trying to talk to her, she was making him feel bad. Like, girl, he's never gonna get with you if every time you're around he feels bad because of the thing that didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What
I think she even says in that one episode, she's like, "Oh, well, your friend getting saved, you know what I mean, is an automatic forgiveness." But she's kind of annoyed by the fact she has to forgive him because he saved Lana.
What did you
Yeah.
think about them kind of trying to make her almost like a Lois Lane character? Because she was like that big reporter that was always trying to get every fucking secret out, every story out,
Yeah.
What did you think about her kind of being the Lois?
There were definitely aspects of that were like real obvious. So it was like, oh, okay, they're kind of trying to inject that or
Right.
whatever. And I guess my thought process was maybe like, oh, maybe this is what he'll see qualities in Lois later on when he realizes, oh, she's this,
Well, I feel
gonna
like
be
she taught both
ultimate reporter.
Clark and Lois how to be.
Yeah, so that
the
threw me off.
reporters.
That threw me off when it was like, oh, they're related, and
Yeah.
oh, you're bringing this character in now because it's
Which
like
I didn't think was going to happen. I
Right.
never thought the Lois
Right.
Lane character was going to be in.
Yeah,
That's why I thought Chloe was going to be that kind of like
Right.
that Lois Lane
Yeah.
right.
character.
And then when
And
you,
like
you
you said, like,
you meet someone later with qualities
Yeah.
that you liked in another person, and you're
and
like,
it kind of
oh,
reminds you, yeah,
right? You know what I mean? So that
But
that
you're better
makes sense.
looking.
right.
Sorry.
We'll talk about Erica Durance a little bit, right? Is my saying it
Not
right?
Roxanne's favorite.
Durance. Oh,
I've never really found a Lois that I super liked, except for Terry Hatcher in the first couple of seasons of Lois and Clark.
She didn't like
She
when they-
was
when they got the
super
haircut.
hot in that.
She didn't like
Oh,
the
yeah,
It
haircut.
is very
yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
It's very
You didn't like the
nasty.
haircut.
she's a great Lois.
Oh, the ugly haircut with Terry Hatcher.
When
that
you
I
showed
sent
me
you.
that, I was like, wow,
But-
I'm glad I don't remember those episodes.
And see,
because
I fell in
remember.
love with Erica Durance probably in season 8.
I can
And
see
we'll,
that.
and we'll get into it
I can see that.
after the break.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break,
She has
guys,
a
real
great
quick.
body.
Oh yeah.
Erica Durance. Oh, yeah,
She has a
definitely.
Yeah.
great body. I
That,
can
that
admit
Aquaman
that
episode
one.
when she's in the bikini.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. We'll talk more, guys. We'll take a quick break to get your thoughts on Smallville, 20 years, a reflection on the show. All right, guys, for you out there in the Friday Night Faithful, it looks like some comments rolled in, or some Smallville fans out here. Let me scroll on up here so Double A can help me get through these here, 'cause I can't read for shit.
Rich again with the fucking jab. DC is better than Marvel.
Oh.
All
Just
right,
kidding, just
all
kidding.
right. I mean, you know, we're
and
ripping
then-
DC tonight, so
I
you
got-
know.
And then Rich says, nice. I love Smallville. Very good show. One of my favorites.
Nice.
He goes, that's awesome. That's a good thing about shows like that. It brings people together. It really did. The show was really good, and it really shows how Clark grew into Superman, which
Yeah.
I loved. I really loved that about
Me
that.
too.
He says Lois and Clark kind of gives me that Smallville vibe. Just my opinion. Huh. Did you guys think that? Lois and Clark? Kind of the Smallville vibe?
I'm not sure if I connected it to that, but I
Oh,
like that it was
I think
colorful.
I think
I
he
guess
means
maybe
the
He's talking about
maybe
the-
him
the
and
Rich-
Lois.
Rich, I think you
The
mean
new
the
one?
Superman and Lois show.
Oh, okay.
Because I
Okay.
agree with that.
Oh, okay.
There,
okay.
there are aspects where you feel like
Oh.
you're like, oh, okay, like this.
Well,
It's
'cause
not a
they're-
continuation, but there's vibes of it.
I didn't care for that Lois either.
Elizabeth Tulloch.
He loves
yeah.
her.
I think she's right.
She's
She's a
got
good
that like
Lois.
small skinny nose.
Rizzo says, hey guys, I'll celebrate my sister's promotion, so I'll catch a replay. Miss you guys. Stay invincible. Thanks, Riz.
Appreciate it, brother. Stay invincible.
Rich says, I agree. I think Lana was just very conniving.
Not at first though.
But she does
once,
get that way,
once
though.
she started hanging out with Lex a lot.
Man, I hated that when he started banging Lana. I'm
Yeah.
like, golly.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's in my questions here, guys. I was like, wait, and all the
Man.
stuff I watched, it's
Man,
like I
oh,
get
man.
impressions, and I'm like, then I see like a flashback of Lex in the finale, and I'm like, oh, they were gonna get married.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
what the
man.
fuck,
That was very
man?
frustrating. Rich says Lex was the bad guy you rooted for in Smallville in some of the episodes.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Definitely
It's-
against Lionel.
Yes, I was gonna say when he's going up against Lionel, and especially in season 1, the last episode, the Tempest one I showed you.
Mm-hmm. Great episode.
When
Thank you.
he like Lionel, like there's a storm coming, there's tornadoes hidden, and like Lionel just bursts into his living room. He's like, "You're using your mother's trust fund against me." I'm like, and they're going back and forth at it. I'm like, and then he just looks and he sees like the tree comes in. He's like,
That's
"Help
right.
me!
That's
I'm your
right.
father. Help
Yeah.
me!" He's just looking at him like,
Dude,
"Man, I could let you die."
I was like,
I'm
let this
"Yeah."
bitch die. I was like, and then when he saves him, I'm like, oh, you a bitch. You not Lex Luthor yet. You
Not
like
yet.
you're a hoe
Not
right
yet.
now.
Hey,
Not
but
yet,
did you?
Jim,
And
not
you saw
yet.
you saw the season premiere one where he's like, "My dad saw it as weakness."
Yep.
He was like, he saw me hesitate.
Yeah.
He saw his weakness.
And
I
I'm
was
like, but you know that he was gonna think that. Why the fuck? I'm
Yeah.
like, and there's a lot of times too where the other characters have other characters by the balls and they don't fucking say nothing. I'm like, I'd be like, I will if I see that's why I don't have to. I've been thinking about very un-Clark shit where I'm like, I'm just gonna crush your hand to dust, just
Oh,
leave the
damn.
skin, the flesh bag skin on your wrist. I'm like, there's so many times where there's just stuff that they just don't do or say, especially like Lex. But then I'm like, see, this is the conflict with you. You're not Lex yet.
And that's why people get frustrated with the Superman character as
Yeah.
opposed to somebody else.
Right.
Well, Batman will do that, but Superman's not going to do that.
Right.
You know. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Rich says, what streaming platform are they showing Smallville? They are
Hulu.
showing on Hulu.
Mhm.
You can catch the whole 10 seasons on
Yep.
Hulu.
Yes, sir.
And then Rich says, yes, the one CM said. I don't
I don't know
remember.
what you said.
Oh, Superman and Lois. Superman and Lois
Yeah.
show. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I always want to call it Lois and Clark too, but that one's actually called Superman and Lois. So, because of the vibe that y'all like of this show, and from what I watch, I think that y'all would like it. Like, you know, it's the way that this is a different take. It's a different take, and you could almost feel as though maybe it's a take that happens after that take. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you know, like, so I think that's cool in that respect.
Rick says, could Smallville be a show you would recommend for someone to know more about Superman's story or how he grew into Superman? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would say
Definitely.
Yeah, because it does a great job of it really grabs a lot of bits of the mythos, you know what I mean? But I mean, like, you know, obviously it's not going to be a true to comic
It's not
telling,
true
but
to comic.
yeah, but it grabs a lot, and I really did like that because I was like, oh wow, it's giving you a lot of time. And it really did take Double A saying, like, hey, you got to think about the ages. Like, this is, like, essentially the formative years. You're not Superman yet. And it's like, oh, man, like, there's so much fucking back and forth. Yeah. Like, I became frustrated in the brief bit that I was. I can't imagine what y'all were going through, let alone, I want to talk about that when we get back on, but I want to talk about, like, the waiting. Like, oh, my God. Like, I couldn't imagine. I would have been like, ah! Like, I'm dying. Like, what the fuck happened, you know?
Well, you have to remember, too, like, that show, I mean, for me, introduced me to other characters I never heard of before. Mm-hmm. I I kind of heard about Brainiac, but then like they're like, oh, they got a whole season of this guy, 2 seasons, 3, and then you got Metallo, and you get introduced to other characters that Superman in his comic books were dealing with, but maybe only got a couple of issues, you know, and it's like they were just a small sub character, but on the show you get to see them and you're like, oh, okay, that's a modernized version of what they are, or that's how they did that, you know. You see a Doomsdays, you know. I mean, you know, it's not to take away from that, but you see different characters that are there that, you know, you normally wouldn't see in a movie.
No,
but you get introduced to these characters, so it gives you a little bit more perspective on that, you know.
Yeah,
so.
no, for sure. The JSA stuff that Double A showed me, I was
Which
like,
I thought was
wow.
cool.
You
just never got to see that.
The original Sandman, you know what I mean?
You never really got to see that in any
Hawkman,
other
I was like,
medium.
oh, wow, okay, that's cool. And it looked cool. I was like, hey, it looks good. It doesn't look shitty, you know what I mean? So, good stuff. Excuse me. All right, guys, I think that's it for the comments. Let's check if we're ready to keep the ball rolling here on Smallville, our kind of 20-year introspective perspective. I don't know if that's right.
Introspective.
Somebody help me out. Roxanne, help me out. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Hold on.
Okay, we'll give it a minute here before Johnny gets back here.
Go ahead.
Let's see here if we got any other comments.
Yeah, so I mean, you know,
I hope that answers your question though, Rich. But yeah, I think that it would be good.
I would recommend it. Because I can't really think of any other kind of like Superman show. Like Superboy, I don't remember Superboy very much.
Back a little bit because I think.
Did I push
No.
Lois and Clark is more about already him being Superman.
Yeah, he's already Superman.
You know?
I mean,
the George Reeves, man, that's just really just bank robbers and mobsters. You know, it's not. I wouldn't recommend that one unless you're just a big Superman fan. Then I would recommend George Reeves.
One of the things you like to say, Double A, is about, does something capture the spirit of something? Does it capture the essence? And I think that this does that really well, because if you need to understand, you know, like why Superman is the way he is.
What's so cool is that the Tom Welling Clark never crosses that line ever. There's never a time, you know, it's like you said, for him there's always another option. We don't have to kill this guy. Unless he's got red kryptonite. But I mean, usually.
But even then, he doesn't. I didn't see a difference where he killed.
Well, he didn't kill, but he robbed a damn bank.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
But I mean, the murder.
And he was clubbing.
But you know, like murder. You know, like all the way bad. He never even comes close to crossing that fucking line. Yeah. You know, it's like no. There's gonna be another option. I don't care what you think of this dude or this chick. No, we're gonna try and save her.
Jason.
Hey, good night, Jason.
Yeah, I do love that it really honed in on like the morality aspects of it or whatever, and it helps you to kind of see, you know, you a lot of people like to cast stones at Superman or whatever for being the big blue Boy Scout, you know what I mean? And I'm like, if you watch a show like this, and if somebody were to put that on you and you'd be like, man, well, what about like how you were raised and your dad and things like that? It's like, you can see why that is the way he is.
But I like the way they kept it. I mean, and Tom Welling does a really good job of keeping that.
Fantastic job.
So,
and Tom Welling wasn't even a fan of Superman.
No,
he didn't read the comics.
He turned it down like about 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm. He definitely had the look.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what a great 6'3",
6'4", whatever he is.
Yeah,
you know
the blue eyes and the black hair. It's like that's a big. You know, you got to have those Superman aspects. So for sure, I mean, I think he had it in spades. But let's talk more. We're talking Smallville, but we're going to keep talking Smallville, and we are come back right now. Everybody ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out during that quick blip. We read through some comments. Rich, a big fan of the Smallville
Yeah, that's
series.
awesome, Rich. Finally, something we can agree on.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is what we mainly care about when we're talking in the main topic part. If we can all agree, that'd be great. At least that. Well, I like when some people say why I hated it too, and then why. But if you hated it, you probably didn't watch that much of it. So,
and I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of parts of Smallville, probably between 5 and 7, maybe, that I was like, okay, I think it's reached this point. I think it needs to end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I got kind of frustrated already by that point.
Was it Lana being a witch?
No, that was before that. That was before that.
It just
y'all spared me a lot. I can see
more-
here.
This is more
you don't
Kara,
want to know
right?
that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
was
everything by this point. It was just kind of like, they had all changed and everything, and it seemed like they were pulling strings already. That they were just
Clutching at straws.
They're just dragging this story along, and then it was like finally, like season 8 was the season where they finally let loose on all the Superman mythos.
Right.
Finally, him and Lois started getting closer. Him and Oliver started bringing more of the team aspect and everything, and they started bringing in more classic villains.
Yeah, and there's that,
and
right?
all
I
that.
see that, Arrow had like a recurring role because he was in all those intros I
Did
watched.
you
and I
like
was like,
Oliver? This Oliver?
I loved him.
Me too.
As
I thought he was
Oliver.
great.
So here's how confused I was: is that like the whole time, like the show Arrow was running, I thought it was this guy out of that one. It was this?
No.
I was like,
No.
they built that show right off of this guy,
Yeah.
because they dressed the same too, with the
Yeah, they
hood
did.
and the
Yeah.
no sleeves. I think pretty much it's like
And
almost identical.
he was fantastic. I loved him as Oliver Queen. Now, I read that the reason why they brought in Oliver was because they couldn't get Bruce Wayne. Some legal fucking
So
shit that, of course, for some reason, they can never get Batman.
throughout my watching it, I was like, man, this would have been so fucking
If it was
more
Bruce,
better if
right?
it was Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
because it hits those notes.
For some reason, even though it's all under the WB, they wouldn't let them use Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of really frustrating.
They said originally the show was gonna be an origin story of the Batman,
Of Batman.
but they couldn't
Yeah.
secure
It's not
that.
all the fucking red tape that DC does,
Yeah.
and
Wasn't there an episode where, correct me if I'm wrong, there was an episode where it shows Lex's childhood where he's at the boarding school.
yes, and this is
And-
where him and Green Arrow
Right.
they tie in. Yeah.
They're together there.
That's
but
cool.
I thought they mentioned, like in that episode, I thought they mentioned Bruce Wayne. Like
They
in
could
passing.
have. They probably could have, and it's probably as far as they can go with Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne, probably. But I mean, Oliver was supposed to be that substitute. I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
the same backstory, almost. With the billionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Billionaire Playboy.
yeah,
with the parents that
everything. But then
died.
his back, him crashing on that desert island, being
Yeah.
taught by the other,
Right.
Arrow. So I mean,
Yeah.
but he was cool. I liked him a lot. I liked
Yeah.
him as kind of Clark's like mentor almost.
Yeah.
He kind of prepares Clark for all this kind of shit.
Yeah, and it's neat too, where he eventually gets to have them trust in him so much that
Big
people
time.
believe in him so much. I forget what episode it is where I think it might be it's Oliver that says, or no, I think it's Arthur that says. One of them says it. They tell him, "I don't believe in whatever, but I believe in you." You know what I mean? And they're like, "You're like, oh shit!" Like it's like and like this whole time they can all see that this bigger thing is coming for him. You know what I mean? And they're like, "We're behind you."
And
man."
you got to
Like,
think too, like of course they're going to be behind it. This can kick our asses.
Oh yeah, I mean his power is certainly there or whatever. I wrote that down. I wanted to ask you guys about that. So, in the beginning, we see what strength and speed are
You
kind
see
of the only
strength,
things.
speed. Yeah, that's
Heat
about
vision
it.
comes later.
Heat vision
right?
comes in, which is a very funny episode.
That's awesome.
That's a funny
episode.
one.
Okay.
You gotta watch
No,
it.
I didn't see that
Oh.
one. No.
So it's pretty much his puberty. It's
Yeah.
like when it's kind of like he's, like his puberty, and because like
It's like set in like the hottest day of Kansas, like
and his
where
eyes
they're
are
at.
just burning.
And he's like, well, it's like they're in school and they got a new teacher,
A hot teacher.
and she's like super hot, and
which
she's
I think
actually-
ends up becoming Lex's
she's
wife
actually
or
trying to
something.
marry Lex.
Or yeah,
Yeah, and she can
it's some
She's
bullshit.
got-
meteor thing or
a
whatever.
meteor power.
But like he sees her and she's like sweat dripping on,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
Yeah.
I'll go
oh,
back and
it's
watch
her.
that one.
Kind of like me
Uh-huh.
right now.
I
And
know.
then-
It's a little
yeah.
warm in here.
And then all of a sudden he's like, and he just starts shooting his fucking lasers. at,
Oh,
there's a funny
shit.
scene where he kind of asks Jonathan, and Jonathan's like, "Okay, think about when it happened. What were you doing?" And he starts thinking about like Lana or something, and it fucking happens.
well,
and,
but
But no, he couldn't do it at first.
But Jonathan's
Yeah.
like, he's like, look at him, he's like, think about what happened with it, and he's like, I don't need to be here when you're doing that. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
back. And he like walks
No,
off.
no,
and he's like,
but Jonathan figures it out. He's like, I think I know
Yeah.
what the problem is, and he's like, And that's when he's such. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, I'm."
It's a funny
I'm
scene, yeah. So
hindering it.
after he does it, like Jonathan, it kind of shows him where it's like he's not looking at me. He fucking starts kind of like laughing, like he's like shit. Even he goes through this shit, you know. As strong and powerful as he is, even he fucking goes through puberty too, you know.
Right.
Like so, it's a pretty funny scene.
Very
And
cool.
It seemed like that too. That kind of shows like why you fell in love with John Schneider.
Yeah.
His Jonathan Kent,
Yeah.
because you're just like, you know, this dude understands, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
I mean, that guy was all about family and all about, you know, it's
Very strong family values.
Okay. And I saw him use the freeze breath in a later episode. Is that prevalent throughout, or does that not happen often? I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys remember really.
he didn't.
It really doesn't show that one.
Yeah,
he
not
doesn't
that
really.
much.
It's kind of like a.
But it's kind of cool because they really don't show it in any medium, honestly, of
No.
Superman ever using like his breath like that.
Well, part 3 of the movies with.
Yeah, but like I said, it's never really shown like all the way, you know?
Yeah. And that's a good power of his. That does. It's kind of an underused power.
It really is. I mean, it's something that's like, man, they should be showing that power more often.
Okay, let me ask you guys about something. So we talked about the meteor rocks, right? I felt like this was a very heavy.
Yeah.
It moved
There
the
was-
story along.
It was kind of a lot of the criticism for the first season was pretty much based on that kind of shit.
Okay.
The meteor freak of the week. That's what
Yeah.
they used to
Okay.
call it.
Okay.
And
yeah.
it
I
was pretty
actually
much.
kind of enjoyed. The
I did
freaks.
too. I didn't think it was bad. But a lot of people said that was like the main criticism for like maybe the early seasons.
Well, when you watch the first ones, they have the like freak of the week that they would say, but it was kind of like what is Allison Mack's name?
Chloe.
Chloe, Clark, and Pete were kind of like the Scooby Gang figuring out
Yeah.
Oh,
something.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. I liked.
I didn't mind it
Scooby.
either. I thought it was fine. I mean, again, they're 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know they don't look like
14.
14.
Yeah,
14-year-olds.
I don't know if I've kind of maybe like, not to sound like I'm awesome, like connoisseur of TV now or whatever, but like outgrown that a little bit. When you guys wanted me to watch Lucifer, I think was it you guys that tried to get me to
Yeah.
watch it?
I
So I
didn't
started to
like
watch it. Yeah, and I was watching it with Jess, and the thing that I didn't like is I was like, after like 2, 3, 4 episodes, I was like, oh, this is always going to be like, he's teamed up with this cop girl and they're going to figure out the thing of the week, and I was like, I don't like it. Like, I thought there was cool shit that was going on with him that I wanted to know more about, but I was like, oh, you're going to give me that in small doses, and then I have to be dealing with this other story. I don't like that.
In Smallville, it was kind of different because it kind of just showed you. Yeah, that was the main plot, but it was, it gave you more Jonathan.
Right,
It gave
sure.
you that
Yeah.
part.
Well-
Where he grows. Why? You can see where he becomes Superman, and the values he has is because of Mom and Pa Kent. You
Yeah.
know? So it's getting ready for Lois. Oh, you see that in Chloe.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
Lex. How he probably goes from trusting this really good guy and maybe not trusting too much. So yeah, I mean.
Well, I
No.
would say this, like my thought was with this whole Freak of the Week thing, Meteor Freak of the Week, I felt like it was able to showcase whatever villain it was able to showcase his powers at the moment. Because when you first start out, the only thing we know of him is that he knows of himself is he's fast. He can run fast. Like, he knows that the first episode, he's like, oh man, I missed the bus. I can run to the next place faster than the bus gets there. So that's all he knows he's strong. He knows he's fast. But he doesn't really know, like, other things. Like, so throughout the episodes, he's like, the Bug Boy episode, Roxanne's favorite.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but I like it.
But there's a scene in this Bug Boy episode where, and it's the same guy from, like, Final Destination.
Final Destination.
And
Devin Sawa?
No,
Oh.
his friend.
No, the background guy.
remember.
Anyway, the guy pushes him off, and Jonathan falls down in the loft, and he's gonna land on this machinery.
Yeah,
It's got
that's
knives
right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Clark just runs over. Instead of catching him, he lays down on the thing while Jonathan hits him, and he breaks the machinery while he catches him. And I'm kind of like, okay, you're trying to showcase that you can.
He doesn't know how to use
you're not hurt.
Yeah.
You can do that. You see other ones where with the Tina Greer or whatever her name was, where she's the one that shapeshifts into other people.
Yes, Tina. Yes,
Tina, yeah.
yes.
So she's doing that, and that's where Clark learns his X-ray vision, and he can see like,
Oh, that was cool.
you have
The
meteorite
kryptonite shit.
or
Yeah.
kryptonite. Yeah, you have kryptonite in your bones.
That's cool.
So like you can shapeshift and stuff. So Clark's every episode in that first season gives you a little bit more insight into what he can or can't do.
Well, that's
So-
kind of neat then.
It is, and that's what I'm saying. Like they
Different
were saying,
creatures that bring out the powers.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I
Right.
didn't watch enough of season 1 to grasp that, but that's
there was
cool.
all kinds of like the bug boy was the one that he's talking about. There was the guy who was always cold,
Yeah.
Oh, the one
And-
that got he
he had
Crater
to
Lake.
eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
and the girl who was played by
Amy Adams,
Amy
right? Yeah,
Adams.
Lois.
Oh wow, neat.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
Future Lois
she
Lane.
she was fat and then lost the weight by having a milkshake
With,
Like
Kryptonite
kryptonite in it,
Yeah.
which
That's where
she
it's at. Right there.
She lost like
She
40 pounds in one day.
she lost like 40 pounds in
It's
one
almost
day.
like the movie Thinner.
Yeah,
And then she
okay.
finds out she kind of has to eat people.
she has to eat people
Yeah.
to,
Suck
keep,
their
to stay
fat.
alive,
to stay alive.
And
yeah.
she likes Pete.
and she
And
wants
yeah,
to eat
she
him
really
too.
likes Pete
Mhm.
because Pete was always nice to her, but she like really likes Pete, and yeah, so there's that bullshit.
So, now that's cool because it seems like those plots were derived to
fine.
bring
They're-
something
And
out.
then you gotta remember too, this is Superman. They're comic book plot.
Yeah,
lines,
comic book
you
plots.
know?
Yeah,
Think about it like
yeah.
that.
Thinking
you
about
know?
it like that does make me change the way I feel about it. Because again, like I said, with the Lucifer thing, it didn't feel that way. Which also reminds me too, there were quite a few episodes of the X-Files that I was like frustrated by. Although they would sometimes be good, I'd be frustrated by it because I'm like, I want more about the sister and the smoking man and like where's the aliens. I wouldn't like when they would go off kilter because it would be like redirect. But then I gotta imagine back then, I think these showrunners were trying to drag the shows out. Like you want to get as much show as you can out of it or whatever.
And too, you got to remember too, it was kind of like Lex. It was his origin too. So every time we get Lex stories, I was always into the Lex stories. Too.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Always.
Totally.
Because even though he was trying to be good, there were still some things that he would do that were very shady. That you're just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
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 He didn't
Well, it's
know
like,
how to be
don't
good.
do it.
Well, it's
Yeah,
like-
don't do it.
It's like one of the episodes where Clark shows up at the mansion and he's like, "Man, cool gift!" And it's the full like Trojan army with the
Yeah.
Trojan horse,
yeah.
and he's like, "That's an awesome gift." And he's like, "It's not a gift, Clark." He's like, "Oh," he says, "My dad gave it to me." He's like, "Oh, it's a cool gift." He's like, "It wasn't a gift; it was a lesson."
Yeah.
He's like, "My dad always had lessons. He was always teaching me things with all this stuff." And I'm like,
Yeah.
And it's one of those too where he gives him like a lead box, and that's where he finds out too that he can't see through lead.
yeah."
It was like one of the Lex stuff.
It was
It was
made
a-
from
like
the.
an armor.
The armor.
It says the made from the
Saint
armor of
George.
St. George. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, it was always cool
But
like
that was
that.
his mom.
And he
His
puts,
mom gave him that one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
His
right.
mom gave him that one.
He puts Lana's meteorite necklace in it.
That's
which
right. Her
I
meteorite
thought-
necklace.
Her meteorite necklace, I think, is really fucking weird.
I know.
Who,
but you know
Lana's?
what? Yeah.
Yes.
But you know
And the
what?
ma- yeah.
When Roxanne said it, I was like, "You're right. That's
That's
creepy."
like wearing the bullet that killed your
That
parents.
killed- yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's
it's
right.
made of the meteorite that,
That
killed
hit her parents.
Her
Yeah, that's in the
parents.
first in the
Oh,
pilot.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
And-
that.
I was like,
And later it
What?
becomes depowered or something like that.
yeah,
Right?
it
So it
turns,
turns-
The
doesn't-
ship.
Yeah.
The
to
ship.
crystal.
Effect.
That's
ship-
right.
the
That's
ship
right.
took it away.
Yeah, yeah.
Did they ever bring back Whitney? Did they ever talk about him again?
They
Or-
do.
Yeah.
There's a shape. I think it's Tina. She
Yeah.
comes back acting like Whitney, but
Yeah.
it shows that Whitney died in war.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
in the
I
Marines.
didn't care for Whitney.
I didn't either.
No,
I
me
thought-
That's why they
Whitney.
got rid of
Yeah,
the
he was a
girl.
dick. Yeah. A question I wrote down here for maybe the Smallville aficionados here is like the kryptonite. How close does it have to be effective?
3 feet.
It seems like there's different times
There's
where
yeah.
he could like be like and push it away, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm good again." You know what I mean? There's other times where it's like it's just in the room and it's like fucking him up real bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, so like there's the and I think it was episode 2 or episode 1, episode 2, where Lex gives him the lead box.
Mhm.
He opens it. It's right there.
That's right.
Clark's
That's right.
looking at it. He's
Yeah.
holding it, and he's like, he's holding his hand there, and it's like shaking, and it looks like an old man's hand. Like it's like
That's right. Yeah, when the veins would come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like, looking, he's like,
That's
"Ah,"
right.
and he closes it.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to be close to it. It's like, I think.
That's right. I forgot about
I
that
think
shit,
with
too.
Smallville, it's more of a for that Clark. I think it's more of a he can try to will himself through it
okay.
to try to get past it.
Yeah.
But it's more
There's
of
just
a
no way though. That's
it-
just like his ultimate weakness.
And
And-
maybe too sometimes the concentration of it, maybe because
Well,
sometimes
like
it
I
seems
said,
like a really pure
piece.
form or
We're
a really
talking about a small
piece.
rock as opposed to
Right.
Lex has
Well,
got drones.
remember, Sam, in the comics, it takes him almost all the way to Kingdom Come for him to finally not even
Be-
feel the
yeah,
effects
be-
of kryptonite
yeah, that's true.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's the tolerance I guess he builds up over the decades for that shit.
So can you guys help me? Look, I have this question down too. By the time we get to the episode Aqua, which I think is episode 5,
It's like season 5, yeah.
Season 5, yeah.
something has happened. There's a rift between Clark and Lex. That what happens?
It starts riffing. He starts hearing more and more about what Lex is doing from like people like Aquaman and.
But there's no specific event that they have a falling out because it seems like they've been friendly, but they're not friendly.
I can't remember, but there is an event where he just starts.
He starts to have a distrust for Lex because there's all these things start happening.
I can't remember in particular, but
it was more of
it
a
was gradual though.
Yeah,
it was a gradual change, and it was very much like you lied to me, or oh you did this,
and Lex
you did that.
Lex is like really dead set on like Clark being like a meteor freak himself, and he's kind of like, why aren't you telling me what you can do?
If you watch all of season 1, but if you get to season, I think it's 2, where he's marrying that doctor Helen Bryce.
Yeah, I think it is.
She's getting ready to marry him. He tells her, "Hey, move into the mansion. Here's a key to the mansion. You can move in." She's moved in now. She's got a key, and she's like going around, like looking around the mansion. Lex has his guards hanging around the mansion, and she's walking around with this key. It's supposed to be a skeleton key. It can open any door. There's one door she can't open, and she's like, "What's in here?" And he's like, "Look, I have my things. I have my stuff. I have your stuff."
He tries to be like, "Well, you can have your own room too.
You can have your own room. If you want a room of something that
and she's like, I don't want my own room. I want to know what's in
this
there."
room. Yeah.
So at the end of the episode, he opens up the door. He's like, "Okay, I don't want to keep any secrets." He opens the door, and it's all Clark shit.
Oh,
it's the car.
It's the car
that he ran him over with in the first
episode.
Yeah.
He's like, "There's no way he could have survived this. Look at the damage."
It's video of like it's like a CGI like look of Clark getting hit by the car, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that's there. It's his like family, all his stuff up there. It's like all that, and she's like, "It's my obsession. I can't help it."
That's kind of creepy. That's pretty creepy.
It is, but
because
there's some good creepy parts in Smallville too.
It's like
I agree.
He sees everything that's happening. He's like, it's always around Clark though.
Yeah.
It's centered around Clark. Everything that happens that's weird in this fucking town that no one's ever heard of. This small fucking little town, and yet the biggest incidents happen here.
Yeah. In one of the openings of one of the seasons, there's a scene where, and y'all didn't give me this episode to watch, but there's a scene where Lex turns with a sword and it breaks on Clark's arm.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
So I would imagine that would be like the cat's out of the bag.
No, so it's that's the one where Clark has the dreams. He's dreaming.
Okay.
So
there's
there's in that one.
I don't think there's ever a time where Lex really figures it out until one of the season finales.
No, there's one scene where he says, "Clark, you got some explaining to do," because he shoots him with an Uzi, and Clark doesn't go down. But it was like season 2. But that one had where Lex was like under somebody's spell, so he don't remember any of that. Oh. It was the one where the guy had. So when we watched in the show, I was still at. I think it was still HB, but there was an episode where the guys, they were these 2 salesmen, they were infected by the meteor rock. Do you remember that episode?
I barely.
Mm-hmm. So there was 2 salesmen they were door-to-door salesmen, and they got infected by the meteor rock. But their power after the meteor rock
was the ability to close a deal.
Well,
right?
It was the ability to like they would shake your hand,
persuade them,
and they could persuade you to do whatever.
Yes.
So he tells there's one good guy that's just kind of like hermit, doesn't want to be touched by anybody.
That's right.
And there was another guy that was like billionaire guy because he had started
like these
using
guys
his power.
sucked back, and then all of a sudden they just start
closing
deals like crazy. After this.
There's one scene where he goes to see Jonathan Kent, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I'd really like to buy your land," and Jonathan Kent's like, "I'm not selling to you," but Jonathan's wearing gloves. So it's like whenever you touch somebody's hand, like you know, like he would get him. So then, like later on, he hurts himself, and Jonathan takes his gloves off to help him, and then the guy shakes his hand, and Jonathan's like, "What?" And he's like, "I'd like to buy your land for like $1."
Fucked up.
And so he buys he sells the farm for $1, and so he tells Lex, he goes, "Oh, I bought the Kent farm for it," and Lex is like, "There's no way, there's no fucking way you bought that shit."
Yeah.
And then like he finds out, and the guy tries to shake Lex's hand, and Lex is like, "I'm not gonna shake your hand." Lex is like, "No, we're good." But that episode was very much like these two guys. He actually shook Lex's hand and told him to kill Clark when he finally gets him at the end.
That's right.
And so Lex
That's
is
right.
shooting him with an Uzi, and he sees him like he's like wasted, like, but the bullets are bouncing off. And Lex is like, "You got some explaining to do, Clark." And I'm like, "Wow."
But he doesn't retain those memories.
He doesn't remember.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's how they
like-
teased you all
Yeah,
the
because
time.
like Jonathan,
Yeah.
after he sells him, he's like, man, I don't remember selling the farm to these guys.
Yeah.
Or he makes Chloe. He made Chloe kiss Clark, and she's like, "Why do I have spearmint taste in my mouth?"
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, "Damn, that's crazy."
Well, that's kind of cool because it did things to give you those moments. So you said it was in a dream, right, Roxanne, where the sword breaks on the arm?
Yeah, that was so. That episode had the girl from Ginger Snaps, the one we saw. the
Oh
other day.
yeah, you said that.
So
I
the
love
girl
her.
from Ginger Snaps, her uncle's like giving her like some weird drug to like keep her asleep, but she's able to get into Clark's head because they live in Lana's old house
That's
in
right.
season 2.
Yeah.
So anyway, Clark's in a dream and he goes to Lex's and Lex is like, "Hey," he goes, "Check out that sword. It's an old." And you know, Lex.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love about Lex. I loved about the show. I loved about Lex. Lex always had a cool historic story,
Yeah,
or
that
something
was cool.
about whatever he was doing, and he had like a great story. You know, just great intro for it. So Lex is like, "Yeah, this sword, blah blah blah. It's from this like ancient samurai. He would go into battle, and the samurai swords that they used were the only ones that were strong enough to fight each other. And the last samurai fought till he died. Blah blah blah." Clark's like looking at it, and then Lex turns around and is like, "Boom!" He like just hits Clark with it, and Clark's like does like that, and the sword breaks. Like, "I knew your secret. I'm gonna tell everybody about you." Oh, and Clark's like, "No!" Like all sad or whatever. And then he wakes up from
It's
the
a dream. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it had something had to happen because it made it in the opening because it's a cool visual. Like I was like, why didn't y'all give me that episode to watch? Like, it seems like an interesting.
But-
how does he get out of it? There's always like a how did he get out of it moment, you know?
Yeah.
Later on in that episode, he goes to Lex for something else, and he sees the sword on the wall, and he's like, and he looks at it, he goes like, "You like that sword, Clark?" And he's like, he looks at it, he's like, is this from some like ancient samurai, this and that? And he goes, "Actually, it's from the Seven Samurai Kurosawa film. Like it's a movie
Yeah,
prop."
It was like a movie prop.
And then he
That's
turns around, he
cool.
does like that to Clark, and Clark's like that. And he goes, "It's a prop, Clark. It won't hurt you."
Okay, that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. Okay, I dig that. I dig that.
Lex had some class. He
I
had some.
love Lex.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Okay.
was almost classic.
Let me ask you guys this. In this show, it seems like Metropolis is pretty close to Smallville. Is it in
Yeah,
Kansas as well?
it's almost like a few, like mayy 40 minutes away. Almost.
Okay, that's kind of new, right? Because that's never
Kind
really
of.
been. You
They
always
never
got
really
the
made
impression that.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah. I always got the impression that Metropolis and Gotham were close, but it was like maybe like New York and like
Chicago, right?
maybe even closer in the DC world. I don't know if they've ever even
I
done
had
a
always
map
thought it
to
was like
show it.
Chicago, New York.
Yeah.
That's what I always assumed.
But Kansas,
New York.
middle America is
You picture what Chicago
Smallville.
is.
Metropolis at
Metropolis?
Chicago,
Okay.
and like New York
Gotham
is
was
Gotham.
New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of
Far away, like a good distance from each other, you
Well,
know, where they wouldn't really.
It's
And
weird
then
though
what's Silver
because
City?
and I only bring this up because that latest Justice League, or not Justice League, but the movie
yeah.
where Heisenberg, is that how you say it?
Eisenberg, Jesse Eisenberg.
Eisenberg, he's looking across the river at like Gotham supposedly or
Okay.
whatever, where
Yeah.
he's like looking
Oh.
across. Superman's over here, and he's like, over there is the bat, and you're here, and so it makes me think like, oh, are you more closely like Boston and New York? Are you like that type of closeness? Like, or
It just
you,
it always seemed like there is a distance between the two,
well, and see,
and that's just I assumed. I never really knew for sure because you know how like each of them have like their own towns. Like Flash
you
has
got
his own.
Fall City,
Green
you
Lantern
got,
has Coast City.
Yeah.
Coast City,
Yeah,
and
you
got
know, and I always thought they were. I always just
Star City,
assumed
and
they were just a good distance from each other. That's why they would always take care of their own.
yeah.
You know, but I mean, who knows? I really don't know the locations. Like it's easy for Marvel because it's New York.
It's
Yeah.
New York
You
all
know,
the time.
pretty
right?
much everyone
But you
works
kind
in
of,
New York.
you know, when I always looked at that, I thought, man, Daredevil's over here trying to fight stuff in Hell's
in the
Kitchen.
lower end.
Why didn't like Hulk show up to like help him out, and, like knock that shit out? He's
It's
already
like kind of
there.
like overkill.
Is it?
Hulk was
I
on the
really?
run. Hulk was on the run all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So Captain America's down the road. Why can't you get him?
Captain America
Iron
was
Man's
there.
down the road. Spider-Man's your neighborhood Spider-Man.
I think Avengers Mansion was like Upper New York, like next to the X-Men. Like they're like neighbors, like yacht
Dude,
parties.
They're like we
boat shoes.
don't deal with
I'm
Daredevil's
sorry.
trash.
We're from Texas. You're right.
Trash.
We're from Texas though, and like 20 minutes ain't that far for us. So I'm like, you sling that
on
web
foot.
out.
On foot.
You sling that web out. It's like you're down there in a minute.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point.
Sam,
I think there's even a scene though where they show it like they're riding up the road and you can kind of see the big city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Metropolis is like super close to Smallville in this show,
Yeah.
but I don't know that it's ever been that close before. So, but just curious. I was curious what you guys, if it crossed y'all's mind, you know.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of the interpretation of Flash?
Impulse.
Impulse.
Yeah.
It was cool. That first episode was cool. Bart, they mentioned Wally West. They mentioned Barry,
All his other
his
identities.
other
That he
IDs.
uses. Yeah.
It was neat. I like that he kind of got Clark to come out of his shell a little bit. I like the part like, let's go get a taco. Like he's like, I never met nobody like me, and like he's.
And
trying
it was
to
cool,
be-
right? When they show him like running off, right? Like,
Yeah.
To Mexico.
let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like very clear that he was faster. Like they did. It was
Which
no.
I loved.
Yeah.
I love that because I always think Flash is the
Right.
speedster. That should always be. He
Yeah.
should always be number one. I don't care if Superman is the strongest.
Because that's his primary.
That
power.
should be Flash should be number one
Sure.
on that.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I loved how he blew him away where he was like, "See ya,"
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then
He's
he
pretty
was
much
just
like
He
looking
was,
at him
he
as
was
he's
running backwards.
backwards.
And
Yeah.
we're like, deuces.
Yeah.
and
But
then he
that's
just
cool.
like boom.
But I did like that he tried to
But
like.
what did you
know-
think like about him? What did you think about Oliver Queen as Green Arrow? What did you think about Alan Rickman as Aquaman? What did you think about Martian Manhunter? Because he would come out later.
That's right. Yeah, I saw him in a couple
You know,
of the
yeah.
episodes too.
What did you think about Hawkman? What did you think about these interpretations that Smallville did?
Yeah, I thought they were great. I thought they did a lot of those characters really well. It was a lot of coats. A lot of people wear coats the color of their cape instead of wearing
Yeah.
the
Did
cape.
you
and
see
it
that
was-
big
cool.
Justice episode?
Yes,
that they
I
did?
saw that one.
Where
That one
they
was
all team up against
a lot
Luthor.
of fun. Yeah,
You know, it was
yeah.
kind of like, man, that's,
Cyborg.
it was like a Super Friends
Yeah.
episode, right? When they're all teaming up against Lex. I was like, damn.
Yeah, and I felt like the show started to take a direction where it was trying to not only build up, Clark Kent is becoming what will become Superman, but it was like you're gonna be the greatest superhero of all.
And
you're
it's
gonna
cool,
lead
too,
other superheroes.
because that's the thing too. It shows him being the leader that everyone looks to. Like
Yeah.
this guy is our moral compass. This guy is our fucking superpowered beefcake. This guy is our guy.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Like,
so
everyone's gonna follow. Everyone's gonna listen to you.
I don't know if you saw one of these episodes or not, but I did catch it along. As I was watching them, I did catch the one with the Legion comes back in time,
Mhm.
and they show up and they're like, hey, I was talking about earlier. They're like, hey, where's the glasses? Where's the cape?
Yeah,
They're asking him like,
he's like,
cool.
he can't even fly yet.
yeah, he can't even fly yet.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Wow.
And they're like talking, they're kind of talking shit. They're like, yeah, but he's the man.
The
like,
man,
He's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, so in their minds, like, he should already be Superman. This
Yeah.
is the legend. And when they meet him, they're kind of like disappointed. They're
Yeah.
kind of like, wow, you're not Superman.
That's cool.
You're kind of just Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You're not this world leader, this universal leader,
Yeah.
because it
Mhm.
sounds
And
like
he's
he
talking about
becomes
galaxies. He's
where
bringing
he's the
galaxies
reason
together.
why other aliens come to Earth. He's
Yeah.
the reason why that
Mm.
happens. Why Earth becomes kind of like the center of the universe for every alien to come to this planet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome because there's a really cool scene in one of the JSA episodes you had me watch where she says, well, when my, I don't know what he was to her mentor or whatever, Stargirl is saying, she's like, he says that they get together for Thanksgiving, they bring their families, they hang out, they were like friends. And she's like, that's what y'all are missing is that like y'all only get together when bad things happen. It's like, like it was like, I was like, oh, that's like an interesting perspective because it's kind of neat to think of it that way. In many ways, the X-Men were like that because they kind of like lived together. Like they were under one roof. They were teaching classes. It was like, and it was like, yeah, I guess I never really thought about it with the Justice League, maybe even the Avengers, but it was one of the things I didn't even like about like when it came to the Avengers, like the movies, the Marvel Studios movies, is because it seemed like, yeah, we're hanging out when bad shit's happening, but then when other shit's going on,
We
we're not
split
hanging
up.
out. Yeah, I mean, I know Hawkeye's got a family, whatever, but like we talked about Wanda in WandaVision, we were like, no one checked on her, like no one gave a fuck about her, like she's having this mental breakdown essentially,
Yeah.
and it's like, the one person you don't want to have a mental breakdown, I'm like, maybe someone should check on her. Like, fucking mental health is a real thing. It's like, check on her. Like, Hawkeye goes and gives her this moving speech, to get her to join up and get her out of her rut. You know what I mean? And, but then it's like, this all happened. She obviously goes through traumatic loss, and nobody's there for her or whatever.
Yeah.
It led to that happening. It's like it's kind of.
I think a
fucked
lot
up.
of people died too. Couldn't really check on the ones who
That's
would
true.
have probably checked on her. Were
Yeah.
not available anymore.
Yeah.
Mouse, do you think Batman's gonna bring a turkey to Thanksgiving?
He can
No,
afford
but
it.
you know what?
He
can afford it.
It does show like in later seasons, Clark and Ollie are really super close.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you
Yes.
get that feeling that it's gonna be like him, Chloe, him, Lois, and maybe some other ones that are gonna be always there together, always hanging out. So
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Let's talk some more Smallville, guys, when we come right back. All right, guys, we were trying to get to that break quickly there. Double A, you want to take care of these comments? I'm going to run to the little boys' room as this has become the podcast with bathroom breaks. So I'll be right back.
Can't help it.
Rich says, even though Smallville is the beginning of Superman, would y'all say Smallville best TV show Superman?
Yes.
Ooh.
By far, right?
Yes.
I think so. Because it starts becoming Smallville.
Rich, I'm gonna tell you, that show to me, like, I felt like it embodied. The only thing it lacked was the cape and the flying.
Yeah, we never
Because
really
of that
got to
stupid
part.
rule
Yeah.
that the creators did. They
Yeah.
said no flights, no tights.
Yeah.
So that's why we never got that. And they kept that rule for some
Is that
reason.
that lady from The Incredibles?
But yeah, I would say so. I would say yeah.
I thought it was an awesome show.
It goes into all the way to the Daily Planet
Yep.
with him and Lois.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say so. He says he always thought it was like New York and New Jersey distance type.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that, I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see that across the river. Yeah.
He goes, do you think if Smallville follows Superman comics, would it still be a good show? No, I think it needs to be its own.
Yeah, I like how they
Right.
came up with their own origins
Yeah.
and they came up with their own story.
I
Yeah.
think if you followed the show too much, the comics too much, then it just I don't know.
I think it would have hindered it a little bit.
And then he goes, I have to agree. I think it was an awesome show as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a great 10 seasons. Like I said, some of the middle seasons, I was kind of like, damn, they're
Like you said, filler.
they're really just dragging this out. But once they start getting back into season 7, 8, that's when they start bringing the comics in, and it helps a lot more.
Did you like that the Metallo episode?
With Brian Austin Green, right?
No.
You know what? I like the character Metallo, and it's good that they brought him in. But that's probably one of the things I really didn't like about the show. It really didn't give the villains too much time.
Yeah, I
Like
was
Doomsday is supposed to
Doomsday,
be
yeah.
a major fucking
Yeah.
villain, and I was kind of disappointed with that whole kind of arc.
Yeah.
Him and Chloe again. Does she love him? And then she's with that other Jim. She's with Jimmy Olsen, I guess.
James and Jimmy.
I didn't like that.
Right?
I didn't like
That
at
whole
all.
thing. It was kind of like, ugh.
Well-
If you're gonna have Jimmy, have it be Jimmy. You know what I mean? Not like, oh well.
Did you guys see the series finale again, where it showed that it wasn't Jimmy? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That was just weird.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was telling her, I said, I noticed every episode where somebody finds out Clark's secret, they die.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't learn Clark's secret or you're going to die.
Oh, hey,
Oh!
check this out. Rich says, if you were the creators, what would you have done differently or focus more on the show?
I would definitely not have Lana be a witch.
Yeah,
or
you
an
know what?
assassin or
Yeah.
any of those
Oh,
weird
man,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was she was Arya before she was Arya. I mean,
Damn.
Would you guys have given Chloe the arcs that they did?
No.
you know what?
I thought they should. I thought they gave Chloe too much time.
They gave her. I felt like they gave Chloe too much power,
She
and then
becomes just like this annoying reporter in season 1 to where she's like this ultimate hacker.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ultimate,
She's an
like-
oracle,
Well,
essentially.
Oracle.
And now
Yeah.
that
Watch
she
out.
was able to heal people from the dead, I mean, you're just kind of like,
I was kind of like,
Really?
they should have maybe left her maybe season 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, she should have been the one
hey,
that
but that
left
sex
behind.
cult had to keep going. So
Dang, I was always gonna bring up that sex.
I mean,
I'm
it's
sorry.
hard.
She-
It's hard.
Good catch.
Oh shit!
I thought we were gonna get to that in the end,
You got
but
another one?
Which one do you want? I got cucumber.
Whatever you got. Oh wait, you said cucumber? I'm good.
I
Take
got
that sea
watermelon.
salt.
watermelon.
Whatever sea salt, lime salt, whatever. What is that?
That's
What?
the last one.
All right.
You want
You
watermelon?
can have it.
I'll take that.
Take it.
Yeah, take it.
I'll drink
Okay.
watermelon. I ain't gonna tell you but once, but So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about what you said, and I was like, there are so many moments in the show where I'm watching it where I'm thinking, damn it, it should have turned into like a Superman show.
And you know what? I was even thinking maybe they should have renamed it Metropolis towards the end because
like a spin-off show.
Yeah, because by 5 or 6, he's
already
kind of out of Smallville.
Actually, and this is what I like too, was that in season 3 when he gets the ring, he's already like, I'm gonna go check this out. And you're seeing him in season 3, he's already in Metropolis, like he's like what, supposed to be 17, and he's like going to clubs.
If you're going on season 3, then yeah, he's supposed to be about 16, 17.
And he's in a club.
Because in his senior year, he's football. He's a football player.
Yeah, yes.
So, yeah.
And they win state. I think I grasped out of context.
But didn't season 1 is the coach with the fire?
Yes, Jack Arnold from the Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years coach. Yeah.
What season is that?
It's season 1.
Season 1,
where he tries out for the football team.
But see, like he tells his dad, and this is what I thought was really cool about Jonathan. He's like, I want to try out for the team, and Pete's like, yeah, I want to try out too.
One more count.
And the dad says, well, Jonathan says, no, because he coached Jonathan when he was a kid.
That's right. He's on the football.
And he's like, I remember your dad. He was a good player too. Yeah, he was a good player. Yeah. And he's like, you're gonna be like your dad, Kent, and then like,
I bet look at me. I'm fucking 16. And I look like this, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're 16, looking at 30. It's
like, what are you, dumb? Use your eyes, man.
But he had the whole like, I thought it was great that Jonathan's like, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful on these people.
Yeah, because he's like he doesn't trust him. Kind of like holding back his power.
Yeah.
Rich says, would y'all like to see Tom Welling in a Superman movie if they wouldn't cast Henry Cavill?
Yeah. I would.
I would watch that.
People really wanted him in 2006. They really wanted him to be Superman Returns over Brandon Routh. I remember people were like, man, Tom Welling should really
I think
be
that would
Superman.
have been very cool. And I think that's how DC has kind of like continually screwed the pooch, is because they've got these rabid fans of their shows, yet they don't utilize that.
I wish they would.
You go cast Ezra Miller. Like when they were doing the first Justice League, I know it was still Schneider, but then it went to Whedon. But when they were doing that Flash was so hot. Everyone loved that Flash. Everyone I knew was watching that Flash. They were telling me to watch that Flash. I'm like, I don't know that guy, but just get that guy.
Which one?
Yeah.
The
Flash
show. The show.
Gustav?
Yeah, him.
Oh, I love that guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Y'all are fans of that
people
one?
were like,
I love the Flash.
But you cast this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you see where they met, though?
I was
Ezra
really
Miller
Yes, I
and
did. In that
that was
Crisis.
great. I watched that and I thought that was cool. But I'm just like, man, at the height of this, I'm like, guys, do what other shows aren't doing and connect it.
I just thought it would have been great if you have all these people following your show. You take that same actor, move him into a big budget movie. He's not even Flash is like number 4 on the Justice League list.
Yeah.
So or 5. He could be 4 or 5. But you don't have to have him as the main star. You got Ben Affleck, you got Gal Gadot, you got Henry Cavill, and you got this guy showing up. You can move him in there. The audience base you have from the show will slide right in there, and you have the people from those other the other actors.
You wouldn't even have to win us over. We're already a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but how smart are you to go in with a built-in fan base? Let's be honest now. I like Superman Returns, but it was a flop. People did not like it. There was no other movie. You do that movie with Tom Welling, or a better movie written with Tom Welling. You don't get Kevin Spacey. You use Michael Rosenbaum. You have a hit. There'd have been at least 2 of those. I know that for sure because people would have lined up to see it. Plus, I got to see Tom Welling in the Infinity or the Crisis thing or whatever, and like he looked good, but not as good as when he was, in these episodes. Even by the finale, I was like, damn it, he looks so damn good. He would have been a great Superman.
Yeah.
And even then, in that finale, they don't give you a really good.
They
look
don't give
at
you
him.
a good look. Yeah.
I want to see him walking around in the boots and the cape. I'm like, damn it, like this kid would have been fantastic.
We have to remember too, like that. What I thought was really cool was that you talked about Lucifer earlier. The show I was telling you about. Lucifer's actually a part of that whole crisis of
yes,
right, yeah.
He's a scene in there, but I thought that was really cool. Like those 2 people, and what's his name? Clark.
Tom Welling.
Tom Hardy. He was also in
Lucifer
as Cain.
Oh, as Cain.
So I thought that was like,
oh yeah, that
they
was nice.
started together. I was like,
4.
it was but
That's
he was
cool.
Cain, and I thought, man, that's really cool. Like he's walking around, he's like, yeah, he goes, I've been here forever. Like it's
Yeah.
like, I was like,
Go ahead.
2 more questions from Rich. He goes, would y'all think? What do what do y'all think Batman? If Batman made an appearance at Smallville, would that have been good or bad?
Fuck
if
yeah.
Batman
Would have been awesome.
would have been a whole arc, a whole season, or just maybe an episode?
I would have preferred maybe like, honestly, Rich, I think I would have been like, what, 6 episodes for me? I would have been great with
6
that.
episodes. Okay.
I would have been cool with
Do you,
that.
Roxanne?
Yeah,
Season, series, or
absolutely.
just a few episodes?
Yeah, just a few episodes.
Few.
Because
I
it's a
wouldn't-
concentrated Clark
This is
Kent
on
story.
Clark
Clark
Kent.
Kent.
But yet, I hear what you guys are saying.
Would you
but
do like a World's Finest? Remember when they crossed over that Superman animated series and the Batman animated series?
Oh, I love that one.
They did the World's Finest.
I
Would
have-
you have
yeah.
done something like that?
Okay, so this question is hard for me because what I noticed as I was watching through some of the later seasons is that like Arrow or Oliver Queen was a consistent part of it. It was almost like
Yeah.
I'm like, well, did they not feel as though Tom Welling was strong enough on his own, like the character, the actor, that they needed this? He's always kind of there. Like I was like, oh well, you're in the opening credits.
Yeah.
So before
Well, he goes from guest star to the main cast.
Yeah. And I see, and that's why I was like, I thought that was an interesting choice because wouldn't think you would do that with a Superman story. So for me, that question is hard because my thought process is like, are we dealing with a Bruce Wayne or are we dealing with like a fully fledged Batman or like a Batman year one? Like, how is it going? You know what I mean? Like, is it like an Oliver
At
Queen
that
type
point, I
role?
would have thought year one Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the way I would do it is that, so in my
They're both
mind,
starting. So it'd
Yeah.
be like if you got year one Superman, year one Batman.
in my mind, instead of Arrow, you just do Bruce Wayne. Like you have that whole.
But what
it's
would
just
have been
Batman.
cool at Batman? Just for,
Like the way it
on
was, but
Smallville.
just appeared. Oh yeah, it would have been great.
Okay.
It would have been fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
Now,
then-
in y'all's versions, would y'all have had it be like it's full on Batman in the costume? Like you're seeing Batman.
No, not
No.
full on costume.
Bruce Wayne
No.
is walking around and he's maybe
Bruce
wearing
Wayne.
like a
Like,
stocking
almost like
or something.
Christian
You know
Bell.
what I mean?
That,
Yeah.
like in Batman Begins.
Yeah, like an early or like Daredevil
Yeah.
season 1,
Or
where he
Daredevil
doesn't wear the
season
suit till
one.
the
Yeah.
end. He's
Yeah.
not really Daredevil until the end.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
I
then
kinda like that.
one more from Rich. He goes, with all the reboots going on nowadays, would y'all reboot Smallville? I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I
I
wouldn't
think
touch
it was
that.
perfect as
Yeah.
it is.
I wouldn't touch it.
Even though like there,
I
watching
you know
it,
what,
there's
though?
some cheapy effects that I would.
I would
fix.
say I would really because Rosenbaum always trying to get him back for the last season. I think that would have been so much.
Man, oh man.
I
Yeah.
mean, if I could have got him back,
Golly.
that would have been awesome. He wasn't in the last
How
season.
come? Do you
and
know anybody know why he wasn't in the
He
He
season?
just
turned it down.
he felt like
It was his character
he was done by season 7. He felt like he was done with the whole Lex story.
Yeah.
And then
Probably wanted to grow his hair back.
probably. And then he just
Stop
come
shaking
back for
my
the
head.
last episode. He said that he called the guys, said, "Hey, I'll be in the last episode if you guys want." So that's how he comes back.
Interesting.
Rich says, "Do y'all think DC fails in decisions not having Batman in the shows that makes DC not known or popular?" Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
They definitely do.
It's a DC show. Put in fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Stop with the red tape shit.
Mhm.
The Justice League, Zack Snyder. Put in Green Lantern.
you're
Golly, don't save him because you want to do a show maybe in the future.
yeah.
Just fucking throw your cards in there.
You're not turning a blind eye to Marvel, obviously, and it's sometimes painfully obvious. That, like, not saying that you want to be them, but you want to achieve that
but you
success.
see, like Marvel is doing it the hard way. They have to get all their fucking characters back. DC is under one roof.
Yeah, they got
Right.
all this shit together.
Right.
That's why with Marvel you got Guardians, you got Avengers, you got some of these other characters that you
You're
wouldn't
begging
think
for
of.
Spider-Man.
the truth
to
is, that's
come
why
back
you
and
got
can't get
Iron
him.
Man. You got Iron Man because
Because
they didn't
there was
have
no
the
one
bigs.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there was
didn't
no
have your main-
Fantastic Four.
You didn't have Spider-Man at that time. You didn't have
Sony
the
had all
whole.
that.
You didn't have
Yeah.
even Wolverine. Fox
Fox had
has
that.
that. So
DC is under one banner.
yeah, so Marvel has to flex and like write good stories, get good people to do these movies. It's like
And so,
DC,
yeah, I
you
think
have that.
It's bad decisions like that.
Right. You've got to have solidarity. You've got to say, you got to put all your cards in the ring. Now, see, people were like, oh, they should have story built like Marvel did. I'm like, no. Don't follow the Marvel
Nope.
method. Do your own thing.
Nope.
What they could have done with Justice League, it's like, they could have just been like, you know what, we're going to throw our cards on the fucking table and be like, you know what, we're bringing Darkseid this first movie. You don't have to beat him that first movie. Maybe even they take a fucking L. You know what I mean? They get their asses kicked and they got to come back with like a few more members
called
by the
Infinity
next film
War.
movie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they could have done that, easily or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, instead they're like, we're gonna give you Steppenwolf. It's like nobody wants that. Nobody gives a fuck about that. That's
What did
garbage.
your brother say? Who the fuck is this
Yeah,
guy? I was like,
seriously.
I was like,
Yeah.
or even if, like I said, like the whole Flash thing, I'm like, you have the ability, you've got these shows running that people are huge fans of. It's like connected right away. Don't do that Infinity Crisis shit on TV, and it's kind of
It was
crap.
a mess in the comics, and it's going to be a mess on the movies and the TV shows.
Right. But if you do little things where you touch on it and you give people that little bit, they'll chomp at the fucking bit at that. Like, I mean, it's like, I think DC has the ability to do a lot of shit and flex hard muscle that people would be like, fuck, they're doing that, and they'd be like, I'm gonna go watch that. Like, I watched that Infinity Crisis shit on TV just because I knew that there was gonna be like Alexander
Certain
Knox
ones,
and you know Brandon Ruth. They showed Brandon Ruth in the Kingdom Come costume, and I was like, oh, that's badass. And I tell you guys, my wet dream was the way that they showed Tom Welling. Is I'm like, you have that scene from Kingdom Come in the beginning where he's flying down with the tractor and the ponytail and the streaked gray hair, you know, no shirt, just overalls. I'm like, that would have been way better than whatever they wrote for him that he gave up his powers.
It was the Alan Moore story.
Whatever
happened to the Man of Tomorrow, it was the Alan Moore story.
Yeah.
Where he gives up his powers and he lives a normal life with Lois.
Who wants that Superman story?
Nobody.
So
I mean, if I want to read, I don't know. If I want to read fucking Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, I'll go read that shit. Fucking Sergeant Rock episodes. What the fuck is that? All right, Dole, let's do this. All right, guys, everyone. We're back in the mix. We're talking all things Smallville tonight. We have our wonderful guests here, Foxy Roxy, John Holty Bear in the house. You guys, obviously, you three watched the show all together, beginning to end.
No, it's just a few seasons.
Like,
It's like in 10 years now. Calm
down. Oh, wasn't sure.
No, but I mean, the first 3 seasons we were very committed to it, you know, and then we probably just watched it on our own.
Yeah.
After
I think we moved.
Yeah, we moved.
Something like that. Yeah.
Moved it without him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I mean, yeah, it's just we still continue watching it, and it was kind of cool as the later seasons they started bringing in more of the classic Superman villains.
Yeah.
You know, more and more. So
Zod.
That was a whole season.
That was a whole season of Zod.
What did you think? Did you see Zod?
Yeah, I did. He sucked balls.
He did suck balls.
He was fucking terrible. That guy sucked.
No Terrence Stamp.
Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe fleshed out more, I guess you can say, as Zod. Because, again, it's a Superman villain that I think is super awesome. That should be, like, his number 2 main bad guy, you know?
No doubt.
And you just don't see enough Zod in a whole lot of the media.
Michael Shannon is a bright spot as Zod in the fucking
I
Man
thought
of
so
Steel.
too. That
he's
was
a
fucking
fantastic
awesome.
actor.
He was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he did Boardwalk Empire, and he was fantastic. He's pretty fantastic in everything. He did his Shape of Water. He's fantastic. I mean, that was a good Zod, but it was just a kind of a lot of people's favorite Superman movie. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was like, I think that I was not a fan of the Zod from the show, but like you said, they were trying to flesh out his character a little bit more. He was only a major. He wasn't general at the time.
No, not General Zod.
He was Major Zod. And the storyline...
Which is kind of weird because I don't know if you remember it, but they showed it earlier, like a version of Zod where it looks like Terrence Stamp. Do you remember that? It's like a little kind of like Phantom.
Okay.
They have like the mark of Zod. But like he comes out and it looks like Terrence Stamp. It's
was it the third season at the end?
I can't remember because I know they mentioned Zod every now and then. They would mention him.
There was one where they did the crop circles or whatever it was at the end.
Yeah.
And Lana happens to wake up in one, but they show footage of that area and like some demons or
some shit. And that might have been one of them. I can't remember.
Well, with Zod, there was a couple of different characters that, or the one guy that played him in this show.
I think it's Caleb something. I can't remember his name.
I was always turned off by the guy's accent. He was obviously, I think he's British, and but
probably trying to keep in line with Terrence Stamp.
Right,
most likely.
Right, but I just didn't feel it from him.
It's hard because I didn't feel it either. Zod has a certain personality about him. He's just overly
confident, which I would say I didn't feel
very militaristic, which he didn't have. Yeah. Did you like the episode I showed you though, where they go into Lois's memories, and it's kind of like the alternative, where Zod has total control over the planet.
Yeah,
that the Red Sun.
Yeah, that was cool. The Red Sun. Yeah, that was a cool one. No, that was a pretty badass episode. I thought that was cool exactly for that because you get to go see that kind of when his project comes to fruition. Yeah, and
that towers that Tess is building for him. Yeah. What did you think about James Masters, whatever, Masters as Brainiac?
I didn't get to see him that much as Brainiac. I
got to see him. That's right. You didn't.
You didn't see me that much, but
I didn't get you enough.
I saw him as a professor, and that was cool. And I recognized him from Buffy.
Yeah, Buffy.
Which, a lot of people blew their lids off when he got introduced in Smallville. What did you think of him as in Homecoming?
No, I got to see him as Brainiac 5 though, where he was like the
in
good
Homecoming.
version. Yeah, that was great. It was great.
So I gave him the episode Homecoming, where it's kind of like past like the Christmas ghost, where he goes to his high school reunion.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful episode. I was like, man, this is like, and I felt like
it shows him where he sees himself as a future, where he's like Superman already. He's like the glasses, the hair slick,
hair.
And it's kind of cool because he does a really good job of like his stance too.
Yeah,
you can tell he's like Superman
he
already.
up.
They talk to each other,
like,
right? In the elevator.
But like where Tom Welling like plays Clark, he's kind of like down. This one, man, he's like super fucking confident. He knows he's Superman. You know, he's at that peak level that I told you about, you know, like he's like, I'm the fucking man already, you know.
Which is funny because you have a go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
No, just saying like you have a dad like John Kent or whatever. Yet he still has a lot of self-doubt despite that.
Well, and I think too, like with what you said, I think Clark always had a little bit of doubt about himself.
Big time.
Well, even as he got older, he would still doubt how his powers were, what he could do, how he could hurt people. It's the whole flying thing. You know, I can't fly. I can't fly. And even when, I think it was like season 5 or 6 where Kara shows up.
Yes.
And she's like,
you can't
she's
even
like,
fly.
why can't you defy gravity? And he's like,
But it's really cool in that episode, the last scene of Homecoming. You remember, Sam, where he gets Lois because he wants to give her a dance?
Yes.
And they're floating.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
I was trying to
She's
imagine.
on his feet, though.
Yeah, and they don't even know.
Feet.
They don't even realize that you're fucking floating with their floating. I was like, shit.
I tried to imagine what it would have been like for you guys because I was like, little payoffs like that must have been like so
man,
great
for me,
because there's such a tease throughout where I'm like, gosh, there's so many things that are like tease. I'm like, come on, give me something. Like I'm like, fuck. So when I would even as I was watching through, my quick watch, it was like, I'm not watching the whole episode, but like in the last 2 weeks. And I was just like, oh, that's really awesome. Like, that's cool.
And I thought you would like the Homecoming where it shows him kind of like, you don't see him as Superman, but you see him where he flies.
Yes, yeah.
And Clark's like, he's seeing him, so like, holy shit.
Yeah. Like, one of the things I hate kind of throughout is like, Clark's hair or whatever, you know what I mean? And so I wrote a note where I was like, man, they should tighten up the hair when they show. And so in that episode, they showed that where he's in the elevator with him. He's already like,
that's what I'm saying. He
tighter
looks
in the
good.
back. He looks like Superman, which again made me really like fucking thirsty for like, look, let's let this dude be Superman. You know what I mean? Like, it's looking good. So that's pretty cool. I wrote that down. We talked about that already. One of the things I wrote down was, so it seemed like there was like a lot of cross dating. So I wrote down like Lois and Lana date Oliver Queen.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
So it's like
Wait, Lana?
Wait, Lana
No.
didn't date him.
not Lana.
Chloe.
It was
Okay.
Chloe.
Chloe.
That's right. Chloe ends up with Oliver.
ends up
she
with
finally
Oliver.
does end up with Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah, kissing cousins.
Yeah, which that's okay, right? I mean, like I felt like Chloe deserves something.
Oh, it's
by
fine.
the end.
I know, obviously, Oliver actually, winds up with Black Canary, which they do show. In a
and he
few
mentions
episodes.
it too. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, you're not supposed to take this, I guess, as a continuous of the DC universe.
Right,
It's
right.
its own
Yeah.
DC universe. So
I think there's one of the episodes you guys had me watch. Maybe I watched on my own where I guess Watchtower kind of comes up or whatever. And he's like, you have access to all of our stuff, our emails. He's like, I want you to know those emails between me and Black Canary where we're purely whatever he says. It's like, so they're purely like platonic or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. I saw in one episode Lionel gets blinded, but then he can see again later. Did they address how he gets his vision
yeah, they
back?
do. I forget. Those episodes are kind of like really
There's some that were
messy.
So,
forgettable.
Like Lionel kind of starts going up and down. That's already the time where it's kind of like I wish he would have killed off the Lionel character by that time because he's good. He becomes an advisor.
So
and then you just don't know.
There's a section of the story, and I don't remember what episode it starts, but it's out obviously.
I gave you that episode though where Lex finally does kill him.
It's.
I think so. Yeah.
It's after the whole Jonathan Kent thing when he passes, but Lionel becomes, as evil as he is, Lionel becomes Jor-El.
Yeah, there you go.
And Lionel starts to like channel through. Jor-El channels through Lionel.
Yeah, it's some weird
all
shit
his
like
stuff.
that. Yeah.
So he's very much like, Jor-El's in control, but he's using Lionel's body and going through, and so he's protecting Clark, Kal-El. He's protecting him throughout the whole time, and so like every time Lex is trying to figure out something, it's like a block from Lionel. Or every time someone's coming around, it's like little men are like coming around. It's like he's like boom, like stops it. So, Yeah, I just thought that it was kind of weird that they shoved everything in a Lionel.
Yeah. And it's like one of those storylines that I really hate. I was kind of
Yeah.
like, if you're done with John Glover, just be done with John Glover.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
agree. There was a lot of
Don't
that
try
going
to
on.
stretching
People,
him.
They even used him as Doomsday.
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Yeah, I
Darkseid.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched the finale. I wrote down here too. Like it seems like at one point, like Lionel learns that Clark has powers.
He does. There's an episode where it's transference, where they switch bodies.
Yeah.
And that's how he finds out what Clark is.
Clark's actually
That old trope.
I thought he did a great job, Glover. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah,
acting
Tom
like
Welling
Clark.
did in that one,
And
and
he
John
did too.
Glover does a really good job too.
They did a good job of
Yeah.
being different. You know, the whole
Being
face
each
off
other.
thing.
Yeah.
Like face
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pete. What happens to Pete? He vanishes at some point in the night.
So
We've
the
never
boss-
seen
He's
him.
the
Ross.
boss, Ross.
So the guy actually, the actor himself actually did get into a lot of trouble
Oh, really?
with the law.
Oh.
Yeah, and so
Sex
they
cult?
kind of no, not like that.
Not that kind of trouble.
But so they wrote him off, and they bring him back and kind of finish his story arc. But he got in trouble for the real dude, and so they kind of
Okay.
just wrote him
I
off.
was annoyed with him near the end.
It seemed like he was doing a good job as the best friend, but again, I'm not watching every episode, so just seeing it.
You know
there's
what?
a
He was
part-
fine in season 1.
Yeah, he was fine in
fine.
season 1, but then there's a part where he finds out that. Well, no, Clark tells him.
I was gonna say
Well-
he seemed like he knew early on.
Yeah,
And
Clark
then-
tells him.
The way they kind of write
He's
him
the first
off.
one that knows.
Yeah,
Mhm,
he is.
okay.
They kind of ran him off like where he almost dies in one of the episodes, and he tells Clark, "I can't be your, I can't be this guy anymore. I can't be your sidekick anymore. It's too dangerous." And that's how they kind of write him off. He goes to Metropolis and lives with like his mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the actual dude did get in trouble for real.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
comes
so-
back as a streetcar racer.
Yeah, like he's using
Like
his
Fast and the
kryptonite.
Furious.
I
Yeah.
thought that was like. I thought he left after that. Maybe.
He might have. I forgot when he got
I
in
just
trouble.
remember so the fun thing I thought about this show was that these people in Smallville, they're fucking smart. They found a way to make kryptonite used for everything.
everything.
They're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it for asthma relief.
That's
I'm gonna
right,
use it
yeah.
for I'm gonna use it for NOS for your car.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it to feed my crops.
Okay.
I'm gonna use it to feed my baby. I mean,
I don't think I
use
got
it for
any of that
everything.
from the episodes I watched. But that's pretty cool.
No,
No,
you
no.
gotta watch.
Every
those are-
episode-
It's
yeah.
like sprinkled all over the
Every
seasons.
episode, they're like, this meteor really affected our town. Well, we found a way to make it work.
I'm like, damn, I thought that broccoli was killing Clark. Then be like,
Now,
Nah, he was all homegrown. From
I
there.
don't know. Did you actually get like a good look at Doomsday? Because I actually
Yes.
thought they actually did a great job. Of
yes,
his
I thought he
look,
looked really cool.
as opposed to the fucking movie.
Oh, way
Oh, yeah.
better,
I was like,
vastly
wow,
better.
this is actually a better Doomsday.
Now,
But
my
did you notice too, like when you start to watch the episodes? Okay, so like we were watching a couple episodes from season 1, but you're in season 1, and then you're like, you may get like season 4 or 5, even all the way to 10. Do you see the graphics get better?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
As the
They
show
do.
keeps going on, it gets better and
Yeah.
better.
but they never got that great.
No,
though, 'cause
no, but
I
it's a
still
TV
felt like
show.
they
It's a
deserved a
TV
little
show.
bit.
It's a TV
Yeah,
show that
CW.
that's gonna,
Yeah,
This ain't ABC.
it's not gonna have the $1 million that Game of Thrones has.
Yeah.
it's not gonna have that.
I
It's-
just thought with the longevity, they would have got a bigger budget, but I guess not.
It's
It got as
Okay.
best as it could.
See,
I'm
what
not
did-
hating.
in the few episodes that you got to see, what did you think of Erica Durance as Lois?
I love her.
I
Gorgeous.
did too.
She's
not,
fantastic.
not just like the looks herself, but did you think
I really
she
want to focus
actually-
on the looks, though.
But did because like again, it's like kind of like seasons 8, 9, and 10. That's when I felt like she got Lois. Like
Yeah.
she starts becoming that hard nosed reporter.
Yes.
The one that can't spell, and everything.
Right.
Those
those things.
it was awesome, right? I really liked her. I know Roxanne, you're not a big fan of like her version.
It's not that she did a bad job. It's just there was just something about her. I was like, well, why do they always get somebody? For me, looks wise, I was like, you just look a little bit off. And for me, that already is like, I don't feel like you're my Lois.
I
And then-
loved her and Tom Welling though.
Yeah.
I love
their,
both of
their
them
chemistry's
together.
great.
It
Their
was
chemistry's great. I think.
What's that one where they're tied up and they have to tell the
Yes,
truth?
they're acting as like they're about to get married.
Yeah.
It's some guy that got jilted. His wife, his future wife, cheated on him or
Yeah.
whatever. So
It's-
now he
it's-
tests couples.
It's a play on the Saw.
Yeah,
franchise.
Yeah.
All right.
I liked it.
And the guys, you have to tell the truth, otherwise you can't get out.
Okay.
And she ends up
She
saying
says
like,
that she
"I love
loves
you."
him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's really
And it was the
cool
truth.
because I think in Homecoming she's like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Is it the red kryptonite,
Yeah.
the blue? She
She's like,
she
"Is
starts
it black?
naming down
I don't
all
want
the
it to be black."
kryptonite,
Yeah.
and Clark's like, holy shit, like
You
you
know
know,
all this stuff?
everything, and and he's like, he kind of smiles because he's like, cool. Like I eventually tell
We
this
get there.
woman,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's just super cool about everything, and she's really supportive of everything I do.
And in that episode, she's super fantastic. 'Cause
Right,
She's
yeah.
super Lois Lane to me. You know what I mean? Like,
And then the other part I love of her too. It's actually in the series finale where you hear Perry. It's Michael McKean.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great
Great
Caesar's Ghost.
Caesar's
He's like,
Ghost.
oh my god, Jimmy, how many Great Caesar's Ghosts is
He's like
that?
15.
She's like full Lois Lane on
Yeah.
that one.
Yes.
And she's like, no, this
That's
is trash.
wonderful. That
She goes,
was wonderful.
The Man of Steel needs better pictures. I want pearly whites. I want
Yeah.
the body, everything.
the red
and,
yeah.
I mean, she's just really great.
I-
and those
yeah.
later seasons as Lois Lane, I think she really captures it.
I agree. And I loved her. I thought she was wonderful. And I thought that I was like, man, how... Again, I'm thinking about you guys. Because I'm like, man, like, you do a lot of falling in love with Lana. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, like, it reminded me of, like, when I watched The Wonder Years, it was like, I was all up into Winnie Cooper or whatever. But then you kind of start to dislike Winnie Cooper because you're like, man, fuck, Kevin, it's never going to get anywhere. Then they bring in that other girl. I think her name was, like, Madeline or something like that. Remember that?
Yes.
And then I was like, well, this chick is, like, super hot. And I'm like, okay, go, Kev. She likes you. You know what I mean? Like, fuck Winnie or whatever. She does. But, he's still kind of sprung on her or whatever, so it doesn't really work out.
It's got to be like that for all of us. Either, guy or girl, there's always that one person that's really interested in you where you're just like, man,
Sure.
she's super hot, he's super hot. But then there's just always that one that you want. You're just like, it doesn't matter how she looks. I want this one.
Yeah. Well, it was. Then I started to see. I was like, oh, well, it's that first love thing. It's like
Maybe,
he
that's
loved
what it is.
Lana or whatever.
Lana,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But there was. I don't know. I guess I kind of felt like, and I don't know when she leaves the show and how she leaves the show, whatever. Because I don't think I saw
She
that.
starts leaving around the same time that Michael Rosenbaum
Yeah.
did, and then she would come back sporadically every
And
And
now
she
and
didn't
then.
come back for the end. She was. Just
No, she didn't. Right?
No,
No,
she
no,
she
no,
didn't come
no.
back for that.
I think the last one she was like 7 or 8.
It was
in
something like
season.
that. Yeah.
Because
But-
she shows up at
Did they write her
Right.
out or she?
no,
she
she
was done. She was
shows up
another
at,
one.
She shows up in season 9 at Chloe's wedding.
Yeah, something. Like
That's the
that,
last
yeah.
time you see her. Is at Chloe's
yeah.
wedding.
Well, that season actually, the Doomsday season.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the last episode. She shows up at that episode.
She left on her own. Again, it was just I guess she was just done with the show. Like,
Well, she knew who Clark. Yeah, because by the time she leaves, she's like, I already know who Clark is. Because I thought her introduction to Clark's powers was kind of cool.
That was my
'Cause
favorite.
She calls. She's getting ready to marry Lex.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
there
but-
is a funny episode though where they do reconnect. It's after I think it's after like her and Lex, right? They reconnect and somehow she gets like Clark's powers too,
oh yeah.
and so they have sex.
Yeah.
Like Clark's like able to like go full on sex, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And apparently it causes like so much like a
Tremors.
tremor that they pick it up because they're fucking causing tremors. I was like, man, that's fucking
Chloe
awesome.
shows up. She's like, "Did you know these tremors are happening around here?"
And
they're
it was like around that
"What?"
time she mentions like the
like,
timers
they're
on it.
right
It's
at
like
this
shit.
time,
That's
and
when
they're
we're
like-
having sex.
And then Chloe
That's
I was
figures
like,
like,
it out.
damn. I was like,
Okay.
damn.
I liked them when they were like they had a good chemistry at that point. You know what I mean? Like, where she's like, "Oh, I wish I had maple syrup. We were out of it," and then he goes to Canada.
He goes to Canada, brings it.
He brings maple syrup.
I love stuff like that.
Little
in
stuff
the
like
show.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there's in one of the episodes, like he does that with Lois and the Chinese. She's
But
like,
like
"Oh,
I
I thought
said-
you were in
Oh,
Beijing."
that's the
And
Lois and Clark one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, like I
she's
said,
got-
there's
I
like
love that one.
seasons 9 and 10 where you really should watch where like him and Lois, like Lois already knows about Clark and everything.
Yeah.
That's when it's like okay, you get that Lois and Clark connection. You know.
Yeah, I think
What
it's when
was-
he.
What was the one where she's all like, "Wait a minute, it's not red, it's not."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always
it's that
somebody,
homecoming
yeah,
one.
It's
Yeah.
It's like it's
Where
not
she's
black,
like, "What's
right?
wrong with
Oh my
you?"
god!
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! It's good. No, I mean, I did like that episode where Lana knows that, or she's in the wine cellar
Oh,
at
yeah.
the mansion. She's getting ready
She
to get
sets
married
up a
to
trap.
Lex. She sets it up to where she sends Chloe, and she's like, "Oh, go give me a red." And it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. Who drinks red at 11 in the morning? Anyway, she sends her in, right? And she's like, go get this. She slams the thing on her, locks it. And she's like, goes to the back and she's waiting. And then Chloe calls Clark. She's like, "I'm locked in the wine cellar at the Luthor Mansion. Can you help me?" Of course, Clark, like, and you see from her perspective, which I thought was really cool. Because every time we see
That's
Clark,
right. Yeah.
every time we see Clark take
Yes.
off, you see him whoosh away and he takes off.
Mhm.
But this one, all you see is like she's there, and then all of a sudden, Clark's there.
Mm.
Like there's no like you see him running or nothing. You just see boom, he's there. He's like, "Chloe, the door's locked," and she's like, "Help me out." He's like, "It's stuck." She's like, "Well, get it open. I'm cold in here." And Clark's like, breaks the lock, rips the door off the hinges, and Lana's sitting there watching like, oh my god. She's like, I'm so cold. He's like, all right, come on out. And then like he closes the door, puts it out, uses the heat vision to like seal the door back.
So what? He's just not trying to hide at this point.
Well, because he thinks they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Lana the
Because Chloe knows.
She's setting him up.
Chloe knows, but Lana doesn't. So he's like doing all this stuff. He's like, and then she tells him, she's like, what, you can come down here and rescue me, but you can never tell Lana your secret. And he's like, you don't know how much I have to give up, and this and that. I love her. I don't want to get hurt. And then like he just takes off. And again, you see that footage where it's like she's looking at the two of them talking, and you see Clark vanish, like he's gone. Mm-hmm. And she's like, wow. And I was like, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And that's why she's like, fuck Lex. And I'm like, that's awesome.
So that's how she finds out Clark has powers.
Yeah, that's right. I had totally forgot.
And Chloe was in on the setup?
No.
She wasn't in on it.
Lana said that Clark. She knew that Chloe knew that about Clark.
Yeah. See, I like that too. Like that's kind of clever. Like it's kind of like I want to know. I know this motherfucker because it's like kind of hard. In that season 2 where she's already. I think it's season 2. I can't remember. It was one of the ones you had me watch. And she's pretty much like they're finally together. It's already by season 2 there, and he's like happy. And you're like, you want to see him happy, and she seems happy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's all this like doubt starts to set in or whatever, and it's just like that's when it ends. And I was just like,
they're only together for like a few episodes,
and there was so much stuff they could have drug out. I felt like you could have given them a whole season together. It would have been more crushing when they split because she's in danger, whatever the case may be. The constant worries that he has, which echo the constant worries his dad had. I thought it was really neat when they mentioned. I forget who mentioned it to him. I think Lex tells me it's like. The stress your dad had on his heart, or no, it's not Lex. It's someone else. The stress your dad had on his heart from trying to keep your secret is what eventually killed him or whatever. Well, and you're like, fuck, that's rough.
It's the superpower that was granted that Jor-El gave Jonathan that causes his stress on his heart.
Right.
He didn't say he'd give up anything for his
kid. Where him and Clark fight.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yes.
Where him and Clark fight.
That's the one where she starts on Lana dying, but then it goes back and he has to give something up, which is his dad ends up dying right after he got elected senator.
That's like season. That's like the end of season.
It's like season 2.
Oh,
it's where he has to go to Metropolis.
He actually goes to the fortress and he asks Jor-El for help.
Yeah, I saw that. I did watch that one because John had me watch one that led right into like that one, and it was a 2-parter. So I ended up getting those 3 episodes in. What was I going to say here? One of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Okay, so we see Hawkman, Stargirl, who I'm not familiar with, Cyborg, Arrow, Black Canary, Martian Manhunter, Dr. Fate. Was there anybody else that I missed or that you guys thought stood out that was
good
like...
guys?
Aquaman, or bad guys. I don't remember seeing that many of the bad guys. I didn't really get to see too much Brainiac or Metallo. I know y'all
Brainiac was cool. I liked his portrayal. Zod was kind of was more on the lower end. Doomsday, I didn't care for Doomsday either.
I missed that entirely. Zatanna came out?
Fine because there's
like 1 or 2 episodes.
I almost gave you an episode and I didn't where they're having a bachelorette party and she spikes the wine.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
And it's a fun episode. That's just like a really fun episode. You can watch that one by itself. Okay. They're having like a really good time.
I like stuff like that.
They let loose. All of them let's just let loose. Bizarro comes out in a few episodes. Oh. He does come out, and then there's
Tom Welling as like a Bizarro?
But he was it was a season finale, wasn't it?
It was, but then maybe the first episode or 2.
You see him at the end of the season where he shows up and his face is twisted.
It's all twisted. I didn't give you this one either. It was one where Mixopitlick comes out.
Oh, cool!
But he's actually just like a kind of like a guy that has powers. He's not not the fucking from the 4th dimension or anything.
Okay.
But
it did that a lot. I noticed because I know they showed Granny Goodness and Desaad, but they just look like people, and I'm just.
But it showed that he can affect Clark.
Yeah.
He told him to trip, and he did. So it did affect him. Now, the only thing I remember, too, I liked the episode, but what I didn't like is at the end, somehow he loses his powers. Mm. And Lex gets him. And he shows him this room, and you don't see it. It's just a room that Lex has. It's like an experiment or whatever. And he tells him that we can probably get your powers back like this. And it never really focuses back on that episode ever again. It never focuses what was in that room. It never focuses on if there was more. That was like season 4 when he was playing football. When he's like a gambler, like Mxyzptlk. He's like telling Clark to stumble, and he stumbles, and he actually hurts someone really bad.
Oh shit!
And that's where Jonathan gets on him because he's like, "See, this is what I told you. You weren't gonna be able to control yourself, and now you hurt this kid."
Ugh.
You know, but he shows him like this room. Again, you don't see it, but it's like you're thinking like this is like Lex's almost like Nazi kind of like experiment room.
Interesting.
And you just never hear from this fucking place again.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's just it's like the last football game he's ever gonna play as a high school.
Well,
student.
I remember that season he's talking about because he became like a star quarterback.
Oh yeah, the star.
His senior year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was like,
yeah, he becomes his badass quarterback.
Yeah,
he becomes the big man on campus.
Yeah.
Everything.
I know
colleges are lining up for fucking Clark to come join this because they have a badass football program. Everything. I mean, man, it's all right there. If he wants to become a football player, he
in the homecoming episode you had me watch, they're like mentioning it. They're like, oh man, I wish we had a homegrown hero like Clark Kent. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what happened? What did I miss? I was like, all right.
Just all season 4, he becomes a football. He becomes this badass quarterback.
See, that's neat that they kind of flesh that out because that's never really been done. It's always that he was denied the opportunity to do that.
In Superman 1, he's just like the Tower Boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I wrote down here that I wanted to see Clark hit Doomsday like he hit Zod. He hits Zod with these like 2 really great shots. One where he's just like boom, and it's like slow motion, and the other way like uppercuts him. And with Doomsday, he didn't hit him at all. He just like it was like they looked cool together.
Sucked. That's why I was like,
but it was so short.
It would be these Titanic battles, and then it was just like the payoff wasn't there. And
the payoff wasn't there.
Fuck, man.
I wonder if their budget wasn't there. Maybe
it wasn't. It probably wasn't. And I liked the way Doomsday looked. I really did. I loved the way he looked.
Mm-hmm. He looked really cool.
You know, but I was like, damn. And then the Dark Side too. That one was like really bad.
Terrible. That was terrible.
But even then, he just like goes through him, and it was just kind of like that was it, you know. But
although at that moment, the moment was building, and I was like,
to Apocalypse, where he actually picks up the planet Apocalypse and just fucking throws it.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. And the others, you know, scene 2 when he goes to the fortress and he actually does fly. It's almost like the Man of Steel, which we saw where he, you know, he's getting ready. You see the ground fucking going, and then he just fucking goes, and then you kind of see him putting on the costume.
Yeah, it's just
you don't see
happening.
it. But you see the fucking cape, you see the blue, and he's just like, damn.
I love that. I wrote down, wow, tears, John Williams score. That's what I wrote down.
Oh, man, that part's great, too. When he just goes on the rooftop, you know, and he pulls it out, and then, the John Williams, and then the credits. It's like the same from the...
They used their budget on that. They were like, we can either have Dark Side or the John Williams score.
Which, I was like, John Williams score.
I'm cool with John Williams.
Good choice on there.
I'm cool with John
And then it tells it, too. Remember, they're about to get married. And he tells Lois, he's like, I've been waiting for 7 years. So at that point, remember I told you the age where like Superman gets ready. I think he's like 30, 32, which will make sense. If he was 24 and then 7 years later, he'd be about 31. Yeah. That's when he's like peak Superman already.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so.
The part where Martha Kent loses the baby, that fucked me up. I was like, yo, what did y'all? I wanted to hear what y'all thought about that because that was
I totally
super
forgot about
fucking
that
dark.
too.
Yeah, I mean, it was like essentially because of him because he goes to put that Lex kryptonite key into the ship because he thinks like, oh, the kryptonite will kill the ship, and the ship is what's making like all this bad stuff happen. And I'm like,
ship's like is causing all the problems, and he's like, hey Pete, I want to go ahead and make a fucking kryptonite key that looks just like this one, and I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna stick it in the ship, and I'm gonna make it like go away and die.
Well, no, first he's like, oh, we need like a kryptonite key, and Pete's like, hey, that's not a good idea, Clark. Yeah. And B, he's like, where are you gonna get that? That doesn't. He's like, nah, I saw one. Lex had the Lionel had one, and I'm like, and number 2, I'm like. Nobody questions how the fuck you're always like in this behind. If I'm Lex and Lionel, I'm like, top flight security, all y'all motherfuckers are dead. Like this kid is back behind he just always walking, and he's always walking in the house too.
Yeah, he
is.
Like,
who are you fucking? Are you fucking Jazzy Jeff in the Fresh Prince? Like, get the fuck out of my house.
But you gotta remember too, like, so Lex probably at the time before they weren't friends, Lex was probably like, hey, Clark's cool. So like,
just walk in whenever you want.
Yeah.
Well, Lex is probably thinking this is a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Let him in.
What's a 14 or 15-year-old gonna do to me? except steal all my shit.
And then, like you said, he's investigating him, so he's like, "Yeah,
Okay.
let
Yeah.
Clark come in."
Yeah, come
you
on
get
in,
full
man.
access. Come get on my cameras.
let me use my Hitachi
Exactly.
sword on him.
Exactly.
No, well, in the first or second episode, Clark does come in and he's like, "How'd you get through the
Yeah.
thing?" And then he's all like, "Oh, I squeezed through the gate."
Yeah.
I'm like, you big
he just-
motherfucker,
Broad
squeezed through
action.
the gate.
Yeah.
See Clark just pushing it.
Not even my fat ass is squeezing that gate. I'm small, motherfucker. Come on now. And then later on, when they start to have a rift, he says he's like, these pop-ins aren't. You
they're
can't
not
just pop
warranted.
in like you used to or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But
Gotta adjust.
I thought that shit, like her being pregnant, and then like when he puts the key and the shit blows up and it causes that thing, the car flips because they're coming back for him. They leave whatever they're doing, the Kents, and they're coming back to get Clark because they're like something's going on, you know. And the truck flips over, and then they're in the hospital, and then they're there, and like I had kind of forgot she was pregnant, and then they're like, he's like, "How's my wife?" And they're like, "She's gonna live, she's okay, blah blah." And then he's like, "How about the baby?" And I was like, oh, and then they go, "We're sorry." And then the doctor just leaves, whatever. And then Clark runs up, and it's like, that's like the time that Jonathan kind of doesn't acknowledge him, and it's like, it's fucked up.
Is that the one where they had Pete drive away from the? No, that's not the
No,
military one.
that's a different one.
That was further back. Further back.
It was pretty crushing to me. I wanted to hear y'all's thoughts, but it seems like maybe you didn't remember. You said
I
that
don't
right.
remember. I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
so.
I did forget.
Okay, it's bad. Well, no, mine rightfully so. It was traumatic, and y'all pushed it out of your mind. Push out that bad trauma. And we'll come back, guys, more. I think we might be getting close to closing
Probably,
it out here
yeah.
on Smallville, guys. So we'll be right back. We want to read through any more of your thoughts, comments, questions on Smallville, and then we're going to get final thoughts from our panel here on Smallville. 20 years, guys. We'll be back. All right, there's no commercial, guys. If you're here with us live, we haven't gone anywhere. Are you here? Are you alive? Are you out drinking? Are you out doing whatever you're doing? Or are you hanging out with us?
Rich says, where do you rank Smallville out of all the DC shows out there? Well, for me, it's my number one because
I
I
think
never
so.
really
I was-
see all the other ones.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
There you go.
I'm biased. I do love Smallville.
But you did watch Flash, you said.
I watched Flash. I
And
watched
Arrow.
Gotham. I watched Arrow.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. You're deep.
yeah.
You're deep in the game.
Oh yeah.
Holdy.
No, I love
did not
DC.
realize you
I
watched
love
that
DC.
many.
I mean,
And Guardian-
but
no.
I think honestly, and I'll tell you this. I think that when I watch something, anything, if I have company, if I have, the environment you're in, when you watch something, I would race to Cat's house on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, and we'd get there and say, "Oh, did we miss it? No, sit down. All right, cool." His mom would have some popcorn for us if we wanted to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting there, we're watching it, and it's like, and that I think was what sealed the deal, and I think that's why this show has always been the best for me. So when it comes to DC, I think I really do love this show. I like Gotham. I think I like Flash more than I like Gotham,
Okay.
and I love Batman. I got a tattoo right here, but I think I like Flash, the CW show, more than I like Gotham. But I will say that Smallville is my top show.
All right.
Because of the situation, the element we were all in together. And sadly enough, after the show was over, we'd watch the Osbournes.
Oh, that's right.
Nice.
That's right.
Nice.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
That
the
trash
season
that would come
one.
on?
The come down. Rox, I'll let you go next. Do you have a?
It'd definitely be my number one, but I'm not as invested as Jonathan. I saw that Flash only because he's watching them.
Sure.
But I've skipped episodes, so I'm
Okay.
only whatever he's on episode, that's what I watch. You
Okay.
know what I mean? And Gotham the same way, because I don't know, there was just something about. I was like, oh, he's good when he's young, but then they try to make him.
You did like Gordon.
I
Yeah.
love Gordon. No, yeah, I like Gordon, but I also liked Alfred.
Yes.
Mm.
She liked
Yeah.
Pennyworth in that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you said pretty much for you, it's not
Yeah,
an easy question. I can literally see your stacks of all the seasons, so that's
yeah.
that's
I
a love
actually
right
did.
there.
Yeah, I actually did.
I
buy
can
all.
appreciate that.
He goes, besides Batman, what other DC heroes or villains would you have liked to have seen on the show?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Green Lantern?
I mean, Batman. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, he says besides
Oh,
Batman.
besides Batman.
A
it
hero
seemed-
or a villain?
It seemed like they didn't touch. I didn't see anything like Wonder Woman-ish or
Oh,
Amazon.
no, that was another
No.
one
Yeah,
they
that was-
couldn't touch.
yeah,
I think that
can't
would have
touch
been
that.
cool. Obviously,
For
that character's
villain,
grown
I would
on
have
us.
liked to have seen Parasite.
Okay.
Okay.
If they could have.
Okay.
Because they showed everyone else. So,
Yeah.
What's that guy with the motorcycle?
Lobo. That
Lobo.
would have been a cool one.
You don't like Lobo,
That's a great answer, though. But
And
yeah,
you know what?
regarding this,
I would have thought when they did the whole Legion or even,
That would have been a good one for Lobo.
yeah, and I thought that would have been a good segue for it. Also, they did show the Wonder Twins.
Yes, they did. The Wonder Twins
Interesting.
did make an appearance. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's kinda cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did they do Solomon Grundy?
No,
no,
but
but
he's,
they did Booster Gold too.
they did do Booster.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. As a
They,
hero.
they actually do
As a-
mention Black Adam a little bit.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you
at
go.
a
That's
museum. At
Okay.
a museum.
One. Okay.
So,
Roxanne, for you, anybody that maybe.
It's not somebody that hasn't been portrayed. He was on the show. I just would have liked to see more of him, and I like Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
Martian, yeah.
And almost I like him on any show I've seen him on. Like he was on the Supergirl
he was
show.
he was a good Martian Manhunter. I did like
Mm-hmm.
him a lot. Yeah.
You know what? I want to. I don't know if I really answered clearly or whatever, but I'm going to go for me. Swamp Thing. Bring in Swamp Thing to hang out
Oh,
there with
whoa.
Superman.
I'm sorry, but he's in a field.
He's decent.
Where's no. Smallville's in a field. There's no
no
swamps
swamp
there.
around. Maybe he comes to visit.
He wasn't in Louisiana. He was in Kansas.
Maybe Clark gets out of the sticks for a little bit.
Yeah, he did. He went to Metropolis.
Okay, here it goes. This is the story. They call it, the episode will be called, because all the episodes were one name, so we'll just call it Swamp. And he goes to run down. It's the weekend, and Bart shows up, and he's like, come on, let's go down to Louisiana for Mardi Gras. They run down there. They're going to party for the weekend only without Ma and Pa Kent knowing. Maybe not even the weekend, just a night, like 6 hours, right? They're going to go look at some flashing girls or whatever, right? They get down there. Well, they end up in the marsh because some bullshit happens. And then Swamp Thing shows up. They mix it up at first, but then they find out that Swamp Thing is all about saving the swamp.
Okay.
All right, see, there we go.
Make it
All
work.
right.
Make it work.
that in.
Rich
We'll
says,
talk about
do y'all think Lana, Chloe, and Lois were big contributors to the success of the show? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
They were very
Well,
strong
I would say,
personalities.
I
Yeah.
think that all three of them have very good roles and had very good parts for the show. And I think that they all had.
Yeah, Chloe was a big part of that first. Her and Lana were a huge part of that first,
Yes.
like 1 through
Yes.
4, 1 through 5, and then Lois takes over from like seasons 7 through the rest of the show. You
Like,
know?
like everything I watched, guys, to me felt very like Chloe heavy. Like Chloe is a big part of whatever.
Chloe heavy.
Let's ask. I want to hear your answer to this question, Roxanne, regarding this. As a woman, how did you feel about those female characters, their representation, and what they did for the show?
I think in the beginning they had their parts. I really liked them. But if I were to watch the episodes again, or if I were to have an edited version, they would be probably out of it because I just want to see Clark and Lex.
Okay.
That was the meat of the show. That's what made that show successful. I don't think it was the girls at all.
Almost,
Wow. Okay.
almost
That's
like
from
your
a woman. That's
Well, I'll say almost like your thought on Once Upon a Time. in Hollywood.
Exactly how, like, okay, so
Mm.
I hate to say this,
Mhm.
but in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sharon Tate
Margot
parts,
Robbie.
the Margot Robbie parts are so boring. And when you see the Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt parts, they're so entertaining. I just want the edited version of just them.
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective. I mean, I feel sometimes in that movie she's like the.
Well, I think you're just supposed to feel sympathy. Like,
Yeah.
this woman is
Right.
gonna. You know what happens to the real Sharon
Right.
Tate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
And if
it's
you don't
ugly.
build that, then you don't care about the character, so you
Right.
have to like create.
Well,
I
it
think
makes-
it's cute when she's in the theater watching.
That's what I'm
herself, but she
saying.
feels-
It's, you feel like
Sure.
shit. You know. She's gonna die. She's
Yeah.
gonna die brutal.
Right.
You know. So.
Right.
It makes you want to wish that those characters were real and
Right.
actually
Exactly.
did
That
save.
doesn't
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's just trying to do in
Mm-hmm.
that movie.
Cat.
Yeah.
Let me. Are we still going? Are we good?
Well, we're
no.
not in our next segment, but go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask you. Do you remember the episode where the girl can disappear? It was like I think it was in the first season. The girl can disappear, and they go on a field trip, and she's like, they're in an elevator, and the elevator falls, and Clark's like, he saves her while he's in there because she's like gonna die.
That's right.
He saves her,
Yes.
and then when the people open the elevator, she turns them invisible so they can't see.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, like I saved you, Clark," and she's like, "Because you saved me," and she's like, "You're like me," you're a meteor person like me.
Yeah.
And so Clark's like, they're like, oh, and he's like, man, I can be open to you. I don't have to hide my secret from you. But she can, like, she's invisible. So she's hiding out at fucking the Kent Ranch, like listening to Clark talk about her to his mom.
That's right.
She's like in his shower and shit.
But
I think she actually is.
She's like, she was creeping around, and I'm like, man, but she was beautiful. I don't remember what her name was.
Yeah, she was really, really
She was a beautiful girl, and I was like, oh my god. And she's like, oh, like Clark, and he's like, he feels comfortable with her because he's like, oh, like I share my secret with you, like I could be with you, like okay, and they're together for a second, but then she's like, Lana, he still likes Lana, and she's like, you know, every girl's like, Lana, kill Lana. I'm like, damn, they just wanted to kill Lana.
I just think they went really far out with some of the storylines for the girls. Like, there was a Matrix style thing with Chloe.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end, the stories kind of like start dragging some of these characters into like areas that you're just like, man, you know.
I read about that episode only because as I was looking up, I was waiting to get more episodes, I was looking up like essential Smallville episodes to watch, and a lot of them were the ones you both gave me. And then I got to a point where the list was the worst one, and they mentioned that one.
And
they
it was really bad.
You shouldn't be doing these stories with this. You know, it's like,
well, there's a lot of time where
you think Superman 3 Lana Lang, like she just stayed in Smallville and got with some dude and you know, became pregnant. She didn't become this fucking world traveler, martial artist. That knows everyone's secrets, assassin.
That's a lot.
Which happened to be a witch.
That's why I always tell people, like, I hate the Fast and the Furious trilogy because I like the first one so much, and now it's gotten to this point where they're super fucking hackers.
Pretty much,
Vin Diesel can do any kind of style of fighting and beat you, you know, and it's kind of like, come on now,
I mean,
you know, that's so different.
A car
that's what I'm saying. It's so far away from what the first one was all about, when it was just hijacking. It was just simple.
I've only seen the first.
And that's it.
Now you're
that's
missing
really
out. You gotta
No.
watch them all.
Family.
No, you don't. No,
You gotta watch them all. It's so good. I wanted to just highlight that comment real quick because I love that comment that Rich said. He says, I have to agree with John that company makes the show so much better. He also said that he likes Gotham as well.
Gotham was good. I saw the first few.
Hey, Gordon owned it.
Yeah, I always loved the show about Gordon.
It's basically about Gordon. You just get Bruce
No,
Wayne
it is
as
Gordon.
a child.
It is Gordon how he deal with
It's-
these fucking scumbags before Batman came to help him.
I watched a couple and I couldn't get into it.
I liked it. I liked it. It was cool because I'm a big Gordon fan.
Yeah.
I love the year one
Well,
because
you know what?
year one is focused on Gordon.
Right.
So.
It should, like Gordon was great in it. I like that they show him like through all the villains, like how he knows all of them.
Yeah.
Penguin.
Yeah.
What's his name? Riddler.
Poison Ivy. Penguin.
Selena Kyle. Penguin. Like he knows all of them in that one because they're criminals. He knows them, but he's like he still deals with them as he's going through.
That's cool.
And like I thought it was great.
What was your comment on it, Roxanne, about Gotham?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, one of the things I wanted to say regarding
Joker. That's what I can say on that.
Oh, there you go. Regarding Rich's comment with the women, one of the things I did want to say is that like, it seems like maybe at a point you got annoyed by them. I didn't feel that way, and sometimes I do get annoyed by. I won't say female characters, but just certain characters.
Chloe and Lana. I love the Tess Mercer character, and I love the Lois Lane character.
We didn't even bring her up at all, but that was an interesting character.
I
thought there was something interesting to her.
Can I ask you why you like Tess?
You didn't like her, did you?
She was okay. She was okay.
I liked her a lot. She was smart. Every time they tried telling her shit, she would give them shit right back. So.
I did like her.
And plus, she's in the cartoon, that's Mercy.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that. No.
That's Mercy.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's also from the original Superman, Miss Tessmacher.
Miss Tessmacher.
So the big beautiful blonde with the big tits and
But here she's Mercy though. Like.
I don't like when they called her Lutessa. I was like, no one would name their child that. Like,
Lutessa.
Rich says, besides the show dragging at the end and certain characters missing, is there anything else that you didn't like about the show? Or should we wait for this to get recording again? That way.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is a really great
what
question
about the other
to
ones?
address.
What about the other two?
Well, there's that one, and then the Rich also asks, do y'all like shows like Smallville, Flash, etc.? I'm sorry, am I reading it right? Sorry.
Do y'all think shows like Smallville and Flash make you love the characters more? Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
of course.
Smallville made me love Superman way more
I
than
agree.
probably what I thought at the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if I really answered when Rich asked about my favorite shows because I'm kind of fairly new to the DC shows.
what you
whatever,
like?
so
What Titans?
I watched Titans. This
Well,
one.
You said
know
you
what I mean?
became a fan of Nightwing because of that show.
Well, I'd always had a love for Nightwing, but I guess it helped me profess my love more for Nightwing with the show. Even though the version of the show of Nightwing, I think that you guys might find annoying or whatever, because I'm like, there are parts of the show too where I feel how I felt about Clark, where I'm like, fucking get it together or whatever. But see, like what I know of Nightwing in the comics is I'm like, he's right there. He should be a Justice League, or he should be right there or whatever.
well, so
you know what I
you're
mean?
just like those the guys from the future from Legion. They're like, I expected you to have a cape. You should be
yeah,
flying.
yeah.
Like
Definitely.
you're not there yet. And he tells him, he's like, in that episode he's like, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
He's not there yet.
And what I think is that writers and everything need to get on it better with Nightwing, where it's like you should already be writing him like there, because it's already been. Now that's he's like the longest, sidekick, which is not anymore. He's the only one that actually graduated. Like it's like he's out of that or whatever. He's been where he pretty much was the one that like led and trained the Titans and all that. And it's like they're the next gen or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, and he's been so long or whatever. And there is a series, I believe, I forget who wrote it. But there's a part where whatever happens to Batman is done or whatever, and he's the one who takes the cowl, and the Robin that he has is the son.
pretty much in the
Tim,
comics now,
Tim,
like
Damian,
Dick Grayson is like almost the equal to Batman
Yeah.
at this
Okay.
point. You know,
which
where-
is it always should have, in my opinion, not always should have been, but like he earned
it
it
should
up
have
that
been.
way.
It always should have been like that.
And why I
The
like him
first one,
better.
your first student is always going to be your best student,
Right.
compared
You hope,
to Tim
yeah.
Drake, compared to Jason Todd,
Yeah.
all the other ones.
and he has to me, he's all of Batman's strengths and none of his weaknesses, because he has the compassion that Batman lacks, and he also has the father mentality that
It's
Batman
like
lacks.
that episode, right? The
Yeah.
animated series.
Yes, because
Yeah.
Batman is like a kind of like an absentee dad, in my opinion, or whatever. Or he's like he's trying to be a good dad, but he's always a shitty dad, in my opinion.
Right.
Whereas I don't think Nightwing is like that. Nightwing's like, these are your mistakes. This is
Right.
what you're fucking
Hey,
up.
real quick to get off topic, Joe's in the house. He says, "My boys," and he goes, "East Central beat Reagan."
Yeah!
in the second round. Nice.
Let's go,
Hornets!
baby! Let's
Nice.
go, Hornets!
He said Jonathan scored the winning touchdown too.
Oh my
Man.
god,
I
dude!
did.
This
That's
guy's over the
awesome.
moon right now.
I scored the
And-
winning touchdown.
And then he says, "Batman is not an absentee dad."
Joe, you are by far a far better father than Batman will ever be, my friend. I'll tell you that.
Rich says, "Where do y'all rank Tom Welling's Superman out of all the Supermans?"
Oh,
So for me,
wait.
for me, Christopher Reeve is always gonna be number
Yeah,
one.
that's number one.
That's always
No doubt.
Number one.
And Tom Welling will probably be number two
Yep.
for me.
I agree.
Well, that's
Over
a-
Brandon Root.
That's high.
Like Henry
Brandon Root's
Cavill
pretty
is my
low.
number 3. George Reeves is my number 4.
You put Georgie's at 4?
Yeah, I like Henry Cavill. I like him.
What
He's
about
got a good look
Ben
to him.
Affleck in Hollywoodland?
Oh.
He's a good George Reeves.
He looked pretty good. I was like,
He's a good George Reeves.
I was like, boy, you filling out that suit. Like, pretty good. Only because he's not really Superman a lot in this. For me, he'd be probably number 3.
Two.
So I would
Henry?
go. Yeah, I would go Christopher Reeve, Henry Cavill, then Tom Welling. Because damn it, I think he has a better look. I think he has a better look than Henry Cavill. But I wanted more
Well,
Superman.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you were to go by look, too, I mean, you can... look, you could actually say that... was it Brandon?
Hey,
Brandon
he was good.
Brandon Routh
I enjoyed
looked
his
the part.
Superman. I enjoyed
he
his
looked
Superman.
the part,
Yeah.
but, I mean,
He tried to act like Christopher Reeve.
he tried.
Well, that
and-
was the whole
Yeah.
point. I think
And
that was the.
that's the
I
thing.
think that's
To
where
be
they
a
went wrong.
continuation of that.
Yeah, I think that's where they went wrong.
Chris Reeve's always, like, my ultimate
He
Superman.
is.
He's
He
the
is.
Superman, you know?
What do they call it?
And-
The
and-
penultimate.
And we're talking about Smallville. Did you watch any of the episodes with Christopher Reeve in it?
Yes,
Yes,
he
I
did.
did. Yeah,
Dude,
he had me watch
those-
the first one when he first comes out.
Dude,
Oh, it's
That was
fantastic.
cool.
my heart melted.
Dude, oh,
every
dude,
time I saw that.
I'm not ashamed to say I had real tears. I was like,
When
"Ah,
we
this is fucking
when we
awesome,
watched the
man."
show, we saw his name come up. We were like, oh my
Yeah, it was
Like he's
crazy.
coming in
It was
here.
crazy.
You know, I gotta say that was one thing I didn't notice. I didn't like that where like it buried the lead a lot when it would tell you like guest starring, and I was like, oh,
They
I guess I'll
couldn't
be
help it though,
seeing
man.
Michael
It was-
You gotta put
Rosenbaum
the
in
name
this
out
one.
there.
You know,
Well,
I mean,
and then you see the episode Margot Kidder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you had Jane Seymour pop
Yeah.
up, and you're like,
Oh, that's
whoa.
cool.
I was like, wow, like
well, it's funny because we did the Universal Monsters last month, right? And like in they say it, in the beginning credits of like Frankenstein, it says the monster ? Like I love that. Like I'm
Right,
like,
it's
oh,
kinda
that's so
cool.
neat.
Yeah.
And like they say, like I've heard them say that Gary Oldman did not want a credit in Hannibal,
Right.
because he looked so different.
Yeah, I couldn't tell it
He
was
didn't
him.
want anybody
Yeah.
to know.
I
it
didn't
was him.
know.
He didn't want a credit, but
I genuinely didn't know for years.
yeah,
I
something
didn't
that
know
had to
his
do with
voice,
like
nothing.
SAG, like the Screen Actors Guild has like laws or rules, or whatever, that like if you're gonna get paid or something like that, then you have to have whatever.
Here's
So
that
that's
credit.
what. But he did not initially said he did not want to be credited because he liked the fact that he was so immersed, I guess, in the way he looked. Obviously, you could not tell that was fucking Gary Oldman as Mason Verger in Hannibal, and I was like, that's fucking awesome or whatever. So like I love that, and I think that in Bride of Frankenstein at the beginning of it, it says. The monster's bride, it has a question mark. Like they redo that. I think that's neat or whatever. Because when I was watching some of the episodes, I was like, so and so. I was like, oh, Michael Rosenbaum's gonna appear in this one, or like whoever's gonna.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Kind of burying the
It's
lead
kind
a
of like
little
you're
bit.
like fuck.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Ray in the house. He says I never watched Smallville, but I guess it was because I was always working when it came on the CW, if I remember correctly.
That's right, guys. Right, CW. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. it
Ray,
was.
if you have Hulu, it is streaming right now, and I'm new to it too, man. But I really, really loved it and enjoyed it. The characters look great. It's fun, and you can just jump in. You guys have mentioned so many episodes tonight that I plan to go back and revisit because I know that I could just jump in that episode and then jump out, and I'm good. And it's fun.
Yeah.
Joel says Batman's dad died. He's chasing the dad feeling. Only guy
Poorly.
to play Soup and Bats.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that's right.
Joe, since you're a Batman fan, who is the best Batman, or how do you rank him? Batman is Michael Keaton for me.
Michael Keaton, and then you got
Christian Bale.
Batman animated series.
Oh, yeah.
I always
Best
Batman.
love
Bruce
that.
Wayne, George Clooney. Best Bruce Wayne.
George
Are
Clooney.
you
gave me
serious?
some
Yeah,
love.
as Bruce Wayne. That
Wow.
guy, he knew how to
Was it
play
a
Bruce
stretch?
Wayne. Yeah,
Was it a
that
stretch?
wasn't a stretch for him
What
to play
did he
Bruce
say?
Wayne.
I'm a guy with money.
Wait, what was he like? Oh, let me get the bat card out. So
No,
can,
I
like-
said Bruce Wayne, not Batman.
he was still. Oh wow, no, yeah, he was,
Yeah.
No, when he's at that party with that model, that's Bruce Wayne.
They were like, George, just be yourself. He was like, I got this.
He's like,
Although they say he's wonderful
How
on
did-
set.
he goes,
Sure.
how do you know he got it from Japan? I was like, I bought it in Japan.
Bought it in
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
They say that
Michael
Bruce Wayne.
Like
See,
Christian,
that's how
Christian
Bruce Wayne-
Bell was
George
like,
Clooney
I
is?
thought he was like a terrible Bruce Wayne. I was like,
Yeah,
man,
I
this Bruce
wasn't-
Wayne.
Yeah,
sucks.
there's not a lot of
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne in there to
I like Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne still because like I thought like even when you see in the second one, when he's talking to Shrek, he's like, I'm gonna fight you on this all the way through. And I'm not gonna let it set. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like talk.
Ray
talk
wants to
your
know if you have Hulu so you can borrow your password.
shit. Yeah.
I'm actually borrowing Double A's password, so
Wow.
Yeah,
answer to
you-
that question is no. I do not
Just
have
pass
it.
it around.
And Joe says Adam West all the way.
No, that's all right.
And then
W.
he says Batflick.
I wanted to
Affleck.
see Batman
Affleck.
v Superman, but it's just Ben Affleck from Hollywoodland versus Ben Affleck Batman.
Oh, okay.
Now that would have been a movie right there.
All right.
What about the new Batman? You know what? Until
We haven't seen Robert Pattinson.
yeah.
The trailers look pretty stellar.
Yeah, the trailers look good.
I ain't watched any of it.
No trailers. Okay.
And then Joe
Good stuff.
says every time he reads Batman, he hears Kevin Conroy's.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's an interesting
Yeah.
perspective right there, right? When you read
He's
it.
the greatest Batman
And then
voice.
Ray says no, he has Hulu. Yeah, I mean
Ever.
Kevin Conroy's Batman. That's you hear that voice when you're reading Batman.
I have to admit, sometimes when people ask me like, whose voice do I hear when I read like
It's
the X-Men
Kevin
comic
Conroy.
books? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I hear
The
the X-Men
90s.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that's his Wolverine voice I hear. I don't hear Hugh Jackman.
I
so.
like Rogue's voice.
Hugh Jackman. I didn't even think about that.
I know anything about him. All right, guys, what do you think? You think we're ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah, let's get into
Whatever
it.
you're ready.
All right,
Let's go.
guys, let's close out the book on the 20th, I guess, anniversary, right?
It is the 20th.
Yeah,
Yes, it
anniversary.
is the 20th. Yeah.
of Smallville.
Oh, didn't you want to answer a question?
We'll answer the questions right now, guys. Thanks for coming back with us. For you listening on audio, we're talking all things Smallville. We had a lot of great comments during the break. Again, if you ever want to hear the complete unabridged version of the show where the comments are included, go to YouTube. Yeah, go to YouTube and check it out. Hit the subscribe button for us. That helps. And the little bell gives you a notification. It's one show a week, and it's worth your time. So if you made a comment during the show, you're listening on audio, and you're like, where's my comment at? There it is. It's on YouTube.
There it is.
Or on Facebook, which apparently is now called Meta, I guess. But
Meta.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, lots of great comments. Was there a question, Roxanne, you thought that we missed?
No, I think Kat wanted to answer it online.
What about the new Batman? We also talked about Joe said that Kevin Conroy was the voice. Ray says he has Hulu. Joe says Bat Pattinson might be the penultimate Bats. Oh, that's already an early. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, Joe. I don't know. Let's see how he does first. I mean,
I want to hear his voice.
Yeah,
because that was what really turned me off to.
There were some things that happened in Smallville. Speaking of voices, Hawkman's voice, he got pretty gruff with the
Oliver
voice
too
there.
in the beginning.
And Oliver too has a voice
thing,
and I was like, oh, that throws me off. That's kind of weird.
But then I mean, if you hear Oliver's supposed to be this.
Well, and then you got to remember too,
well-known billionaire.
Yeah,
so.
I guess.
Well, but you got to know too, like Clark, as the Blue Blur.
I hated that. Too. Yeah, I didn't know.
It though.
I know. I guess I got tired of him being called like the Blur. And then I didn't care for the long black jacket for like a while. I was like,
the Matrix.
What the fuck is this?
I was like, man, every time you're bad in Smallville, you turn black.
I just felt like everything that the costume designers did was like purple cape, purple jacket.
But again,
how about a jacket? Jacket. Everybody get a jacket.
Go back to Daredevil, the Marvel series. With the black fucking
costume.
Right,
doubly, but like one character, okay, but like everybody's getting it. I was like, come on, costume designers, give me something else. When he was wearing the black, they could have had him kind of more close to the black costume in the thing. Nope.
See, you're not getting there yet.
You're
not getting Superman.
All right.
Yet. This is a 23-year-old that's thinking, okay, let me just put on a fucking black suit.
Coat, yeah.
Or the red leather jacket, even though he doesn't need leather.
Yeah. Although I thought that jacket looked cool, I was like, all right, the jacket looks pretty cool.
But still, he's just thinking, let me just put on something I'm comfortable in.
What did you
guys
think?
Never would have thought the blue costume, the red cape.
Right. Yeah, until he saw it.
Until he gets it.
So Martha gives it to him.
Jonathan actually gives it to him. In the series finale, he comes out.
Yes.
And he goes here.
She gives him
in the box.
But in season 9, she shows up and drops it off.
It's just there.
It's there. Well, I mean, it can't be him. He's dead.
Well, right.
No, but in the fortress, he gets in the fortress.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is Martha drops it off.
And she says in case you decide to stay in Smallville. Yeah. And then he opens it up and he sees just like the crest or whatever, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, he sees it in his eyes. It's like reflected in his eyes, which is, I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So
I was like, that's what made us feel like, oh man, season 10 is gonna be awesome. He's gonna have the cape. He's gonna have the suit.
And see, they followed that super rule about no flights, no tights.
Yeah.
They kept it all the way to the fucking end. And I think if he would have at least done one season as Superman, I bet you they would have demanded.
It would have spawned another show.
Maybe even the last 5 episodes would have like
just 5. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they couldn't even give us like a really good look at him as Superman.
So when he puts the suit on, he's flying up. You're like,
you're seeing him from so far away. And it's just like
I noticed that too, and that's what kind of crushed me a little bit is because I was like, I can't imagine
it really did
being a fan for the entire time like you guys were through the whole run.
You know what? I felt like that last scene. It's just so iconic of him. Ripping the shirt. I mean,
with the music.
That's it. I mean, so
definitely.
But Sam, what did you think though? The few episodes that you get to see, what did you think about the whole feel of Smallville? Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, Erica Durance, Kristin Kreuk, Allison Mack. What did you think of like the whole feel, the villains, kind of like
Pete Jones?
Yeah, giving them that whole origin story that we've never really seen before.
Yeah, it wasn't Pete Jones.
And then setting him off. Like by the end of that series finale, he's going to become Superman.
Yeah,
what do you think?
His name is Tom Jones III.
As I'm watching throughout, I'm thinking about those things. I'm thinking about like when's this gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? And I didn't know like the flight thing didn't actually happen until the end. I was like, oh, he did this fucking whole tenses he didn't fly. Like I was like, I thought there was something or whatever.
There was the teaser one.
Yeah. Yeah, the little bit, and that was cool because that was even fun for me where these little payoffs went there. But no, I thought it was great. It was great character development. There were a lot of things I would have done different. Like for instance, when the him from the other mirror universe comes and they fight. You know what I mean? You just had me watch that one recently. That was one of the more
Luthor, I think it was.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's called Kent.
Oh, Kent. Yes.
So there's a part where like it's like you can kind of tell like the mirror universe, and Tom Welling does a fantastic job of turning it on and off. Whatever when he's gonna be making out with Tess, it's like he's just like he's there. Like I'm like, all right, like there's no like like wavering. Like, it's good acting. There's just parts where it's like they fight briefly or whatever, and I'm just like, man, there's things I guess I just would have done. Like when he hits him, I'd have been like, that's how you fucking hit. Like we can hit like this, and you're hitting like that. Like you've been hitting like a bitch. Like I wouldn't have said like a bitch, but I would just been like, it feels so much better when you hit like this and like fucking toss him through like 10 buildings or whatever because he can. And that Superman, that version of Clark doesn't seem like he gives a shit because he's Ultraman or whatever, And I was like, all right, there was a lot of little moments I felt like could have been tweaked just to make it a little bit more, better. But I felt like that a lot during Titans, where I was like, that needs to be
tweaked. Do you think they kept the tone though, of Superman?
Because, definitely.
The thing I hate about Man of Steel and everything else is that they make it really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The whole Kevin Costner, his fucking shitty advice that he gives him everything, blah blah blah.
Right.
It's not very hopeful. But with Tom Welling, you just feel all the way even to the end. You just feel that optimistic feel, and you're just like, yes, that's my Superman. That's my Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah.
You just feel like he's gonna be that leader that you can trust and feel like, I want to fight for this guy.
Yeah.
I want to follow that guy.
Yeah, I want to follow that guy. I want to trust this guy. I want to be led by this guy. It's almost like Captain America.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah.
That you get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
What I didn't like about it though is that like I can't imagine being in y'all's position and having to wait so long because it was frustrating even for me at points.
You know what? When you're watching it though, I really didn't think about him flying or him, putting on the suit because I guess they set the tone already so long that you're never going to see him fly.
Yeah.
That I never had that expectation that I'm going to see him fly.
Well, there's even
I'll say this, and when you see Zod show up or even Kara show up where they can fly. That's what I'm like.
It was frustrating.
Man, get your shit together, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like you.
But
can
it's like
fly.
you said though, you don't know what he can do.
Right. No.
He discovers his powers accidentally.
But as the audience, I'm like, you're seeing someone from your home planet show up and they can fucking.
But then
fly.
he's probably thinking, okay, well maybe that's her ability. Maybe she can fly.
Mm-hmm.
What makes me think that I can fly?
But she had everything else he had.
But again, he's like he doesn't really know his whole
except
history.
the penis.
Hey, what the hell?
Well, I'm just saying because when she tells him like you need to learn how to defy gravity, and I'm sitting there thinking, yes, you do, and like that's how you can defeat these people that are the same people you are.
No, go ahead, John. No. What I was gonna say is kind of, and you said this earlier, Double A, is I just felt like it would have benefited from like I know we talked. Rich mentioned like reboot. Maybe not a reboot, but I bet you could go through a great editor could sit with these 10 seasons and like trim a lot of the fat because there's a lot of parts where he recants the things he felt like 2 or 3 seasons earlier because again you had me watch throughout the 10 seasons and I'm like again like he'll go to the fortress and he'll be like when am I gonna fly and I'm like dude stop asking like it's like you have to like haven't you found out yet like you said you discovered your powers exist like it's gonna you've got to. He doesn't hit a lot of breakthroughs, and I get that he's supposed to be like a younger guy or whatever, but he revisits so many things that there's so much doubt, and it's weird because it's a contradiction to me in a sense. This is why I said earlier in the beginning of the show about like there's like the balancing act because it's like you have this strong father figure. I don't even count really Jor-El because I mean like the episodes I watched like he's
more
there,
advice.
but yeah, more advice. But the Jonathan Kent character is one that is just like the only thing he waffled on. Jonathan Kent was that he was like afraid, he was so fearful of his son being outed and the family being destroyed, which again, that came from a father perspective of like, I'm not going to let my family be destroyed. But, and I guess if you could say that one thing is what instilled in Clark, all this, like, there was like all this waffling and all this back and forth. And it was like, again, he couldn't trust anybody. It took him forever to trust. It took him forever to just be assertive. Like that was never really there or whatever. It was, he just always was on the fence, you know what I mean? And it again, it was detrimental to me, I guess, as a big Superman fan to see Superman that way. But again, it didn't, you're really what you said, Double A put it in perspective a lot when you said hey, imagine him being from 14 to 24, and this is what it's got to be, or whatever. Oh, I'll drink it.
He doesn't like cucumber.
Yeah. What do you guys think? To double A, same question. How do you, Roxanne? Let's start with you. Like, how do you feel? I want to know what you really think. Like, I guess, how did some of the things affect you regarding, Clark's progression and how the other characters played into the whole show?
I remember while we were watching it, they were saying, remember, like, he's not going to do this.
Nope, never.
It was disappointing.
Uh-huh.
But because you already knew that it wasn't going to happen, so you were just kind of like,
Yeah.
Okay.
You see it as it goes.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Were there other? I'm sorry, not mean to interrupt, but were there other payoffs that you were looking for? Because I think we all watch a show hoping for an eventuality of something like the guy gets the girl,
It's like
or
I said,
that guy gets the good guy.
Superman mythos just come on strong. And like I said, when him and Lois finally get together, you feel like it's a real Superman story afterwards.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. No, I agree. For you, is it?
I feel like when he got with Lana, it was kind of like a satisfying thing. I didn't feel the initial chemistry with him and Lois, but then later on, and it's this part where actually it's with Chloe. Chloe changes bodies with Lois,
yeah.
and it's so funny because like she
Is it
puts.
Tana episode?
Huh?
Is it Tana?
I don't remember. It could be.
Was it magic trick?
It was a magic something. Anyway, Lois is Chloe. So Chloe is in Lois's body. She even puts on like Chloe's outfit, and Chloe is much smaller than Erica Durant. So it's like she's wearing like this tight outfit, and Clark sees her and he's like, Lois, what the hell are you doing, you know? And then like
they're not together yet.
They're
right?
not together there at that point, but you can see that there's already an attraction. And
Does she shag Clark?
Well, no. Well, what's funny about it is
She really wanted it. Poor thing.
she so wanted it. Yeah. But there's a part though where Chloe trips, but it's Lois. Lois trips, and Clark catches her or whatever, and there's this heated look that he gives her, like a very passionate look, and like he wants to kiss her or something like that. And Chloe, as Lois, says, "You've never looked at me like that before." You know what I mean? But I love the fact that he had that passion. You know?
Yeah.
And he was such a good actor with that, I thought.
Yeah, he was. And the ones that he was there for, like when he was in love with Lana, he was in love with Lana.
Yes.
And when he was in love with Lois, it was in love with Lois, which is great. I mean, that's an aspect about, I think Clark, and Superman, the Superman character that's there or whatever, What about you?
He never
Jeff?
gave that look to Chloe.
Nope.
Like, as an actor.
Not even close.
No.
Like,
And that's a lot, yeah. And she's attractive.
Deadass.
She is. But,
Deadass.
yeah, he was like, I'm not into you.
Yeah.
I'm never going to
Sorry.
be.
How did you feel, Holty? Were there things that maybe like you wanted to pay off, or were there frustrations that you felt, or were there things, or did it just play out like oh, I know that I'm not gonna ever see Superman. This is a story about Superboy, essentially. You know what I mean?
Superboy, essentially,
And,
without calling him
Well,
Superboy.
Yeah.
I would say honestly,
Which I love
when we watched the show, I knew where it was gonna be. Obviously, we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Even at the end, I didn't realize. I never thought he was gonna have the suit though. Even at the end, I was
I
like,
I thought the same
I
thing.
couldn't tell you when we started going to your house to watch it. I couldn't tell you that I was going to say, hey, this is going to be 10 years down the road and we're still not going to see a suit.
yeah,
I didn't even think about that. I liked the company. We liked hanging out with you, hanging out, and going over there and watching the show. But I really liked the show. I thought it was really good. I liked I think what drew me in was the whole Lex Clark mentality.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
the two
Yeah.
guys
Great
like that.
dynamic.
Because I already knew you guys are enemies. Like you're gonna be that way.
Yeah.
But to see them like, man, you saved my life. I'm gonna be your friend. Oh, I helped you. I saved you from the quarterback, like stringing you up like a scarecrow.
Yep.
I helped you out here. Oh man, Clark, I mean, even to the point where Clark gets red kryptonite, and he's like feeling boisterous and doing whatever he's doing what all he wants to do. He goes to Lex's house and says, "Hey, I need to buy the Ferrari for the weekend," and Lex is like, "Okay, like that's an expensive car, Clark." He's like, "I want to show this girl the time of her life," and he's like, "Okay," and so like, but Lex is kind of like looking at him like, "All right."
thinking like, hey, you're 15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
16.
15, you're 16. I mean, okay.
So you're 15, you're taller than me and whiter than me. And,
Yeah,
all right.
it might work.
Yeah.
But I really think that what really drew me to this show was their relationship, their chemistry. And I remember I saw I guess it's behind the scenes, and it was the two of them, Rosenbaum and
Tom Welling.
And they're talking, and he's like, they're saying, yeah, there was a scene where, you know, they're doing a shot, and it's them two together, and he says, they're like, okay, go, and they're doing the shot, and they're doing it, and then he says, how did you feel? Like, they're looking at each other, like, how did you feel about that? He's like, let's do it again. He's like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I didn't feel that way.
That's
and he's
cool.
like, and then they're talking after they get the shot. He's like, that was awesome. That was good. That's good. You know, like talking. I was like, wow, like
And
they
cool
had a
too
love
because
for the
they're
show.
super tight too.
Yeah.
Both of them. They're
They
super
had
tight.
a love
that's
for the
awesome,
show.
man.
They had a love for what they were doing. They did a really good job, and I thought that's what made the show what it was for us. Like those two for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, Kreuk. I mean, Chloe. I don't. You know. I don't know how they felt about it, but I felt like those two guys invested
For
themselves in the
sure,
show.
man.
Yeah.
For
And I think
sure.
it really showed on screen that
That's interesting. I think that perspective, John, because I think that might have been maybe the standout relationship that people didn't see. People maybe were thinking like, oh, it's going to be more like a love story because we already had Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, and I was a huge fan of that. And I remember watching that and like the big payoff you're waiting for in that one is like, when are they going to get together?
married?
When are they going to hook up? You know, and then they eventually did get married, and it tanked the show. People were like, what kept you going was
Well,
the
see, my theory
eventuality
was
of it.
the haircut. I think that's
You might
what
be right
did
too.
it.
But
But
see,
it's more
I,
like what's next.
right, I heard that this happened with moonlighting as well. That people were like,
Yeah.
when are they going to eventually happen? And when it
The
happened,
sexual
and then it
tension's
was
so
like, that's
high.
what killed it.
Yeah.
And then when you
It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
They're together.
So I think that maybe this show thought it was going to capitalize on sexual tension, but it wasn't. It really was that relationship and the relationship with his father. I think those are two of the standout relationships of the show. What about you, Double A? Like, what were the things that it sounds like you didn't, but did you encounter like frustrations? Were there moments where you were like, I mean, I know you did say that.
Like
you
I
thought it
said,
should have been
I
cut
just
short.
thought the fucking story, some of the story got dragged along too much, and I was just kind of like, golly, maybe this show should end.
Okay.
You know, where I was kind of like, well, Lex is leaving, Lana's leaving,
Sure.
Lois she's not really like the Lois yet, you know?
Yeah.
And I was really giving up on it bad, like around season 6, 7, I was kind of like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is just kind of like,
And I felt like they
Like,
brought
just
in
like,
Tess
look,
like as an
'cause-
answer to Lex.
yeah, because I was kind of like, well, he's in Metropolis already, so you can't really call this fucking Smallville anymore. It's Metropolis. You know?
Yeah.
They already have the Daily Planet, you know,
Mhm.
and they're already going into this group, and he's already made friends with Flash. He's already made friends with Oliver Queen. You know, he's already got a Justice League going on.
Yeah.
It's like, how long can he keep fucking calling it Smallville? You
Right.
know, before it's like, come on, you know, you got to be Superman already. you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, man, maybe they should cut it. And then they started introducing more, and I was kind of like, okay. I became a fan again, like around season 8, like I said, season 8, 9, and 10, where I was kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I became a fan again.
Okay.
And then, you know, the payoff, for me, I like that. I remember you said your pop was like, man, that's it. That fucking blows.
Yeah.
For me, though, just, you know, hearing the music, hearing Perry White, seeing Jimmy, seeing Lois the way she was, you know, and then him coming out, I was kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what? I was happy with that ending. I was cool with that ending.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, that was my payoff for me. Him ripping out the fucking
yeah.
suit. That was
killer.
I was
yeah.
like, that's a perfect ending for Smallville for me. I was
And
like,
I
I'm
don't
good
know.
with it.
I don't know how much of it my dad watched. I know because he watches shows like, oh, it's on, like I'll watch it.
I remember you telling him
Yeah.
that he was just like, man, that's it. Just him ripping up. You know, you don't even get to see him in the suit
Right,
or nothing.
right.
You know, but
And I could
was
get
just
that.
happy with just him ripping the
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
You know what? You know that moment. What that moment is. That
Mhm.
just him doing that. That's a classic Superman thing. That's a Christopher Reeve thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, there's even that issue 1 right there
Uh-huh.
of him just like that. I mean,
Well,
that's just a really
I mean,
iconic image of him
Alex
doing
Ross
that.
has it too, where he's
Exactly.
just tearing the shirt
Yeah,
off.
like that.
Yeah.
That one right there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That one. Yeah.
People do that as a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
They just, it's a great.
Yeah.
like,
You did.
I've done it. I've
You
done
did.
it as a.
It's a
yeah.
fucking big moment. So for me, being a comic book fan, seeing him do that, that's kind of like, okay, you're Superman now.
Yeah.
I was happy with it. I was fine with it.
Good to
You
go.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I almost feel like too maybe my dad's frustration came from like maybe what other people felt where it's like, oh, well, I want a little bit, like John said, would it have been great for 5 episodes or
would have
2
been
3
cool
episodes, the finale,
just for that episode, just to see him in the suit.
Because I had to admit, as I was watching it, and again, it was much better this time for me to have context of having seen other episodes. Like, no, okay, now I've seen the pilot and I've seen the finale. You know what I mean, in its entirety. And I had to say, even that the finale was a 2-parter, I thought that I was going to see like, oh, in the second half,
you're going to see it,
or the last 5 minutes, you know. And I was like, oh no, they really did it this way. They tightened it to the point where it's like, you know,
it's you can't see him.
Yeah, it's Rogue One where you get to see. Well, not even that, because that payoff is much better with Vader at the end there, and then it goes right into episode 4. But I mean, still, I still thought it was cool, and it was really
like
much.
I said, I was good with it.
It was much more in context for me having watched several episodes before and like more build up and more understanding of the characters. And I was like, like I said, I was in literal tears. I
remember seeing it live
awesome,
and just thinking like, yes, that's it. He's on his way now. You know, he's boom.
And you know what? I will say this: as far as show endings, it was a good ending to that show for what it was supposed to be.
And then, like I said,
a lot of bad show endings.
And then, like I said, I think it just made me even more like in love with it was when the John Williams music came on. You know, I was just like, oh shit, here we go. You know, and there he goes, saving the world. You know.
And then you got those other episodes like with the Virgil Swan, where you hear the light with it's Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve's character, you hear the light like John Williams score in the background. You're just like, man, like
that's awesome.
Yeah. Or Margot Kidder shows up. I'm like, what? You're in here too?
I didn't get to see that one, but that sounds cool.
I didn't give him that episode.
She was his assistant, and she's like, hey, and she's on the same screen with his mom, Martha. Annette Toole.
Cool.
They're both in the
reunion
same
of
show.
that one.
I'm like, man,
That's
y'all
pretty-
were.
They
were. I don't even know if they were on the same set when they did Superman 3, but they were both in the same movie because she's in there for like a brief second in the beginning, and she tells Clark she's leaving, and then he goes to Smallville, and that's when he sees Annette Toole from the original Christopher Reeve. So I'm like, wow, like all 3 are on the same set, like doing the same. I'm like, that's awesome.
That's great. I mean, and I think the showrunners did a great job of that, bringing back all these people that are part of the Superman mythos to be part of the show. Helen Slater being Lara.
Terry Hatcher came back.
Terry Hatcher as Lois's mom. That was super cool.
Even Michael Ironside. You didn't get to see him, but he came out.
Lois is dead.
Well, yeah, and if
cool.
you don't know, but in the Superman the animated series, he voices Darkseid.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. That even from the Superman animated series, he got Michael Ironside.
Very cool.
So so that was really cool.
Let me see if we got any other comments. Since we're in our what I would call our last.
Yeah,
block
Amy
here.
in the house. She goes, "I like this cast right here. The
there you
Hulk's
go.
in the house."
Yeah.
What's up, sis? Double A. What about this small picture you have back here? It's Tom Welling, and then it's Christopher Reeve.
It's Alex Ross.
Alex Ross painted. That's super fucking awesome.
And it was cool too. Even at the end of that episode, they're doing like at the very end, him and Christopher Reeve are sitting together about donating to like trying to help people like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
And he said he's gone on record saying Christopher Reeve saying that if he was going to pass the baton, it was going to be to Tom Welling.
Oh man,
that he saw
cool.
him that he's Superman. And he really wanted Tom Welling to be Superman.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Now, did he say in his younger times that he would have done it? That he would have done a Superman movie, or
I think he
was interested.
Yeah, I think he was interested when they were really talking about the 06 one.
Yeah.
That he was really in contention.
Because that would have been what like maybe season 2.
No, by that point, because Smallville came out in 01, that would have been about season 5 or 6 already. Wow. So he was already firmly established as our Superman, because there was no other Superman. Superman 4 would have been the last movie, right before Superman Returns.
Christopher Peace.
But that would have been the last Superman movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big gap right there.
And it's again, I hate to say it, but it's just a bonehead move on DC's part where they would have had that. When y'all are saying it's season 5, that's like probably the height of like where it's like
where it was Smallville.
Well, like you said, you were still on board at that point.
Yeah.
We were all still invested, so you would have been like, "I'm down. Let's do this."
And it would have been neat because no one else would have done that yet. Where it's like, oh, we're going to put the mantle on our show guy for a movie. You know what I mean?
And then the reaction when you found out that they're going to be on Infinite Crisis, I mean, man, everyone is just
All
like,
of a
holy
sudden,
shit, Tom Welling's
Like,
coming back.
I was like,
you
I don't
know?
even have WB, but I'm gonna look for that.
Yeah,
shit.
and
Like,
I saw that episode just for that scene. Just
I
for that
recorded
one
it and
fucking
watched it
scene.
too. I thought
Yeah.
that was really neat. Also, obviously them being at DC Fandom when they did the interview together,
And that was
cool.
That was the thing, cool thing too. Now, at first, I didn't really like that ending. I was kind of like, man, that's the way Smallville ended. Was that like he gave up his powers and
yeah.
him and Lois had kids? I was like, golly, that kind of sucks. But then when I read it was supposed to be the Alan Moore, the final Superman story of that Silver Age. See,
Okay.
they asked Alan Moore to write one last Superman story for the Silver Age, and then after that, it was going to be Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they were starting again with this whole series where it was
Right.
going to reinvent his whole origin story again. In that story, Superman gives up his powers. Every villain comes after him. Everybody teams up, and at the end, you think he died, but actually he gave up his powers to live in peace with Lois. So, and that's kind of what they did for Tom Welling.
I was gonna ask.
So I was
Is
kind
it
of like,
a-
okay. So
Is
I
it
was
a
kinda
Superman thing to give up your powers though, to stop helping people?
Well, he did in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I just want to be with you.
Or maybe they're
selfish
just,
though.
but maybe they're just doing that for the
Selfish.
Silver Age,
Or
Silver Age Superman.
Unselfish.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Selfish
I mean-
if you're choosing that and you have the ability to keep. What would Batman say? Batman would be like, "Yeah, you're being fucking selfish." That's what I think Batman would say.
And that's why they always disagree.
Yeah, because Batman
That's
is
why they're
saying.
never best friends.
I've read issues before where they switch powers and Batman's like, "I can't believe you have this power." He's like, "I would just control nonstop, like forever."
But that's the same thing Lex says.
Yeah,
So
that's true. There's a part in one of the episodes you guys gave me where Chloe tells him that because I think it's in the finale where Lois is like doubting about getting married, and she's like, every moment we're together, we're fighting over curtains. He could be saving a life, and then she's like, he's not a god. She's like, he needs to take a break. Like he needs to be with you. Like I don't think she grasps it. And we've seen other futures where, there's not a Lois or whatever, and
he goes apeshit.
kind of becomes a despot. You know what I
he
mean?
does.
It's like, it's not a very good.
It's not.
There's a lot to Superman that makes him Superman. The Kents are a huge part of it. You know what I mean? And then eventually it is Lois. Is that
Lois is the main one.
Chloe
Yeah.
says you ground him. He needs to be grounded
She
at
is
times.
bad.
You know
Real
what I mean?
bad.
Yeah, she's the key.
It's even on the Superman animated series where Lois dies and he controls the Earth with Lex.
Mhm.
oh wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of the premise of that Injustice series. Whatever.
And
It's
then
like once she
Kingdom Come,
goes,
when Kingdom Come, Lois dies,
Yeah.
and he just gives
he
up.
just quits.
He's like,
yeah.
I'm done with
Yeah.
this. Fuck you guys.
It is asking a lot. I don't necessarily see it as selfish, but I mean, like I said, I guess it could be viewed as
But
selfish.
again,
if it's like,
remember,
you give it up.
people place him as a god, but he's not a god.
Right.
You know?
Right. I think we're ready for final thoughts, guys. Anything that anyone wants to say?
I love the show,
you know?
and it again, I've said it so many times off air that it makes Smallville really makes it special for me because they were here watching it with me. They watched it with the 14-year-old, when they didn't have to. You know, they just came and
That's
watched it. And, the first
man child.
Yeah, the first 3 seasons, John Roxanne, I'll be like, shit, it's almost 8:00. Where are they? And then you just see John's room, so it was fun, and it holds a special place for me. So
That's awesome,
I love the
man.
show.
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't know that story, so for me to learn that is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would say that probably be the genesis of y'all's friendship. That you
It
have
really
now,
is.
you
It
know?
really
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You bound,
Because it was 01. You guys got
Yeah.
together in 2000.
2000. Yeah.
bonded
Yeah.
over that.
Yeah.
So very
So-
cool. Oh, Roxanne, and no rush. Don't mind the clock, but no rush because we'll keep going into the next block. But your thoughts? I mean, like as a whole of the show.
I just think it was I think it was a great start. I still, when we were talking about it, and both of them comment, you're still commenting on season 1. I just loved that season so
Yeah.
much.
Sure.
It
Sure.
was it kept a close place to my heart when y'all are talking about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember that. And they're like season one, and I was just like, I remember that almost. You say something from season 3, I'm like, ooh, I gotta look that one up.
Which is funny because it'd be the furthest season from your memory that you saw because it's the oldest. So
Exactly,
it's like, that's
but
interesting.
it was the one that I remember the best because I loved it. The start of it, Tom Welling was beautiful.
Mhm.
Kristin Kreuk was beautiful.
Yeah.
Chloe was beautiful.
She'd be for sure.
So I was just like, wow, look at these good-looking people. Oh my God, fell in love with Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
the first season Lex Luthor, the first couple of seasons Lex Luthor, because he was just so charming.
Yeah.
And you kind of want, you just like, oh, I so want this to be the friendship, like the ultimate friendship.
I think it remained good because, you know, that in the finale, seeing him get President-elect Luthor in the white suit, you're like, oh no, like there's that or whatever. I didn't really care for the whole memory erase thing. I was like, hey, you don't really have to
It was
do
the
that.
only way you could have done it, I guess,
so?
if you know, without Lex knowing who the fuck Superman is, because you would have figured out, well, Superman's Clark.
Oh yeah, that's right. He already knew because he used the powers
Yeah.
in front of him. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you'll remember nothing is what she tells him. Whatever. So let me kill this, John, and we'll get your thoughts next, and then we'll close it out.
And I actually have that comic right there, where he's President Luthor.
President Luthor.
Mr. Luthor.
I was like, I didn't see Otis.
Otisburg.
I don't think we have
Otisburg.
any other comments in that house. I called the episode "Boy of Steel," reflecting on Smallville. I'm trying to add what the show is actually about in our titles now because apparently there's confusion, and we've seen a change in the numbers, so that's good. You know, yeah. But
Yeah, we're making it too hard. We're doing the Beatles.
Yeah, I was doing too
with the
much.
names.
Kat said I was doing "I'm the Walrus." On
Yeah,
the
it was like, what the hell is that song about?
Hey. we get it. You know what I mean? So, but no, man, I think it's a joy that you guys gave me that. Roxanne, I actually was not aware that you were going to be on the show for sure. So that's why I never badgered you for episodes, and I just got from these two or whatever.
Oh,
you know
it's
what I mean?
okay. I didn't really have. I mean, to be honest,
Like a list?
I would have given you probably about 5 episodes from the first season.
Yeah, that's fine. That would have been fine too. You know, like I said, there was a couple moments where I was without, so I went and I just watched, like I said, like finales and premieres, and that's how I got a couple. And some of them were 2-parters, so then I ended up watching both, whatever, and it made for good watching. And again, like I said, I enjoyed it. I'll go look for some of the episodes y'all talked about tonight and revisit them just for
like
fun.
I said, go on Hulu and kind of just read the descriptions.
Yeah,
and, you know.
they were very descriptive. I read through some of them, and I was like, oh, this is
Which
pretty
is
much
great.
like the
Yeah,
whole
that was
episode,
great.
you know?
Yeah.
I
Like I
only
said-
watched the first one too, and I didn't notice the Smallville was the creamed corn
capital, yeah.
And I was like, gross.
Yeah, before they became the meteor.
The meteor capital of the world.
Yeah, I think we touched on all my
Rudy's
stuff,
is
but I
good.
want to see, just to be sure, because some of the stuff I crossed out because we kind of talked over it, but I mentioned Clark killing the baby, which quote-unquote killing the baby.
Damn, killing the baby. Damn.
I wrote down the stealing from ATMs, the Lambo clubbing. He just gives away that Lambo. He's like,
yeah.
oh, you like it? Here
He's
you
like,
have
oh,
it.
you like it? Cool car, Kyle.
He's like, I get around faster anyway. Robbing banks. Doesn't he rob a fucking bank? I'm like, wow. And I put on here, does he atone for this?
No.
There's that one episode where he's like, I told the police where all the money was to get it back. And I'm like, that's it?
Yeah, that was
What
it.
about you do the crime, you do the time, Clark? I'm
Clark
like,
did.
man, he just got off.
He just spent money.
But I felt like everybody just like gave him a pat, like Lana. Like, how did y'all mend that? Because you just totally like abandoned her, and then like
Yeah.
you acted like a total dick when she came about. You know, I was just
Yeah.
like, and then he's all like, "Oh well, that wasn't really me," and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah, it's all good. No, don't worry.
Like she comes with her stupid horse and.
Hey, the horse that guy saved with his like meteor powers.
The horse that was like, hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Yeah, you know what though? I did feel for her character because I was like, man, she fucking like there's a point where she's like, you know, I already know you're not telling the truth, right? Which I'm like, you're probably not a great liar, this version of Clark. And I'm like, dude, like all they wanted was your honesty or whatever. And see, I felt a little bit of like it was Sins of the Father, where it was like Jonathan Kent couldn't get out of they're gonna cut you up and dissect you and capture you and all that, and he kind of did live a little bit in fear.
And see, there was also the thing too about the adoption. You remember?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why, like Lino, he
There's a
was
whole
hit at
episode of
Lino.
that.
Yeah. That pretty much they kind of like
didn't
had
see it.
whole fake documents, everything about his adoption.
Mhm.
And that's what he was always afraid of too. That they were going to look back on it and see that it wasn't a real legal adoption.
Well, because there was one episode where a woman came and she was, I'm Clark's
I'm
mother.
Clark's mom, which everyone knew was
And
bullshit.
everybody's like, nah, yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
impossible.
At least the parents knew that, but nobody else knew that. So Chloe and them were like, maybe that's your real mom, Clark.
And she starts really digging into
yeah,
like
and
his
he's
whole
like, get away from my
stuff.
past, Chloe. Get out of there. I'm like,
But
Yeah.
people don't know about like Mexicans and like Mexican babies. And this time, people just give people's kids away. They're just like, oh, that person raised my kid. I'm like, oh, is their papers? Like, no, they just raised me like for forever. That's it.
Sorry.
All right, I'll wait for you, Holty, so you can get because your thoughts
Yeah,
are
I
up
mean,
next.
like I said though, there's just there's so many good stuff. Like you said, so many episodes. You know, you like those comics where it's just kind of like there's like not like a main story. You know?
I love that.
Yeah, you love
those are my
that. So there's like
favorites,
a lot of that. You know, so
I was telling Double A knows this, Roxanne, that I'll read stuff like I know it'll be like on Instagram or wherever, TikTok, and it'll have like a few images or panels where it'll talk about like, oh, remember the issue where this happened or whatever, and I'm like, what issue was that? I want to go look that up, and it's just like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman like eating hamburgers and fries, and he's like, we'll have lunch together, you know, more often, and it's not like it's just like a regular like they have like a regular day, but they're like Superman's floating and like eating his burger and fries, and Batman's like on the edge of a building, and you know Wonder Woman's like perched up somewhere too, and I'm like I love that because I like when they're kind of like I guess humanized or normalized in a way. An issue I just bought recently, Double A found it for me at a show, was I had read about it that there was an issue where they double date. It's Clark and Lois, and at this time in the comics, Batman's engaged to Selena Kyle. So they go to a fair in Gotham, but it's like a costume fair, so they have to be in costume. So they laugh or whatever because they're like, well, they have their costumes with them, but the girls are like, well, wear each other's costumes. And at first, Batman's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, come on, like, do it or whatever. So they do it. You know, Clark's all for it because he's fun. He's Clark. Yeah. And so they do it. So he's dressed as Batman and he's in Superman's costume. And, of course, the guy's a great costume. And Lois dresses as Catwoman. And Selena doesn't have a costume, which I thought was kind of whack. But she says that the way she gets in, the door guy, not going to let them into the fair, is that she like schmoozes with him and she's like flirting with him or whatever. And so they get in, and of course they're going to go and do the games for their girls or whatever, and like, you know, obviously they're awesome at it. And then at one point, like, they sneak off, Selena and Lois together, and like Selena has a flask, they're drinking or whatever, you know what I mean? And she's like, you know, what do you like about him and this and that? They're talking about like each other's guys. Like, it's just like nothing happens. There's like no bad guy. Oh wait, yeah. What happens is at the end, like someone snatches Lois's purse, like a purse snatcher. Like he runs something and he snatches her, and they look at each other like, for real? Like, do you know who like our guys are? So they of course go grab them real quick, and it's like that's it. But nothing really happens. It's just like a normal day. Like it's just like a fun.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I had read about it and I was like, I gotta own this issue, and Double A found it for me at a con, like $4 or something like that.
Yeah, it was cheap.
Yeah, and it was just like I read it and I was like, this is like a fun read. Like I'll read this over and over again. Like
there was something similar to that on The Last Airbender. I don't know if y'all saw that.
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh my god,
I've seen some episodes.
It's such a fun show. Please watch The Last Airbender, the cartoon, not the movie.
Oh, okay.
But there's a part where everything's so serious and he's trying to find his way. But there's one episode where they take a break from that and they go to the beach.
Oh yeah.
And there's no villains. There's no anything. So
they're just hanging out.
Yeah, it's just hanging out. So the good guys are also hanging out, and the bad guys are also hanging out on the beach, but it's like two separate stories. Yeah. And you even see how the villains act like playing volleyball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my god, I fucking love that episode.
I always saw Double A, like some of my favorite X-Men ones are where they're just like hanging around the mansion or whatever. Like, you know, there's this great issue of Wolverine, like issue 90, where like the beginning of the issue, the end is a big fight with Sabretooth. But Sabretooth is like locked up in the mansion or whatever. But like Wolverine like gets there to the mansion, like he works out, he like cooks himself a steak, he eats the steak, he's watching like the news. Like it's just like he's having like normal, like his hair is pulled back, like he takes a shower and he has like his hair pulled back like in a ponytail, like the big ass hair, you know, the Wolverine hair. And I was like, oh, this is like having a finish, but then Sabretooth breaks out and then they have a big ass fight. So that's right before Age of Apocalypse.
He pops his claw.
Yeah, he pops his claw into his head. Yeah, it's like, it turns bad at the end. But for the beginning of the show, I was like, oh, this is like a glimpse into Wolverine's like a regular day when you're not fucking like popping claws into somebody's head.
Just another day.
All right, let's bring it back in, and we'll take it to final thoughts with Holty Bear's thoughts. I'm highly interested in hearing regarding Smallville. All right, guys, we're back, and we had to take that this is definitely our last break for sure. Mm-hmm. John, your thoughts on Smallville. I know you've been a big fan, so, I mean, kind of the things we've been talking about regarding, like, how did you... Were there frustrations? Were there things that you could have done without? Or was it just like fine the way it was? You took it for what it was.
So, I'll say this. As we were watching the show, in the beginning, like I said, Roxanne and I were very much like, oh man, Chloe's cool. Fuck Lana. She's acting like a bitch, that kind of stuff. But then, like,
I don't think I ever said Lana.
I'm sorry, I threw some words out there. But Lana was a little over. But like with Chloe, we were like, oh, she's cool. As I look back on it now, I'm like, man, they're both a little bit like crazy.
It's a little too much.
So too much for me.
What do you feel about Lois?
I thought she was an attractive girl. I thought she was very attractive, but I wasn't like. I want to say like Double A said, I had to get into her character.
Okay.
She had to win me over, and she did. Over like I said, about season 8, season 9. That's when I started like, okay, she's already getting the role. She's getting there. The show to me itself, I never felt more home when like we would go over to Kat's house and say, hey, look, we're gonna watch Smallville. I would like, hey, I just got off from work, let's go. I'd pick up Roxanne, race over there. We'd get there in my little Mazda truck. We'd get there, show up, and we'd like walk inside. His mom would open the door knowing that we were getting there, and like we'd sit down on the couch and watch. And it was like, Will coming in with like a French break. You want a French break? Yeah. Break. So it was almost like I don't know if any of the people out there know about it or remember it, but when I was a kid, like we'd go to my grandparents' house on a Sunday and we would just watch the Sunday movie on TV, and it was like the whole family sitting around. You got like 15 people crammed around one 13-inch screen TV, and it's like the best thing ever. And I felt like me and Roxanne are sitting on one side of the couch. Cat's on the other side of the couch. Will would come in with the hell you're watching and walk back out, and it's like, okay. And you got Boy coming in, like looking at Napster or whatever, and then walking back out, and it's like, okay, fine. So it's like we all
friends.
But it was moments. It was just like it was a beautiful moment. It was fun, and yes, Cat was like 14, but it was also like it was. He's ahead of his time, and
he certainly is.
He's always been ahead of his time, but I always felt like we all had like a connection, and I felt like that connection made that show stronger. And I felt like as I watched this show, when we stopped watching it together, I felt the magic leave a little bit.
I did too. I felt the same way.
And it was very much like, well, and you're talking a show that lasted 10 years. So you're talking from someone going from 14 to 24. You're talking from someone going to 21 to 31 years old. It's a show, or 20 to 30. You're talking about a show that lasts that long, and your ideals change, your life changes, things happen. So you don't, the magic may or may not be there. I've always tried, and you know this personally, I've always tried to capture lightning in a bottle.
Sure. Yes.
No matter what. And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But the biggest thing is that all the best memories I've ever had have been with my friends, my wife. And so I will always cherish those, and I think that that's what makes those moments better. And I think that's what made the show the way it was for me too. I did like it. I like the whole Superman aspect. I like that they show him from beginning to end. I like that they don't give him the cape until the very end. I would have preferred, like I said, about 5 episodes at least of him in that cape, but I was okay with the way it ended. I was okay with the way it started. I think everything was great.
All right. No, I think Rich said earlier, when it brings people together, then it's a good show.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, it's neat because you guys probably did that at the end of the time of that, because then that time is no longer, because people stream stuff. They watch it on their handheld device in their pocket, and they just watch it on the go, on the commute to work, or, well, not if you're driving, but if you're like on the bus or something like that, you're watching it on your phone. I'm sure there are many drivers in San Antonio that do watch shit on their phone while they're driving. But so it sounds like y'all caught that at the end of that, and that's awesome, man. I think that's a great reason, and again, I think it helped probably cultivate the relationship that you guys have now. So that's super awesome. And again, I'm a huge Superman fan, and Double A asked me this earlier. He said, "Why weren't you on it at the beginning?" And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I just was like, there was a time in my life.
Too cool for school.
No. There was a time in my life where it was like I just wasn't into shows. Like it was like I would watch shows here and there, but then it was like I was like movies were where it was at. Like I was more of a movie guy. You know what I mean? And like it felt like, and I think people even that are in Hollywood say this. They're like back then it was like You don't want to do TV. TV's taboo. That'll kill your career. You want to do movies. Now, obviously, shows like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, they changed the game. And now, especially, now shows is where it's at.
Yeah.
Now shows is way where it's at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and movies are kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting as much screen time. I get fucking 10 hours on a show. I only get fucking 2 hours on a movie. Why the fuck do I want to do that? So the pendulum has definitely swung the other way, and it's a much different game now, whatever. But yeah, back then it was like, again, I guess I just wasn't as entertained or as I was at that age period from before, because there was probably the time I was the age you were watching this. I was probably watching Lois and Clark, and it was like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, committed to that, committed to the Wonder Years, committed to shows like that. But then I lost that, you know what I mean? And I was just like into movies. And
Well,
I
like I said, I mean, I wasn't a big show watcher either. I just took a chance because I read it on Wizard. that this new show was going to come on, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, fuck it, let me give it a chance.
I just walked in your house.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. He just walked in on the right day, right time. Yeah, what are you watching?
I think that's a really super cool story to it for you guys for Smallville. And again, I'm glad that I got to watch it now with you guys, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And I mean, like, I think Tom Welling looked great.
As like I said, every commercial break we took, we would talk about what just happened.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, we'd be like, man, what the fuck's gonna happen next week?
Man,
you
what
know?
do you think's gonna come up next? And then the talent mix when they came out.
Yeah, the
with
talent mix. Yeah, they would always have a soundtrack at the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they would tell you what bands played on the episode.
Oh, okay.
And then like this episode,
I didn't get that in
you
the
could
Hulu
download.
version.
Yeah, you
Very
could,
cool.
Or I think you could. Yeah, you can get it and.
Yeah,
you
in
know.
one of the episodes, Pete's all like, "Oh, hey, I made that for you, Clark."
He's
The
like,
talent
"Oh, cool,
mix."
talent mix."
Oh,
And I was
nice.
like, man, the whole CD.
And so it's the soundtrack you can actually.
Or like
get.
at the season
Very
finale
cool.
of the first one, he's like, "Oh, Remy Zero." And
Yeah,
then he's
Remy
like,
Zero.
Oh yeah, they're there. The band.
My
right?
favorite band. You're like, what? Whose
He's
favorite
like,
band?
oh, that's Chloe's favorite song. He's like, why do you think I requested it? I was like, oh, look at you being.
He never heard that song before.
I thought it was cool. It seems to me like you guys had like what people in later years had with, like, you know, everyone around the water cooler talking about Game of Thrones at work, but y'all had that before that or whatever, and you're over two age groups, but you're like, oh, we're sharing this so that we can discuss it and kind of talk about it or whatever, and it's like years later people would do that over big shows like Game of Thrones, like The Walking Dead. But again, at Monday morning at work, after you see it on Sunday, you're like, hey, did you catch Walking Dead last night? And then you're having that chat, but you guys were doing that kind of before, you know, there were shows like that to do that about, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not since, like, Dallas in the old days of like, our parents talking about shit like that, you know what I mean? So,
I don't know.
But
There
if
was
you-
that Who Shot JR bit.
that's what I mean, yeah, that was to say that, you know what I
But
mean?
if you think about it, though, Smallville ran 10 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about Game of Thrones, what, 8?
8, yeah. And not even that.
They shortened to 8. You know, they shortened their seasons. I mean, their shows were only like, they were hour longs, but they were only, what, 10 or 12 episodes? It's like, you're talking about a show that, like, back then, like, in the beginning, started it off where people wanted to, you know, and you started getting guest stars like we just saw downstairs. You're watching a show and you're like, oh, that guy's on Smallville. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, who's that guy?
That guy
You know?
from Vampire Diaries.
Yeah,
was
the one
on
that.
it.
Yeah, I hated that arc when
Yeah.
he's dating Lana. I was like, man, this fucking
I
guy.
see a photographer or whatever. The other guy from Supernatural's on there. I mean, like
Season
the-
4.
They said
That's where
he
he
was-
got his start.
Jensen Ackles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
he
we didn't even
was
talk about
originally supposed to be Clark.
Yeah, that's what I read that too.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about Iceman. Iceman from X-Men is in there
Yeah,
too.
he's on
Well,
Jimmy
his
Olsen.
both twins were in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because they're twins.
I did not know that.
They're twins,
Yeah.
so I believe.
He's
And
in
one
the
dies,
second one.
right? And then the
He's
other
in
one becomes
season 2 or
the
3.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas and the guy from
Uh-huh.
they're all in the same episode.
Well, like the you said the one who plays Iceman, is it?
Mhm.
Or the-
Uh,
Aaron and
Sean
Sean
Astin.
Ashmore. Aaron and
Aaron,
Sean.
yeah. So Sean Ashmore was like in the first season before the Aaron Ashmore came in or whatever. and
That's
played
right.
Jimmy.
That's right. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. It's one of those shows like a Seinfeld where like everybody was on it before.
Yeah,
they were
you're
on
just
it,
like, oh
so.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, anything else, guys? Anything else that you want to like say or bring up, or favorite episode, or least favorite episode, or thing that you hated, thing that you love, you want to change?
I love to hate Lionel Luthor.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean,
He
like,
was
That
so
dude,
good.
man.
he was so good.
Man, oh man, what a
Mhm.
dick.
Like when he comes in and tells Chloe, he's like, "Hey, I got you a spot as you know, at the Daily Planet to write your own column." And she's like, "Cool." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, you know, and she's like, "What?" He goes, "Just give me some information about Clark. Write a whole article about Clark for me." And she's like, "I'm not gonna do that." He's like, "You know, your dad just got that promotion."
Yeah.
Damn.
And I'm like, "Damn!" And he's like, "It'd be a shame if he was so happy when I bought that truck. It'd be so shame for him to give it back up." I'm like, "Damn,
Man, see,
Lionel was
if
dirty.
you saw those first few seasons with fucking Lionel, you'd be like,
He was
man.
dirty.
the
bro.
little bit I got of him, I was
Fucking
like,
asshole.
you raggedy bitch.
It-
I'm like, that
Definitely.
hair, them fucking wrinkles. I'm like,
And what's cool, I don't know if you guys know, but he does the voice of Riddler in the
Oh.
Batman the Animated Series.
I did not know that.
He's the voice of Riddler.
Oh, wow.
It's
That's
very
awesome.
cool. It's very cool. No, I definitely hated him immediately, and I was like, "You suck. I hate
Well,
you."
he's good at playing a dick in other movies.
I
too.
wanted Lex to get his ass. I wrote, that's one of my notes I wrote because I was going to ask you guys that question, but I eventually saw it. I said it's on my first page too because it says I put what happens to Lionel? Does Lex outsmart him? I'm like, does he get this motherfucker?
He finally
or what?
does. It takes him that long,
Like 8
twisted
years?
path
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
he finally becomes Lionel's superior. Finally,
And I even like when he got shot at the end by fucking Tess. I was like, could you
Yeah.
shoot this motherfucker? Like,
Yeah.
she didn't hesitate. You know, like, boom, shoot this motherfucker. No talking. You know
But
what I
that
mean?
time he's a good guy.
Yeah. But anything else that you guys think that you want to feel like you're going to say about Smallville after 20
I
years
don't know. They're
later?
talking about them coming back, maybe again. I don't know if
Something
they are or not.
animated, something.
I think they're actually him and Michael Rosenbaum were actually talking about maybe one more season, like a season. I was like,
Do
wow.
it. If they can bring back Dexter, right? People hated the way it ended.
And I actually liked I saw the first episode. It's actually a pretty damn good episode.
Yeah, and you're all watched up on Dexter. So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
So
this
it's
is
pretty damn
again,
good.
I will say this about Smallville: it was not a terrible ending for this show. It was
I didn't think
a
so.
very good ending.
No, it's very positive.
Probably better than what people would say about Game of Thrones, Sopranos, which are
definitely.
which people consider the
Definitely.
greatest shows of all time.
But
Yet
with
their
the
endings
horrible
suck.
endings.
And to be honest with you, as much as I love Breaking Bad and people count that as a good ending, I'm like,
Because
no,
he
not
died.
really. I mean, like, well,
Yeah.
it's again, some people say it's open ended, but you know what I mean, like,
no,
you know,
because he died. And
Yeah.
then they made that movie.
yeah, where they
El
say it
Camino or
finally,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
Where it's like to confirm it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, it's like very gratifying. Where it's like, oh, now the door is open now to the next thing or whatever. So that would be awesome if they did that.
And it seems like they're really committed again
Yeah.
to doing it. So if they didn't want to do one more season, fuck it.
Well, I hope
Do
Tom
one more
Welling will
season.
like,
if
you know,
if anybody can do it, it's those two.
yeah. I hope he'll get a trimmer bulk and then like black the hair and he'll be stellar.
Or keep it that way.
Keep it
Maybe
that way,
set
bro.
it. You
No,
know,
okay.
Set it
Silver
Kingdom
Fox.
Come.
Oh, Kingdom. Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Silver
with
Fox.
Luthor
Silver
and
Fox.
Shazam. That's cool. Very cool. Okay, well, that's all I got on it, guys. I mean, unless you have anything else that you want to...
No, stream it on Hulu.
Yes,
check it out on
watch
Hulu.
Check
It's
it out.
pretty good.
Smallville. Change your life.
change your life. All right, guys. Well, something we like to say at the end of every show here at Just Another Friday Night is that if there's something that you want to do, a hope, a dream, something you want to accomplish, much like Clark dreamed to fly, he believed a man could fly. And I love all the little references they throw in throughout the show about, you know, stuff like that, references to Superman stuff. Super awesome. Seize the day. Go out there and do it. That's what Clark did. That's what his dad did. And he's trying to, you know, raise a son that wasn't his own with his wife. And, you know, obviously we saw the alternate universes sometimes, and that was scary, you know what I mean? So don't hesitate and seize the day. And the other thing, to quote another great man that fights for truth, justice, the American way, Captain America, you got to do whatever it takes, which obviously Clark did do several times, you know what I mean, throughout the show. Kind of the whole precipice of Superman is doing whatever it takes. So seize the day, guys. Do whatever it takes. For myself, Double A, Roxanne, and Whole T Bear here, guys. This has been another episode of Just Another Friday Night. I mean, I think there's only one way to really end it, guys, and you got to give me a little bit of Remy Zero at the beginning there. You know what I mean? Somebody save me.